Whenever he closes his eyes and falls asleep, his soul travels to another world called the demon domain of immortal cultivation, a place of darkness, death, and reigning evil energy, where life is nearly extinct. Here he is the heir to an ancient sect, tasked with reviving the righteous path and eliminating evil cultivators. The special thing is, he can freely travel between the two worlds. The real world is a wasteland after a nuclear holocaust. Mutated beasts are rampant. But from them, he collects spirit stones to bring back to the demon domain for cultivation, leveling up and acquiring powerful artifacts. Step by step, he is becoming the master of the world. Without further ado, let the story begin. 2021, in the era of wasteland civilization. Humanity was almost completely annihilated by the pollution of war. To this day, it has yet to recover, barely clinging to life in this wasteland, struggling to build settlements, using them to ensure their own safety. But even though they have found their footing, they still can't reclaim their status as the dominant species that ruled the planet. For ordinary people, hastily stepping out of the settlements is like stepping one foot into hell, because the world now has completely changed due to the devastation of nuclear energy. Even small insects that humans could easily crush in the past, contaminated by nuclear energy, have become humanity's nightmare core beasts. The young man from before is riding on a vehicle, an off-road bike. He's got a real badass style. What a baller. Chasing him is a mantis monster. It has mutated and become gigantic. Facing it head-on, the badass dude pulls a sick U-turn. Just like that, gracefully, he steers the bike around and lands a few slashes on the mantis. Then he transfers a massive amount of power into the sword, right behind his back. The aura this young man emits is truly not to be underestimated. He uses the motorcycle as a launch pad, holding the sword, now fully charged with energy, and rushes forward, attacking the mantis's mouth directly. Mantis. At this moment, the young man is right in front of the mantis. He moves with skill and agility. The mantis, on the other hand, is terrified by this speed. A giant mantis, just like that, gets sliced into multiple pieces, at a speed that the eye cannot see. Its massive body falls to the ground, ending the attack. The swordsman lands with a simple glide. Big fish eat small fish, only the strong can survive. That is the only truth in the world today. Similarly, after the nuclear energy contaminated the entire world, humans were forced to evolve and become stronger. After dealing with it quickly and neatly, a giant mantis, like it was just a casual takedown on the way, the young man gets on his bike and revs the engine hard. To survive in the present, one can only become strong, more ruthless than those mutated creatures. Because the horror of this world doesn't stop there. He stops at a moss-covered villa complex. The place is deserted and in ruins. Nearby, an off-road car also arrives. The young man on the motorcycle turns his head to look. He's busy looking at a small piece of paper in his hand. From the battered car, a man steps out. The man closes the door and looks ahead. It seems he also came here for a purpose. Meanwhile, the young man is still intently reading the paper in his hand. On it is written, "This place can make you feel good. From small to large, sexy baby threesome on the run from Big Brother. Sisters forever eat, drink, and chat with you." Plus a bonus. A picture of a Chinese girl as the background. The young man is now certain. Looks like this is the house. Then the two men say in unison, their mouths forming the exact same shape. Tonight's activities are really something to look forward to. You know. Suddenly hearing each other, they turn to look at one another, with two giant question marks appearing over their heads. Unexpectedly, a moment later, the fat guy on the right has been tied up by the young man, like a pig, with a cloth thoughtfully stuffed in his mouth, so he can't scream anymore. He unceremoniously throws the man into the back of the pickup truck. Then he puts on the fat guy's formal suit. The young man has successfully transformed into a handsome dreamboat. Excellent. He confidently walks into the large gate of the villa, the place he's eagerly awaiting some juicy babes. As he steps in, the gate opens automatically, as if always welcoming guests. It's a bit strange, though. It's pitch black inside. Suddenly, just as he steps in, a gun barrel and a sharp blade are pressed against the young man's neck and head. A seductive girl inside points the gun straight at his face and says, "This dude looks unfamiliar. Did you come to the wrong place?" To the side, a woman with huge assets comes closer. "You're holding a rusty knife that's probably 15 years old. You're a bit of a stranger, little brother. This is private territory. Take one more step forward, and we'll have no choice but to see you off." But the young man is very calm. He slowly puts his hand into his coat pocket. "Open your eyes and take a good look at this." Two fingers pinch a strange object. That thing makes both girls gasp in surprise. The black-haired girl next to him leans in for a better look. Looking at the bracelet with its one-of-a-kind design, the short-haired woman with the gun breaks into a satisfied smile. So it's a VIP guest. With the token to confirm his identity, the young man is no longer threatened. He speaks confidently between the two girls. "I came here specifically to have some fun. Don't kill my vibe." As soon as they saw the watch on his wrist, the two women's attitudes did a complete 180. The black-haired girl respectfully invites him in. Welcome to the Wasteland's Garden of Eden. As for the young man, he cheerfully whistles and kicks his leg up as he walks inside. Over here, the short-haired girl is also extremely polite, gently opening the door. This way, esteemed guest? And so both of them completely treat the white-haired young man like a king, bowing their heads respectfully. Next, please enjoy to your heart's content the journey of the Wasteland's Garden of Eden. Upon entering this place, like its name is dark, Wasteland, he can only see the faint shadow of himself reflected on the door. The outer door is carefully closed by the two girls. Deep inside, the Wasteland Garden is a super-hot underground club. Recently, this place has had many special women come to serve the monster killers. Once deep inside, there are also many guys wearing masks and bizarre outfits. However, our main character is the most prominent and cleanest one. To this place, those who spend money are either local overlords or the wealthy elite, and the thing that attracts them is the special service this place provides. For guys who only know blood and killing all day long, their special thing is only the carnal desires of women. A woman in a barely there outfit, showing off two giant assets, shouts enthusiastically on the stage, "Welcome everyone to tonight's selection convention. Here money does all the talking. As long as you have money, we will make you experience what is called ultimate pleasure." After these words, the girl's tone becomes a bit darker and mysteriously sensual. And now, then she reaches out and pulls the red cloth from a nearby glass pillar. She announces loudly, "Let the convention begin." She pulls off the red cloths, revealing beautiful girls inside glass cages, neatly groomed and dressed attractively. What delicious bait in front of these perverts. The female MC above urges, "Well, this is the merchandise that our brand has carefully selected." She steps forward and pulls the chain from a girl's neck. This girl, led by the woman, trembles like a puppy being dragged away. Age beauty. The quality is impeccable. They can absolutely make you feel what true pleasure is, a joy that only you deserve to experience. This woman gets more and more excited, and she pushes the excitement to its peak, spreading it to the lustful men below. Go ahead, esteemed guests. Feel free to throw your money around and satisfy yourselves. Up here is the focal point for the patrons, who want to blow off some steam after their battles. They cheer enthusiastically below. The so-called special service is an illegal slave auction. They are almost all young girls. The highest bidder gets them. The number of survivors in the Wasteland era is already small. Human trafficking is a serious crime. Therefore, transactions here are all conducted in secret. But the truly scary part of this Garden of Eden isn't just that. At this moment, someone is approaching our protagonist. She speaks softly. "Esteemed guest, why are you all alone here?" Distinctly more beautiful than the women on stage, this woman has a slender figure, with all the right curves in all the right places. Seductive platinum blonde hair. She toys with a glass of wine in her hand as she asks, "Aren't you interested in the goddesses of today?" Indeed, our main character can't be bothered with them. He folds his arms, turns to the girl and says, "Boring low-quality goods. Got anything a little more exciting?" At first glance, this guy looks handsome, and he's well-dressed. The girl tries to get closer and speaks softly. "It seems our guest is a connoisseur. We do have something more stimulating. However, to choose the premium goods, you need to become one of our supreme members. Only then will you be qualified." So he immediately presents the watch on his wrist, showing he's a VIP member here. He holds his hand out near her two grapefruits. The young man says in a loud voice, "Is this qualification enough?" As soon as she sees the watch, the woman's demeanor changes instantly. She's so startled that her large speakers jolt up and down. Now she turns away, rushing off to find a new girl for the man. This girl stammers, "It seems I was blind not to recognize you. Esteemed guest, please follow me." Leaving behind the frenzied crowd and the ordinary girls below the stage, the young man follows the beautiful woman up a staircase. She leads him to a private room. She skillfully pulls the door open slightly and says in a soft voice, her tone lowered, "Please, esteemed guest, come in." This man is brought into a VIP room. This place is different from the noisy area below. Here there's a private room and a bed, soft and with luxurious furnishings. And there's someone already sitting waiting for him. On the bed is a cute kitten. As soon as she sees him, she continuously wiggles her body to show her joy. Upon seeing the young man arrive, she speaks in a sweet tone. "Hello, handsome. I'm Xiao Mei. I'm only 18 this year. I'm confident that I'm the cutest and most beautiful pet here." The madam standing next to him proactively moves closer and says proudly, "Esteemed guest, this is the high-class item we acquired this time. I wonder how you feel about her." Seeing the little kitten, he smiles with amusement. Then the young man's eyes light up. He blurts out, "Not bad at all." So it seems the esteemed guest is satisfied. The madam flirts a little and then leaves. She gives him a seductive glance. In that case, please enjoy yourself to the fullest. After the madam leaves, the young man slowly walks towards the little kitten. He nods excitedly and says, "Looks like this one is truly beautiful. I found some high-class goods, haven't I?" Hearing him say that, the kitten crawls closer to him. She happily replies, "Master, from now on, I am your exclusive pet. You can do anything you want to me. Even that." He leans in close to the little girl's beautiful face and gently traces a line across her lips with his hand. "That? What kind of that are you talking about?" The beautiful little kitten blushes all over. Then she affectionately wraps her arms around his neck, swaying her two peaches. "Master, you're so naughty." She continues, "You've come this far and you're still playing dumb." Then this mischievous little kitten continues, pulling him down onto the bed. Of course, she's taking the lead. She must have been very thirsty for a while, having waited for this VIP guest for quite some time. The little kitten casually continues her previous sentence. "Of course it's that kind of thing." He on top looks down excitedly and replies with a challenge. "Is this it? Seems pretty tame." Hearing these words, the experienced little kitten brings her lips close and whispers, "Oh so, Master doesn't like to take the initiative." Then in just a moment, the fair-skinned little kitten is on top of the young man. He must be trying hard to hold back. The kitten says, "Master, do you like it when I take the lead? Your little kitten will be very good." The young man struggles but dares not show any weakness. "This is driving me crazy." Then she presses her face against his and continues, "If I'm not good, Master can use your little kitten." The young man's expression is completely wooden. After hearing these words, he also feels a sense of excitement. He asks, "You like getting whipped, huh, Kinky?" The little kitten's red face shows she's wavering. The girl brings her puckered lips closer. "Little kitten is just Master's food." Just as she says this, he pushes her back forcefully. The little kitten, startled by the push, is a bit panicked. He says, "All right." Immediately in the young man's right hand, a whip appears. Of course, he doesn't let himself stay in the receiving position. He moves forward, raises the whip, and says, "Then take a good taste of this." The kitten beneath him looks up at his dashing figure. Just a moment ago, he was caressing her sensuously, but now the young man shows no mercy, whipping her straight on her two pristine peaches. The kitten is in pain, but also quite aroused. She's in so much pain she can't stand it, and looks up to ask, "Master, why did you hit me? If you break me, I won't be able to serve you anymore." It seems this young man likes it rough. He grips and pulls the whip tighter. "Just one lash and you can't take it. I remember your bodies are quite resilient." In front of the young man, the poor little kitten painfully rubs her peaches. It seems she still doesn't get it. He continues, "As long as I don't blow your head off, you probably won't die right." These words make the woman before him completely stunned. "Isn't that right, Miss Beastkin?" Hearing these two words, it feels like the kitten has been exposed. Her true face. She looks up at him with a dazed expression. Her beautiful face is no longer cute. She glares and asks, "How did you know I'm a Beastkin? Are you a scavenger?" I'm taking off and tossing aside this fancy suit. The young man reverts to his usual attire. Now he no longer hides his identity. The weepy kitten stares at the discarded clothes. The young man immediately holds out the watch and says, "What a scavenger can't come here and spend money. I'm a high-level member now. I have to say your disguise is pretty good, but a beastkin can't completely transform into a human. Even if your appearance is nearly identical to a human's, your scent and body temperature will still reveal your identity." Hearing this, the shameless woman continues to flirt. She acts cute and pouty, using her appearance to seduce him. "How can that be? You are our noble customer. I will definitely serve you well." And then she gets closer to him. But behind her back, she transforms her two arms into mantis blades, planning to sneak attack him from behind. This action was detected by the young man because its shadow was cast right in front of him. This bitch is playing tricks again. I just want Master to be more comfortable. "Don't bully me, okay?" These words are hard to listen to. The young man whips at the kitten directly, causing the startled kitten to transform into a monster right before his eyes. She falls back and completely becomes a mutated beast. He immediately shifts his weight to maintain balance. Her limbs have now transformed into those of a mantis, looking very disgusting. Now she's no longer a cute little kitten, but a disgusting mantis, whose two grapefruits haven't transformed back yet. She screams, "Who the hell are you? Why can your whip break through my disguise?" Pausing for a beat, this mantis bitch observes her opponent for a moment and thinks, this guy is clearly very young. At most just a newbie scavenger. Why does he have such a strange weapon? Speaking frankly right in the monster's face, he holds out the whip and says loudly, "I'm just an ordinary scavenger who just happened to get a mission to clean all of you up." He then further provokes the bitch, holding up two fingers and wiggling them. "Come on, quick. I'll give you a chance to call your buddies. You all come at me together so I can save some time." These words further provoke the monster. She screams loudly, her mouth opening to reveal rows of sharp teeth, and from it she emits a shockwave, while trying to release energy to counter the troublemaker in front of her. The mantis thinks, although I don't know what this scavenger is thinking, I'm really no match for him alone. But if we rush him together, he won't dare. Indeed, she has called her comrades. In just a few seconds, a slender leg kicks the outer door down. Immediately after, 4 women with different seductive styles appear. All 4 rush in to aid the most dominant monster. The beauty who was the MC is also here. She steps forward, pulling the whip tight in her hand. I thought we ran into a tough guy. Turns out it's just a brat. Over here, the beautiful girl with platinum blonde hair, with the same seductive tone, but very different. What's wrong? Is this punk too strong for you to handle? You need your sisters to come and help share the load. Seeing her mutated monster comrades, she turns and yells loudly, "This guy's a scavenger, don't be careless." Immediately after, the monster who was the receptionist at the gate reveals her true form, a spider demon. Emerging from the human skin, this thing roars. If he's a scavenger, then this is meaningless. Let's just show our cards. In her bizarre form with many limbs, this short-haired spider woman twirls and continues. The stupid scavengers who came to cause trouble before were no match for us. Over here, the black-haired beauty has also successfully shed her skin, returning to her true nature, a wasp. She sits arrogantly on her tail with its sharp stinger, pointed, and revels in the scent of blood from the young man. This guy is all alone. He looks pretty green. There's not even enough of him for us to share. In the corner, the MC and the white-haired madam have also completely transformed into 2 beetles, revealing their true bestial nature. They all menacingly display their power in front of the main character. Let's make this quick. There's a big feast waiting for us outside. That's right. If we team up, even high-level scavengers might not gain an advantage. You're telling me we can't handle him? Then all the mutated beasts simultaneously rush forward to attack, with the young man as their focus. They all fly towards him with sharp fangs, die. These women all have perfect bodies, but their limbs and everything else are disgusting. They also have the pleasure of eating lustful men. Driven by lust, one by one, they lunge towards the main character, yet he shows no fear. He stands there defiantly and says one thing before striking. If you all rush me together, then that's actually a benefit for me. From the palm of the young man's hand, he summons a talisman. Very quickly, he stretches the talisman and holds out the whip. He immediately drags the talisman across the whip, imbuing the whip with the talisman's energy. Then the young man swings the whip in a circle. Afterwards, a source of energy, like lightning, is released, striking the mantis monster, causing it to convulse uncontrollably. The young man doesn't spare the pair of green peaches on the mutated fly demon. It groans and screams terribly. The wasp is no exception. The whip strikes right between its plump fruits. It's numb with excruciating pain, drooling. Even the venomous ant is among them. She's shocked by the whip's electricity and falls, rolling around, only able to scream wildly. The most painful one is probably the spider demon. It's whipped right near its abdomen, crying out speechlessly. Its whole body convulses. All 4 monsters numb scream wildly. They are all immediately thrown back by the whip's force, sent flying. The mantis monster screams. He can actually use psychic powers. Could it be that you're not just a scavenger, but also a new type human? Smashed against the wall. The force is so strong that the wall cracks and shatters. The mantis monster struggles to get up, saying, "We still underestimated the enemy." After saying that, it collapses to the ground. All of them have been defeated by the warrior they called a scavenger. At the same time, he holds the talisman in his hand and burns it. He turns to look at the monster's tragic state and says, "What I used wasn't a psychic power but a tool." The monsters were electrocuted by him until they were well done, charred black. They now look as if they've just been pulled from a coal furnace. He waves his hand and says loudly, "Although it cost 1 Thunder official talisman, I was able to harvest 5 beastkin. This was a very good trade." Just then, someone from downstairs curiously opens the door and comes up. He immediately sees the monsters lying around and screams, "Beastkin!" Could it be the group that's been secretly tricking and eating people recently? Now the whole ignorant crowd. The people below panicked and scrambled to get away. Beastmen. There are man-eating beastmen here. According to intel hiding out, here were only 5. The beastmen not only kidnapped lone young women to provide to humans for illicit services, but they also secretly devoured the humans who came for pleasure. Beastmen are more evolutionarily advanced than core beasts. Not only have they evolved into a humanoid form, but their intelligence is also no different from that of humans. Therefore, their malicious thoughts are extremely dangerous to mankind. This time it was a perfect clean sweep. The man who just cleared out this monster's den disguised as a brothel is Liu Xing, a so-called scavenger. He came here today after receiving a major commission to eliminate the beastmen hiding here. Compared to the mission's reward, a scavenger is a special profession in this world. They accept commission tasks, and upon completion they receive a certain reward. Scavengers, like Liu Xing, are managed directly by the Scavengers Guild, responsible for handling all sorts of trouble. That they can do this is because humanity was stimulated by nuclear energy, which awakened their abilities. Just like animals, infected by nuclear energy, turned into core beasts and beastmen. A portion of humanity also received this gift. Not only did their physical constitution improve greatly, but they could also awaken various abilities. They are called the new humans. And as a new human, the ability just now was only created by a tool. It wasn't Liu Xing's own special ability. Moreover, his ability seems to be quite extraordinary. This young man named Liu Xing is an orphan. In order to survive, he was forced to join some organizations, dark forces, to earn a living. Getting beaten and going hungry was a part of his daily life, until he met the fated savior of his life, Scavenger Team Captain Fan Xiaoyu. Only then did the gears of fate begin to turn. Because she discovered Liu Xing had the physique of a new human, the captain let him join Team 5, which she had founded. After a near-death experience, from then on his goal was to strive to survive in the apocalypse, and do his best to become a powerful scavenger. In a post-apocalyptic city, a scavenger's ability level, from high to low, goes from S rank to A rank, B rank, C rank, and D rank. Afterward, Liu Xing always trained hard, and his strength progressed to the mid-stage C rank. But compared to the A rank big shots, or even S rank, who possessed powerful abilities and top-tier equipment, Liu Xing still had a massive gap to close. But he found a path to becoming strong that was different from theirs. Liu Xing was able to defeat the beastmen in one go, all thanks to weapons not from this world, like the true word lightning talisman. And the origin of these weapons is closely related to his special new human ability. After dismantling the monster's operation, he returned on his warhorse of a vehicle. It was already dark. Arriving home, he went to the door and unlocked a massive lock. He stepped into a room with only basic furniture. His room was cold and he lived alone. After a tiring day, he hugged a bag of spirit stones and collapsed onto the sofa to take a nap. Because he was so tired during the day, he could gradually fall asleep as soon as he lay down. Suddenly, he felt an unclean presence in his room. He snapped his eyes open. His soul could travel to another place. This is the special ability that Liu Xing awakened as a new human. After waking up, he saw himself lying in a room with ancient architecture, with large tattered talismans hanging everywhere. But more than that, this world, completely different from his original one, is the immortal, refining demonic domain. This place is teeming with demons and monsters, filled with death and a terrifyingly bizarre aura, with a danger level no lower than the apocalypse. But what's different from the apocalypse is that this sister's world can be prioritized. In the room he had just transported to, a little girl appeared before him, surrounded on the outside by a scorching blaze. It seems this little one was fast asleep. After sensing Liu Xing's unfamiliar aura, the little girl happily stretched and woke up. "Master, you've finally woken up." Standing on the long bench in the large room, Liu Xing took the bag of spirit stones and offered it to the little girl in front of him and said confidently, "The mission over there is complete. I've harvested quite a few materials. It should be enough to activate quite a few components and functions of the Divine Hall." His appearance at this moment, even his style of dress, and his outward look had changed, as if he were another version of himself. Just a moment ago he was sleeping in a wasteland, and upon opening his eyes he was in a place with a completely different style. Every time he crossed over to this place, it still felt a bit unbelievable. He followed the little girl with talismans all over her body, constantly looking at the scene before him. Then he stared blankly for a long time at the item in his right hand. He still had many questions in his mind about his own reality. But as for why it's like this, the story goes back a few months. In that desolate and ruined world, that day Liu Xing was sleeping at home as usual. But when he opened his eyes once more, Liu Xing emerged from a pile of heavily decomposed corpses, sticking his arm out. With great difficulty, he managed to crawl out of the pile of rotting bodies. This place was completely like a realm of the dead. He looked around. "Where am I? Where is this?" Only to find himself in another world. At first, Liu Xing thought he was just dreaming. He frantically fled from this filthy and bizarre place. But the stench of the rotting corpses was truly too horrible, making Liu Xing unable to adjust. What was even more unbelievable was that the scavenger bracelet of Liu Xing not only followed him into the dream, but it was also still functional. It emitted a system panel and could analyze the objects in front of him. Scan successful based on the corpse's characteristics. It is determined to be an ancient human. Era unknown cause of death is likely having its energy drained. But the even more absurd thing was what hit Liu Xing's eyes right after. a massive ancient structure floating in the air, strange thorny bushes. The scene before him was like the world of cultivation that he had read about in novels and ancient books long ago. But compared to the scenes described in the books, this world was even more terrifying and bizarre. While Liu Xing was still wondering what kind of world this was, a sudden headache struck. As if stimulated by this headache, memories related to the original owner of this world gradually appeared in his mind. The spiritual energy of this world had long since dried up. In its place was evil energy, enough to drive people mad. Under the stimulation of the evil energy, all kinds of demons chose to devour humans. Wherever they passed, rivers of blood flowed. To maintain their transcendent status, the surviving immortal cultivators in this world adopted even more terrifying cultivation methods. The original owner of this body was a disciple under an immortal cultivation sect, the Ascension sect. Like the other disciples, his daily task of excavating treasures was his only value, allowing him to live temporarily in the sect. They were, after all, just ordinary people, unarmed, in front of immortal cultivators. They had no strength to resist. They could only submit. The sect master of the Ascension sect appeared righteous and noble, protecting his corner of the world. But in reality, he treated the disciples under him like livestock, using them as nutrients for his own ascension cultivation. Under the sect master's insidious methods, the bodies of the original owner and his fellow disciples were drained of their souls for cultivation, and he called the act of plundering the disciples' souls granting a favor. A few disciples with some cultivation potential would be used as ingredients for alchemy. Their flesh and blood used to refine some kind of golden core of ascension. Thus, a large number of disciples died as sacrifices. Their completely drained bodies were then thrown into the wilderness. All that talk about aiding the righteous path and saving the people was just an excuse for those cultivators to hide their filthy deeds. Looking at his own withered, skinny, and barren body, he realized this was the cultivation of this world. So I've soul-traveled, huh? Then suddenly the pain struck again. Liu Xing's head throbbed. My head hurts so much it's starting again. This was another memory of the original owner. In this memory fragment, Liu Xing could see many immortal cultivators riding swords flying through the sky. There was an old man instructing him when the original owner was a child. Xing'er, you probably don't know. On this world there were once immortal cultivators, beyond count. They ascended to the heavens, descended to the earth. There was nothing they couldn't do. They lived as long as the heavens and the earth. With a wave of their hand, clouds gathered. With another wave, it rained. He whispered, realizing, "Is this the original owner's elder?" The elder continued, "Back in those days there were so many master cultivators. You could say Mahayana masters were everywhere, and Tao integration experts were as common as dogs. If you casually spat on the side of the road, you could hit 4 or 5 masters. The so-called immortals of today, if placed in the past, would at best be nothing more than menial disciples." Hearing the teacher's words, the young Liu Xing became interested. "Wow, isn't that super awesome?" The teacher continued in more detail. It was more than just that. During the golden age of cultivation, even demonic cultivators and demons vied to join the righteous path. Many powerful demon gods also came one after another to seek refuge in our sect, the #1 sect, the Heaven and Earth sect, to cultivate for many years. He continued again. The sect master created the absolute body technique, allowing immortals and demons to cultivate together. The disciples of the sect not only saw their cultivation soar, but their hearts also became kinder than before. The world was a picture of peace. Liu Xing thought to himself, that child is the original owner's body as a child. Is that old man his ancestor? He had many questions asking himself. In his own dream, that old ancestor continued his story. It's just a pity the good times didn't last. Suddenly one day, the spiritual energy dried up and evil energy filled the heavens and the earth. The world collapsed as a terrifying heavenly tribulation descended. The high-level immortal cultivators, because of this, were caught off guard. Their cultivation backfired, and they all lost their lives. A few masters, in order to protect themselves, were forced into seclusion and deep slumber. Back then, the sect master, in order to protect the new generation, could only use a forbidden art. This method, although it could protect the central hall of the sect, the refining space, from being affected by the heavenly tribulation, but after being buried deep underground for tens of thousands of years, it needs a fated person to awaken the sect's spiritual root and rescue the disciples within. But after the spiritual energy dried up, the evil energy expanded. Let alone restoring the sect, even the secret arts and techniques gradually disappeared with the flow of time. In their place is a bunch of immortal cultivators never heard of before. These immortal cultivators claim to be restoring the glory of cultivation, but in reality they are a bunch using evil energy to cultivate demonic arts. Perhaps they once belonged to the righteous path, but in the Dharma ending age, They didn't want to disappear into the mortal world, so they chose a cruel path. That's why the current world is called the immortal refining demonic domain. The method of cultivation has also turned into the commonly used evil techniques, like devouring the souls and blood essence of mortals. At this point, Liu Xing could clearly see the image of the master, who placed a hand on his small forehead and said kindly, "Our clan is the last generation of the Heaven and Earth sect. If one day you can awaken the sect, you must make our sect's cultivation methods flourish. Once again, don't let those evil cultivators continue to harm the mortal world." He was now back to normal. Opening his eyes and looking around, the cruelty of this cultivation world compared to the apocalypse was only greater, not less. Fortunately, the original owner's elder still knew the intelligence passed down from the sect back then. It's a pity the original owner hadn't even found the entrance to the sect before he was captured by those evil demons for sacrifice. A good thing like inheriting a family fortune could only be left for me. Remembering that moment, in the dream, he recalled the old master's additional instructions. "Remember this is our sect's location. This place is the Ascension sect. Follow this direction to search. You can find a ruin. Our sect is right beneath this ground. Remember to bring this bracelet. After finding the location, use this silver jade bracelet to tap out a rhythm of 1 long 2 short. Tap 3 times and recite the incantation and you can open the secret passage." He immediately ran off following the words of the old master. The old man said, he mumbled, "According to the elder's description, the sect's ruins should be in this area." After running for a while, he looked around, searching along the way, for a location that best matched what he said. "It seems to be the area where the bodies were piled up, where I first woke up." Taking out the bracelet on his hand, he scanned the piled-up bodies. The system beeped. An underground area has been detected, 500 to 1,000 meters deep, with a rather strong nuclear energy reflection. He thought, what's going on? The scavenger bracelet, which could detect bodies with nuclear energy in the wasteland world, unexpectedly issued a warning here. Could it be? He then walked back to the stinking pile of corpses. He pulled a body aside to feel his way inside. From within, a well slowly appeared. Looking down, it was filled with all sorts of emerging filth, spreading across the well's mouth. He used the power of the scavenger bracelet on his arm. It emitted a beam of light from above, shining straight down into the indefinite bottom of the well. He whispered, "The silver jade bracelet is creating a resonance. The scavenger bracelet also shows this energy is coming from the bottom of the well. That clearly means the entrance to the sect the elder mentioned is right ahead." So following the stone path from the mouth of the well, Liu Xing finally groped his way to the very bottom. Here the walls were covered with sprawling tumors, looking very disgusting and unsettling. Down here there were even more corpses, and the metallic stench was even more horrible than above. He shone the light from the bracelet on his hand into a corner and said, "The resonance is stronger. The frequency of the warning sound has also become higher. It seems the energy sources are getting closer." And so Liu Xing descended. He must have taken at least 10,000 steps. The people buried here have all been eroded by the evil, energy assimilated and turned into corpse puppets, making every step he took extremely difficult. Finally, I'm here. After arriving, it led him to a large flat area. The place it led to looked like a cave. The surroundings were filled with the smell of rot and decay. He guessed the warning frequency is very high. Could this cave be it? But from the darkness ahead, many bony moving hands appeared. They slowly crawled out, looking very terrifying. Liu Xing immediately sensed it. He was startled. Something's there. It slowly appeared right before his eyes. To Liu Xing, it was a giant centipede, but it was composed of many skulls joined together. Binding them together were yellow talismans that were firmly sealing them. This grotesque figure crawled closer to Liu Xing. He couldn't help but be horrified when he saw it. What the hell is this thing? Liu Xing immediately backed away to find a way to deal with it. He was trying his best to stay calm. Could it be this filthy monster? Its large hand lunged to grab him, but very quickly, Liu Xing raised the bracelet the old master had given him. The energy emitted from that bracelet was extremely effective. From the bracelet it shot out a powerful stream of characters, like chains, that wrapped around the monster's entire body. He chanted, 5 elements follow me roaming the 4 directions. Left release, right block, seize the startling thought. The goer has joy, the user gets blessings. 5 elements follow me, despair turns to success. After Liu Xing finished chanting, the skull on top wearing an official's hat immediately reacted. One of its eyes flared with a dazzling light. It roared with a terrifying voice. Immediately the talismans connecting, these skulls were destroyed. The skull centipede was separated, all its vertebrae exposed. They were instantly shattered. Then many skulls fell out. On each one a strange glowing fire burned. They all fell at once, right in front of Liu Xing. Right after the small flames on the skulls began to spread wildly. The head spun in a circle with a very powerful force. Soon it created an opening in space. A large gate opened. It was like the universe right before Liu Qing's eyes. He couldn't help but be startled. But he was also very exhilarated, because his thinking had been on the right track. He thought smugly, I won. This monster is the guardian of the sect's entrance. So saying, he held out the hand wearing the silver jade bracelet. It immediately reacted with the gate. The look on Liu Xing's face now was pure satisfaction. Before, that extremely powerful light, he whispered excitedly. Could this be? The entrance and the silver jade bracelet is the key. Liu Xing stepped straight into the sect gate. It quickly swallowed him. He had now passed his entire body through. Only one footstep remained. After Liu Qing stepped through the gate, the 5 skulls representing the 5 elements outside began to converge. It formed a shape and gradually turned into a solid entity, like a person sitting in meditation. Then from the center, many arms emerged. It had now become a glossy bronze statue. The skulls from before had completely transformed into a 1,000-eyed, 1,000-armed Buddha statue. It was massive and crashed down heavily. And on this side, when Liu Xing stepped through the gate, he witnessed with his own eyes what was before him, a dim ancient house. Having just stepped through, the dark scenery here also startled him. But everywhere he looked, it was strange and peculiar. He thought to himself, although I've read a few cultivation novels before, I still had no real concept of their content. I never expected to see it with my own eyes. It's even more shocking than the scenes I imagined, even more moving. Suddenly, the silver jade bracelet on his hand glowed. It vibrated strongly. He wondered, what kind of situation is this now? From that silver jade bracelet, a strange aura emerged. It flew up in many winding paths, and it gradually transformed into a human figure and flew up high in front of him. The speck of light from a moment ago soon became a small little girl. Her entire body was covered in talismans. Her eyes were sealed with a strip of red cloth. She appeared right in front of Liu Xing. The little girl held out her fair white hand. Immediately, a source of bright golden energy shot out. This energy enveloped Liu Xing's entire body, and it slowly changed the clothes he was wearing. After Liu Xing had been transformed into a different shape, the clothes on his body were also transfigured, becoming cleaner, and resembling those of an immortal cultivator. The little girl flew closer and cheerfully said, Sect Master, little fairy has finally waited for you. The Heaven and Earth sect is saved. Liu Xing was still very bewildered. He was confused. Inside this silver jade bracelet, how many more strange secrets are hidden? Hearing what the little fairy said, he was now startled and pointed at himself. Wait, did you just call me Sect Master? The little fairy floated just above and replied, Ah, that's right. The young Sect Master doesn't know the full story of what happened back then. Back then, the situation was urgent. From what the little one said, Liu Xing learned that this place was the central hall, sealed by the Heaven and Earth sect. Back then, the refining space, and the girl who called herself Little Fairy, was the formation spirit of the sect's great protective array. A wisp of Little Fairy's spiritual sense was sealed inside the silver jade bracelet, while her main spiritual body was sealed, along with her fellow disciples in the refining space. Now that Liu Xing had arrived, he had released this wisp of Little Fairy's spiritual sense. During the golden age of cultivation, in order for good-natured righteous cultivators and demonic cultivators to cultivate together, the sect master created a method that allowed immortals and demons to cultivate together. Little Fairy also mentioned that at the end of the golden age, evil energy ran rampant everywhere. Cultivators and beasts were eroded by the evil energy, leading to countless instances of losing control and self-destructing. The death toll of mortals was critically high. Even ordinary immortal cultivators lost the ability to resist. At the critical moment, it was still up to the sect master. According to Little Fairy, the sect master used only 2 moves to turn the tide. The Divine General's Descent incantation, a massive 1,000-eyed, 1,000-armed Buddha statue. As far as the first-generation sect master used his skill, that's how many Buddha arms helped him eliminate demons and calamities. The first move could be called the Light of the Righteous Path, eliminating most of the evil demons. The second move was terrifyingly using demons to eliminate demons, wiping out the remaining evil. The sect master at that time, with heroic spirit, pointed and commanded, 5 emperors, great demon, hear my command. Bring all evil demons back to hell. With 2 moves, he nearly leveled the first wave of attack from all the evil demons. But, no matter how strong the sect master was, he couldn't fight against a frighteningly large number of opponents. The beasts and immortal cultivators, eroded by the evil energy, came wave after wave. They were simply endless. In the end, the sect master had no choice but to choose to seal away hope, finally sealing the refining space. The sect master sacrificed his own soul and blood essence to activate the formation to seal the sect. The entire main hall of the sect, the refining space, was sealed underground by the formation. The souls of the sect's disciples were thus preserved, and fell into a deep slumber inside the main hall. Although there was nothing he could do, for better or worse, he left a glimmer of hope for the members of the sect. The original owner's ancestor was outside at that time, carrying out a mission, and couldn't return to the sect in time. What he received was an amnesty decree issued by the sect master. That amnesty decree at the time was waiting for someone to revive the sect's cultivation methods, lead the disciples of the sect, and when the opportunity arises, lift the seal on the refining space's bloodline. The sect struggled to survive the calamity. Now the person who awakens this little fairy will naturally become the next sect master. What Liu Xing had to do was simple: gather spirit energy to awaken the sect. Only then could the immortal cultivation pavilion operate normally again, allowing Liu Xing to begin the path of dual immortal and demonic cultivation to increase his power. At this point, he seemed to have a clear understanding of himself and where he was. Liu Xing felt it would be difficult thinking to himself, but gathering spirit energy in this world, which is barren of it, is basically impossible. Luckily, the reaction of the scavenger bracelet gave him a bold idea. I was able to find the sect's ruins, all thanks to the scavenger bracelet, which detected nuclear energy. That also means that nuclear energy and spirit energy might be interchangeable. If I can bring nuclear energy from the wasteland world here, then I can provide enough energy to awaken the sect. And when it comes to gathering energy, the wasteland era is the best possible place for it. After thinking it over, he thought back to the beastmen. Perhaps they were the key for Liu Xing right now. He thought after the nuclear war, the nuclear contamination was severe, causing a large number of animals to evolve into core beasts. The nuclear contaminants in their bodies condensed into core crystals. If I could just get those core crystals and bring them to this world, that would be great. But can I even go back? Seeing Liu Xing just spacing out, lost in his own world, Xiaoxian flew closer and asked, "Sect Master, what's wrong?" Liu Xing gave a weak smile and brushed it off. "It's nothing. I just haven't slept in a while and I'm a bit tired. Help me find a place to rest." Hearing this, Xiaoxian excitedly turned away. "Oh, I see. Sect Master, follow me." A moment later, Xiaoxian led Liu Xing to a dim room. It was the room for the new sect master. She quickly found a place for Liu Xing to sleep. He immediately lay down to rest and regain his strength, turning to say to Xiaoxian, "While I'm sleeping, make sure you protect me well." Xiaoxian obediently accepted the order. Xiaoxian obeys. With that, Liu Xing closed his eyes in relief. He thought, ever since I got to this world, I've been on high alert. Now that I'm in a safe place, I've suddenly relaxed. How did sleepiness hit me so fast? But as soon as he closed his eyes and opened them again, he was completely shocked by what he saw. He had just woken up, and Liu Xing had traversed back to his original world. Moreover, even the silver jade bracelet had come back with him. From this, he came to two conclusions. First, he could probably travel through sleep, back and forth between the two worlds. Second, he could probably bring items he was touching with his hands to the other world. The scavenger bracelet was proof of that, and so was the silver jade bracelet. So if Liu Xing got a core crystal, he could probably bring it to the other world as well. Very quickly, Liu Xing's hypothesis was confirmed. He stood before Xiaoxian and handed her a spirit stone. Can this be used? The moment Xiaoxian saw the spirit stone, she became extremely excited and overjoyed. Wow! The spirit energy inside is as dense as a real spirit stone. Seeing Xiaoxian jumping for joy, Liu Xing found it adorable, smiled and thought to himself, "It's true, after I sleep, anything I'm touching can come with me to the cultivation world. And the spirit stones really can provide spirit energy to revive the sect." Now excited, Xiaoxian continued, "With this much spirit energy, it's enough to activate the sect's most crucial treasure, the rebirth cauldron." This was the first he'd heard of it. Liu Xing asked curiously, "The rebirth cauldron, is it used for—" Cut to the rebirth hall. Liu Xing and Xiaoxian had arrived. In front of them was a glowing formation array. Xiaoxian walked ahead and chanted Qian and Kun reverse yin and yang. The great void summons the cauldron to life. Right in the center of the array, a large cauldron immediately appeared. It looked like a furnace used for alchemy. It was the 8 trigrams rebirth cauldron. Xiaoxian excitedly explained to Liu Xing, "Sect Master, although the rebirth cauldron has been sealed for 1,000 years, as long as we infuse it with spirit energy, it can be reactivated." Then streams of demonic energy, resembling the shapes of souls, floated towards where the two of them were. They began to be drawn towards the rebirth cauldron. Xiaoxian recounted. Back then, the sect master sealed the souls of the disciples in the eternal soul bamboo of the rebirth hall. The rebirth cauldron forges new bodies for the disciples. Once their souls enter, they can be resurrected. All the disciples were exceptionally talented. With their help, young sect master, reviving the sect will only be a matter of time. Hearing this, Liu Xing's interest was fully piqued. Something this good. What are we waiting for? Hurry up and activate the rebirth cauldron. Xiaoshan obediently replied, "Yes, sir. The current spirit energy is enough to activate the divine artifact and forge one body." And so immediately, Xiaoshan took all the spirit stones Liu Xing had brought and put them into the rebirth cauldron. A large bag of spirit stones was poured in all at once. Beside them, the spirit stones were put into the large 8 trigrams furnace. Flames licked and roared powerfully around them. Xiaoshan said, "As for which disciple will be resurrected this time, it depends on the young sect master's fate." Over with Liu Xing. He was looking forward to it with great anticipation. He was also quite intrigued by this whole thing. Isn't this basically a gotcha pull? Interesting. Wait till I collect more cores and do a 10 pull. Just then, little Xiaoshan looked up at what was emitting from in front of her. Although I don't understand what a 10 pull is, there is something I must remind the sect master of first. Liu Xing looked over and asked, "What is it now?" After about the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, a fire phoenix was created from the furnace. The 8 trigrams furnace appeared. It spread its great wings and fiery energy flooded the entire room. Xiaoshan immediately noticed and called out, "Young sect master, the disciple's body is about to take form." At the same time, from the searing heat of the furnace, the fire phoenix spread its wings and flew towards Xiaoshan. Xiaoshan immediately warned Liu Xing beside her, "Young sect master, be careful. It's coming this way." It was incredibly fast. The fire phoenix wrapped its long tail around Liu Xing. It landed near his arm. Liu Xing was a bit taken aback. So fast! The large beak of the fire phoenix rested on Liu Xing's arm. It was right next to the silver jade bracelet. And then the transformation began. The fire phoenix manifested right from his arm. A dark silhouette like a woman's figure appeared. All around, the powerful fiery form of the phoenix erupted. The fire phoenix began to take human form. On Liu Xing's clenched fist, a human face gradually appeared. The fire phoenix was becoming a human entity, like a living person. In a flash, a pair of long, slender legs appeared. On Liu Xing's clenched fist, the fire phoenix now completed its transformation. She became a beautiful young woman, Min'er, with a figure that could captivate anyone. All around her were talismans, similar to the ones on Xiaoshan. And the newly formed maiden had no idea who Liu Xing was, so she snapped, "Who are you? How dare you not fear the Samadhi true fire on my body?" But when she saw the bracelet, the silver jade bracelet on Liu Xing's wrist, the beautiful woman who had just appeared was startled with fright. The silver jade bracelet. "Could it be you are—" Right beside Liu Xing, Xiaoshan flew forward. She puffed out her chest for the sect master and said, "Why haven't you paid your respects to the young sect master yet?" Liu Xing stood with his arms crossed, very friendly, and said, "Welcome back to this world." But after reappearing, this woman immediately jumped back, keeping her distance from Liu Xing. "That's not right. The old sect master clearly exhausted his cultivation and his soul dissipated." Then with a suspicious gaze, she stared at Liu Xing for a long time thinking, "But this kid can use the silver jade bracelet." And he opened the rebirth cauldron to recreate my body. Could he really be the reincarnation of the sect master? I can't be reckless, I must test him first. This foolish disciple of Liu Xing, newly reborn, was already putting on airs. She was acting all sassy. She leaned forward, showing off her impressive assets, and asked probingly, "For what purpose have you awakened this venerable one?" Liu Xing appeared incredibly gentle and friendly. He came closer, patted his chest, and said sincerely, "Of course it's to have you join us in reviving the sect and restore its former glory." Right beside him, Xiaoshan also nodded in agreement. Hearing this, the beauty before him showed clear dissatisfaction. She struck an arrogant pose and replied, "If it's such a boring matter, this venerable one has absolutely no interest in participating." As soon as she heard those words, Xiaoshan suddenly flew over and with her shark-like teeth chomped down on the beauty's head. She yelled, "No interest, huh? Boring, huh? How dare you be disrespectful to the sect master? Then I, your grandpa, will let you die again." After taking a painful bite, the beauty was completely pissed off. She punched Xiaoshan right through a wall. This incident only further enraged Min'er. Her entire body flared with intense pulsating flames. Then she turned hostile. "Get lost with your revive the sect nonsense. And your stupid former glory crap. I was just resurrected, and I get to live through this prosperous cultivation era. This venerable one will not be controlled by anyone anymore." After this, Min'er became even more furious. She quickly channeled energy into her hand and directed all her anger at Liu Xing. Then she roared with her mouth wide open and threw her massive body right at him. "You useless sect master. My fate is my own, not decided by the heavens." But in this situation, Liu Xing held out his hand. The bracelet, his silver jade bracelet, once again came into play. It shot out a chain. The chain was infused with ancient power and bound Min'er tightly. Her power was restrained by sparks of electricity and she was forced to sit still. Min'er, who had just been resurrected, was now trembling like a puppy. holding the chain. He slowly pulled his old disciple's entire body closer to himself. She was now completely helpless. Seeing him take down the beautiful but feisty woman so easily, Xiaoxian asked, "Young sect master, when did you learn the old sect master's yin-yang spirit-binding curse?" Holding the chain tightly, he laughed and said, "Ha ha! I just guessed right." As soon as I entered the rebirth hall, the silver jade bracelet resonated with something. The moment it resonated, Liu Xing suddenly saw countless sealed souls, and all of them had a chain connecting them to the silver jade bracelet. After that, I also understood the origin of these souls. At this point, returning to a few minutes earlier, although I don't understand what a 10-pull is, there is something I must remind the sect master of first. He turned and asked instinctively, "What is it?" Xiaoshen thought carefully and then said, "The soul-sealing technique is a secret demonic art, and it can only seal the souls of demons, monsters, and ghosts. So the disciples sealed back then were all either demons or monsters. Among them were many demonic overlords. Back then, the only thing they feared was the sect master. So, young sect master, you must be careful. Since these demons and monsters fear the sect master must have a treasure to control them, and the silver jade bracelet can link and resonate with the souls of demons and monsters. This proves that the treasure is the silver jade bracelet." Then I saw a chain from the eternal soul bamboo transfer to the new body, so I became even more certain of my guess. At this point, Liu Xing realized it. He pulled the chain even harder. Then he stood excitedly before her and said grandly, "So I just gently tugged the silver jade bracelet, and I unexpectedly activated something." Beside him, Xiaoshen flew back and forth, adding fuel to the fire. Xiaoshen pointed directly at the newly formed beauty. "Young sect master. That's the yin-yang spirit-binding curse, young sect master. You're amazing, you lowly disciple, state your name." Tied up tightly, the girl in front of him knew she couldn't resist. She was trembling and sweating profusely. Her tone also became more obedient. She had to admit defeat and give her background. "This disciple's name is Huoya. I was originally a fire spirit artifact, created by an immortal master using Samadhi true fire. After 100 years of cultivation, I took human form. By chance, I met the previous sect master and was taken in as a disciple." When Xiaoxian heard this, she looked disappointed. She made a sassy face and said, "So you're just an artifact spirit that gained sentience? Why act so high and mighty?" Liu Xing also let out a sigh. "So fed up, you're taking up a body but refuse to work. Let's just recycle you. What a waste of a spirit stone." Seeing herself being disrespected like this, and fearing a bad ending, Huoya pleaded and begged, and then started flexing about her past. Don't. This disciple was once a high-grade immortal artifact, used for alchemy, talisman making, and forging treasures, from mortal iron to immortal artifacts. And now she took out all her treasures. She laid them out in front, like it was a fire sale to get Liu Xing to keep her. Immortal true word talismans, lightning flash talismans, and the heavenly dipper demon-slaying greatsword. These were the treasures sealed along with this disciple. I offer them to the sect master. The moment Xiaoxian saw these things, she stretched her mouth wide in disdain. "Is that all you've got? That's not even enough for a beggar." Liu Xing, on the other hand, made the same sassy face as Xiaoxian. The two were truly two peas in a pod. They kept throwing shade, scaring the hell out of Huoya. "Well then, I guess this is goodbye." Hearing this, Huoya was terrified. Her defiant attitude was gone. She sobbed and screamed, covering her face as she begged, "Sect master, please calm down. As long as there's enough spirit energy as raw material, this disciple can refine more talismans and pills, treasures to offer to the sect master." "Now we're talking," Xiaoshen asked gleefully. "Really?" Huoya cried out, replying clearly word for word and promising, "This disciple guarantees to help the sect master monopolize the path of treasure refining." Liu Xing thought it was acceptable and decided to give her a chance. "Okay, just one chance." The flashback ends. Back to the present. Xiaoshen and Liu Xing are returning to the rebirth hall. After he went to get more spirit stones, he opened the large doors and the two stepped inside. Liu Xing was carrying a large bag of spirit stones. Inside the main hall, Huoya was lying in the middle, waiting. When she saw the light emanating from the bag of spirit stones, she sat up in astonishment. Liu Xing said, "Huoya, is the spirit energy from these stones enough?" Huoya took the pile of spirit stones in her hands. They glowed brightly, illuminating her entire body. Huoya said joyfully, "Sect master, you're amazing. In a place so full of demonic energy, to be able to find a treasure so full of spirit energy like this." In her heart, she was a bit hesitant, but didn't say it. The new sect master truly has some skills. It's just that this rock doesn't seem much like a spirit stone. But in any case, it was more than okay, so she used it. And so, using her fire spirit power, she made the spirit stones float in the air, circling around her body. Finally, a chance to refine treasures again. Then Huoya channeled her energy. She focused completely and stood up straight to circulate her internal energy. The spirit stones all released their energy at once. Huoya said excitedly, "Let's begin right away." In front of her, she swirled her hands in a circular motion. The spirit stones gathered a stream of energy. Fire followed, coiling around it. Fallen fire. Refining art. The energy is sufficient. Huoya clapped her hands together forcefully. She unleashed a burst of power. Huoya shouted, "Ha!" Everything was refined by Huoya. A piece of paper made from the energy of the spirit stone. She produced it from the palm of her hand. She then presented it and explained, "Because this type of stone is also a raw material, like a spirit stone. I can only randomly refine treasures from it." Then she pushed the item in her hand towards Liu Xing. After finishing the refining and proving herself, she said, her cheeks blushing, "This time I've refined a soaring shadow talisman." Taking the piece of paper Huoya had just refined, Liu Xing looked at it, smiled slightly, and muttered, then asked curiously, judging by the name, "It's probably a divine ability that can activate the power of a bird. It's all right, just a bit basic. If I want a better random treasure, what do I have to do?" Right then, in front of Liu Xing, Huoya, with her surging energy, was twisting and turning as she continued to refine another item. Huoya replied, "Of course you increase the amount of spirit energy input." Immediately, Huoya unleashed her power. The flame from the phoenix took shape. Her two hands were gathering energy. She chanted loudly, "Fuse!" Super fallen fire refining art multiplied. Another item was refined by Huoya from the spirit stones Liu Xing brought back. She excitedly pushed the item in her hand forward and said, "This time I've refined a seed." The seed moved into Liu Xing's hand. He looked at the strange, glowing, sharp object. He was quite interested and impressed. "This seed doesn't look simple. What kind of plant will it be?" Xiaoshan also flew closer and excitedly realized, "This seed looks so familiar. It looks like a fruit I've eaten before. I think that plant is called the azure cycle vine. The fruit is delicious when ripe." While Liu Xing and Xiaoshan were very pleased with the items Huoya refined, she suddenly collapsed in front of them. Her body weakened. The two of them looked over, startled. She couldn't even stand steadily anymore. Huoya propped herself up with her hands and tried to get up, explaining why she was so weak. "Even though I'm a cultivator, I haven't eaten in 2 days. Furthermore, my cultivation hasn't fully recovered. Refining treasures consumes a large amount of spirit energy." Showing great concern for the beauty, Liu Xing put his hand on her shoulder, startling the newly reincarnated maiden. She was shy. He immediately scooped up his mobile alchemy furnace. Liu Xing gently held her and moved closer, speaking kindly to her. "You probably fainted from hunger. I'll take you to rest first." A moment later in the room, Xiaoshan flew over to Liu Xing and whispered, "Young sect master, don't worry. After a few hours of rest, she'll recover." But after that, Liu Xing was troubled by a major issue. It was the urgent need for food. But the food problem still needs to be solved. Poor Huoya. She was just summoned and hasn't had anything to eat. She had to exhaust her energy to refine spirit stones for me. She was now holding her hungry stomach fast asleep. Liu Xing also remembered that he had once tried to bring food to this world by sleeping. Actually, I'd thought about this problem before. But unfortunately, the experiment showed that food can't be transported. So the rule is probably that materials with biological properties cannot be brought back and forth. Over here, Xiaoshan was also racking her brain. Xiaoshan started to think, if we can't solve the food issue, we can't resurrect other disciples. Suddenly, a brilliant idea came to him. Liu Xing snapped his fingers and laughed out loud. "Ah, that's right. If we have more disciples, maybe this problem will be solved." When Xiaoshan saw Liu Xing's attitude, she quickly said loudly, "Although I don't fully understand, as long as the sect master thinks it's possible, Xiaoshan will definitely follow." And so a moment later, at the refining furnace, Xiaoshan and Liu Xing were about to summon more disciples. Once again, Liu Xing looked at the refining furnace, which was blazing with energy, and asked, "What's going on this time? Why is the rebirth cauldron shaking so violently?" Xiaoshan thought for a moment and then guessed, "It seems like this time we're resurrecting 2 disciples at once." The kid flew closer to the furnace. Right before their eyes, 2 dragons appeared, representing the opposing forces of spiritual and demonic power. They coiled around each other, radiating an uncomfortable power, Xiaoshan said with a worried tone. "And it looks like they're fighting." A few seconds later, Liu Xing chanted loudly, "Yin-Yang Spirit Binding Curse." 2 chains were released, binding tightly the 2 dragons that were about to fight. They were tightly bound by Liu Xing's power, unable to move. He pulled the chain hard. Liu Xing roared authoritatively, "Both of you stop." Immediately after, the 2 chains binding the 2 dragons transformed them into 2 opposing beautiful women. They were still pulling each other's hair and arguing. The little white dragon and black dragon looked over at Liu Xing, startled. From outside the door, a powerful energy of a phoenix's flame flew in. Huoya immediately appeared in front of the white and black dragons. She roared fiercely, "With all this noise, how is anyone supposed to sleep?" Seeing the two newly resurrected dragons before her, she cursed them out. After cursing her life, Huoya realized with a start, "Wait, is that you guys? This is gonna be fun." It turns out they were old acquaintances because Huoya looked extremely happy. Liu Xing and Xiaoxian, on the other hand, had a million questions running through their minds. They asked in unison, "Who are they?" Huoya giggled. "They are the famous Dragon Clan sisters from back in the day." Then she happily and loudly announced their identities clearly. The older sister is Kang Mingxia, the younger is Kang Liuli. Back in the day, they were the most infamous duo in the sect. I can't believe they were resurrected together. Talk about a fateful encounter. Why don't you two fight it out and settle the score? The two dragons bound tightly could do nothing. They struggled uncomfortably and cursed at Huoya, "Get lost." But Xiaoxian was no pushover. Seeing the two newly summoned dragons being so rude, she pointed her finger and sternly reprimanded them. "Quiet down. You've just been resurrected and you haven't paid your respects to the sect master yet." Hearing this, the white and black dragons looked up at the young sect master. Sect master. Their gaze was a mix of curiosity and thirst. Immediately, the white dragon's fair hand rested on Liu Qing's chest. As she touched him, her mischievous hand started caressing a bit too much. The white dragon said with interest, "Young sect master, you're truly extraordinary. Liu Li can feel that within your body. Sect master lies an extremely powerful spirit energy." Then she got closer to the sect master's dragon-like physique. She brought her beautiful dragon face close to his and said, softly, "But at the same time, I can also sense that the sect master has never studied the Taoist arts. As the disciple most proficient in Taoist arts and divine abilities in the sect, how about I assist the sect master with his cultivation, Then right in front of Liu Xing, the white dragon flaunted her impressive white assets. Then she made a strange gesture and said, "Liu Li is an expert in the art of dual cultivation, you know." Before she could utter any more sweet nothings, the black dragon flew over and decked the white one, making her spit blood. She roared furiously, "Get lost. Does the sect master need you to teach him?" Contrary to the white dragon's personality, the black dragon was incredibly fierce and powerful. She puffed out her chest with great presence and said, "Mingxia, before I joined the sect, I was once the top assassin of the Nether King sect. I have all sorts of secret arts at my fingertips." Sect master. Thinking she was about to say something important. Who would have thought? It would all come back to dual cultivation. This black dragon blushed, and her voice suddenly softened. "So I should be the one to teach the sect master. I know about dual cultivation too." Firecrow suddenly got interested and chimed in, her face twisting into a pervy grin. "It's just dual cultivation. We can all do it together. How about we fight for it? Whoever wins gets to teach." These twin dragons couldn't stand a third person. They flew over and slammed Firecrow's face right into the floor. "Get lost!" Meanwhile, Little Fairy giggled, "What goes around comes around." Heavens, who was that? Things have been a bit chaotic. The main character hasn't even said anything, and the ladies are already going at it. Liu Xing crossed his arms and said sternly, "All right, stop fighting." Right now, he was focused on the seed that Firecrow had just created. Liu Xing held it out and said, "Right now, solving the food problem is the most important thing. Whoever can tell me the method to make this seed, Bearfruit will be the one to teach me cultivation." As soon as she saw the seed, the black dragon was captivated. It seemed the black dragon knew what this was. She took it, her eyes lighting up. "It's a Bixiao Samsara vine seed. This is a true treasure, one seen only once in 1,000 years. Legend says this strange plant must be buried in extremely evil soil that has absorbed the malevolent chi from countless corpses. Then you must use a technique to make it absorb the essence in the soil before it can sprout." At this point, the white dragon gracefully stepped forward, posing flirtatiously with Liu Xing as she continued. "Not only that, after it sprouts, the plant requires a massive amount of spiritual energy to grow. It needs both malevolent chi and spiritual energy simultaneously, which is why this plant is extremely rare." The white dragon added another crucial detail about this fruit for Liu Xing to hear. It's said that eating its fruit not only increases your cultivation level, but can also grant you divine abilities. Liu Xing, after learning this useful information about the fruit, thought for a long while, then looked for a way. Sounds like this plant is no joke. Spiritual energy isn't difficult. I can continue to collect beast cores, but for the evil soil I'll have to go to the ghost domain to collect it. Only now did Liu Xing remember this wasn't an easy place to make a living. He weighed his options. But according to the original owner's memories, the ghost domain is filled with all sorts of evil spirits. It's just that my range of activity was small before, so I haven't encountered them yet. So he had a perfect plan to collect the soil. Liu Xing told Little Fairy to arrange for the 3 disciples to rest. He himself needed to return to the apocalyptic world to collect more cores to refine treasures and distribute them. He had to ensure everyone's safety while collecting the soil. Once he had a plan, Liu Xing quickly fell asleep. When he was completely asleep, allowing him to cross over to the other world, a woman's foot stealthily stepped inside. This large shadow slowly approached the head of the bed of Liu Xing right as he opened his eyes. The system announced 18 missed calls. Upon seeing this, Liu Xing looked up surprised and puzzled. It's a message from the captain. A basic system from a junkyard watch. The image of the fierce captain slammed her hands down right in front of him, scaring him shitless. Kid, why didn't you answer your phone? Get over here now. I've got something good for you at the Fallen Guild building. After receiving the urgent message from his captain, Liu Xing arrived. He rushed to the scanner in front of the apartment to get inside. Liu Xing muttered worriedly. The captain called me so many times. Did something happen? The scanner displayed a notification. Facial recognition successful. Liu Xing. The elevator doors opened. Inside were piles of things, spoiled and smelly items. This stuff suddenly flew out, covering Liu Xing. So much trash poured out, making Liu Xing completely anxious. He quickly jumped in and yelled, "Captain!" Entering the room, he saw the true horror. This captain was a real hot mess, no different from those messy girls in China. She's a girl, but her room was a total dump. Liu Xing rushed in. Seeing this, he was a bit taken aback, but asked, "Are you okay?" The captain was still nibbling on a snack. She turned to look at him, with a lazy posture on the sofa. The captain was holding a game controller, too lazy to even stand up. She just leaned back and asked, surprising him, "Xingzi, what are you doing here?" This girl's name was Fan Xiaoyu. Looking at his captain's feigned innocent face, he stared blankly and asked again, "Captain, didn't you say you had something good for me?" The captain was busy munching on some shrimp crackers. Then she leaned back, deliberately pushing her assets up and down. She asked with a clueless look, "Something good?" Only now did she sit up. This beautiful captain was really something else. She stretched her arms, yawning and muttering, "Ugh, so tired." What good thing? Could it be that she's only just remembering now? She suddenly perked up with excitement and shouted, "That's right, I remember." Right after that, the captain cheerfully shot to her feet and pointed at herself, then said, "Your captain here recently got a big order." She immediately stated her reason and enthusiastically asked for Liu Xing's opinion. But in other words, she was forcing him to do the mission for her. But the captain is very busy, so let's let Xingzi use this rare opportunity to practice okay. Before he could even answer, the well-endowed female captain jumped over to Liu Xing and threw an arm around his neck, then generously continued, "Don't worry, a 2-star mission from the Fallen Guild usually pays very well. When it's done, we'll split it 70-30. Hearing this, Liu Xing was a bit, but he tried to act cool and replied reluctantly, "Thanks for your trust and concern, Captain. But for me to do a 2-star mission alone, isn't that a bit risky?" Hearing Liu Xing say that, the captain took it upon herself to introduce her team, acting as if it had many members. She said excitedly, "Don't worry, a member of Fan Xiaoyu's team. The strongest S-rank Fallen won't get hurt. Besides, you're my only member. So how can you not go alone?" After all that back and forth, the main point was just that she wouldn't go with him. She should have just said so from the start. Then Liu Xing excitedly stated his own request. "In that case, I want to upgrade my equipment." The captain became even more enthusiastic. She gave him a thumbs up right in his face. "Great idea, go for it." That was all he was waiting for. Liu Xing quickly ran over, rubbing his hands together, and whispered into the captain's ear, "Yes, so Captain, could you sponsor some funds?" The moment money was mentioned, everything changed. Captain Fan Xiaoyu's body suddenly grew weak, and she started coughing. "Ahem, funds." Her tone was now completely feeble. Her expression and demeanor were a world away from a moment ago. The captain said, "Of course not." This was accompanied by a flowery explanation for her lack of money. "And you know, my new human ability is super physique. I don't need to buy equipment, otherwise I would have lent you some. But you need some money to do anything." Liu Xing immediately pleaded, trying to argue his point. He had to persuade her at all costs. "Captain, just a little. So I can buy some equipment, it won't hurt." "Captain, I heard the monthly allowance for a fallen king is really high. And you don't buy equipment anyway." At this, the captain sighed. You're still too naive." She bluntly explained the reason why the captain was so stingy with Liu Xing's money. Even though the captain didn't need to buy real equipment, but in-game equipment is much more expensive. Plus I have to buy new games every month. This money is barely enough. What's worse is, this captain, Fan Xiaoyu, even revealed her love for gaming, saying, "Plus the next-gen console comes out next month. I'm worried I won't have enough money. The console alone is a 3,500 Sun dollars, not even counting new games." Oh my god. It seemed Liu Xing had joined the wrong team. It was like a bolt from the blue for him. But Liu Xing only dared to think to himself, "I almost forgot the captain is a certified game addict." Her investment in games isn't just spending money like water. It's like an unstoppable flash flood. Seeing the extreme game addict behavior of his dicey captain in his one-man squad, Liu Xing felt like he was falling into a bottomless abyss. This isn't gaming. It's burning money. Relying on the captain is a no-go. I'll have to figure it out myself. A little later, while riding his steel horse to the mission, Liu Xing was deep in thought. Even without money to upgrade my gear, I'll never refuse a mission. From the captain. Not because of the generous reward, or the chance to get cores, but mainly because the captain saved my life. The reason for this goes back to Liu Xing's troubled life. His parents starved to death when he was young, but Liu Xing was tough. He survived by eating garbage with the beggars. Later, he was captured by the Rust Vulture bandits and forced to be their lackey, right when they were fighting for territory with the Red Banner gang. But Liu Xing was tough. The winning side took him in as a child soldier. But compared to the beasts, the bandits were just babies. They were often attacked while looting in the wilderness. But once again, Liu Xing's luck held out. Maybe he wasn't filling enough, because the beasts didn't eat him. From then on, Liu Xing continued to survive thanks to his tough constitution. He thought he'd live forever, until he encountered his first beast tide. A beast tide is a phenomenon where beasts riot en masse. The cause is still unknown. When Liu Xing fell, he thought his lucky streak was over. But unexpectedly, a savior appeared. Recalling that moment, the savior, who saved Liu Xing's small life in time, was Fan Xiaoyu, his now slovenly captain. She stood before the beast tide, grabbing the little Liu Xing by the collar and yelling, "Damn beast tide! You're making me miss my ranked match tonight." Then she put Liu Xing in a safe place. Fan Xiaoyu strode forward majestically. "Kid, sit tight. I gotta finish this quick." She clenched her fist and channeled power golden straight fist into her palm. Fan Xiaoyu unleashed a powerful hurricane-like punch at the beast tide. That figure of hers was like a hero, saving Liu Xing's entire life. In a hurry to get back to her game that day, the captain wiped out the entire beast tide with a single chuny move, in the blink of an eye, completing an 8-star mission and saving a life. They say motivation makes all the difference. Fan Xiaoyu annihilated the whole beast tide holding Liu Xing in one arm, standing triumphantly on their corpses with smug pride. Little Liu Xing, you've got some tough luck, kid. Stick with me from now on. From then on, the captain took him in. After discovering Liu Xing had the constitution of a new human, she had him join her team. Liu Xing was like a shooting star, fallen into the captain's universe, becoming her sole team member. Back to the present, scene changed to the Beast Corps Research Institute. As soon as he arrived, the system appeared at this location, announcing an urgent mission from the Research Institute. Difficulty 2 stars. Liu Xing stopped his bike and looked up at the Research Institute, massive before him, confirming from the mission documents that this institute was the location. As soon as Liu Xing arrived, 5 people came out to greet him. The man in front spoke first in a friendly manner. "Fallen brother, we've finally been waiting for you." As soon as he saw Liu Xing, this man immediately offered a handshake and smiled, speaking very naturally. He introduced himself first. "I am Dr. Shu, the person in charge of this research institute." "And you are?" Liu Xing, being polite, responded. "I'm Liu Xing. You can call me Xing." The man shook Liu Xing's hand warmly. He spoke more familiarly. "Well then, please come inside to talk, Brother Xing." A moment later, Liu Xing and the group entered the reception room. Dr. Shu was enthusiastic, treating Liu Xing like an honored guest. "Please have a seat, Brother Xing." There were even 2 pretty maids standing by to serve him diligently. The maid on this side bowed respectfully before Liu Xing. She obediently pointed to the teacup on the table. "Big brother, please have some tea." Liu Xing found this a bit over the top. He politely said to the doctor, "Dr. Shu, there's no need for such formalities. Please get straight to the mission details." Getting right to business, he frankly recounted and explained, "Our research institute is a charitable organization. Over the past 5 years, we have rescued hundreds of beastmen. This place has become their home. Many humans believe beastmen are dangerous. In my opinion, that's just prejudice. The beastmen who want to integrate just hope for a safe place. To eliminate this prejudice, we not only rescue beastmen, but also research how to remove the bestialization gene to help them become fully human. As the institute improved, we encountered a major problem." In front of Liu Xing, Dr. Shu's face showed clear signs of fatigue and repeated harassment. On his face, he voiced his concerns. "It seems we're being stalked by a beast, so we need a fallen to handle it." Just then, the whole room suddenly shook violently. All 4 of them jumped up in alarm. Dr. Shu's face turned pale. He trembled as he looked around and guessed, "It's here again?" Liu Xing immediately dashed outside to check. He moved with incredible speed and instructed, "I'll go see. You all stay here." Inside, the antsy Dr. Shu called out after him, "Brother, be careful." Outside, 2 soldiers with guns were continuously firing at a target ahead. One man, while firing non-stop, yelled, "The bullets aren't working." Rushing out, Liu Xing saw the scene. His eyes shot up to the massive dark shadow ahead, and he was startled. What the? Right in front of Liu Xing was a giant demonic beast. It had the form of a python spirit. Its entire body was covered in hard scales like large rocks. It flicked its long tongue, making a frightening hissing sound. Liu Xing looked at it, with many doubts running through his mind. The mission said it was just one creature, but this is an ancient wasteland. Python, it's 10 times bigger than normal, and it's extremely venomous. This is a 2-star mission. It should be at least 3 stars. I got played by the captain. He looked up at the huge and massive demonic beast. Its head stretched down close to where Liu Xing stood. He looked up in horror. A quick assessment: its scales are too thick. A random attack will just piss it off. The beast began to use its ability. Now, it opened its mouth wide and let out a roar of discordant noise, sending the 2 soldiers in front flying. Liu Xing clamped his hands over his ears. He knew this was a snake roar. Looks like I have to lure it somewhere else first. With an idea in his head, Liu Xing quickly ran past a soldier above. He hastily grabbed the bomb pouch from the soldier's back and said, "Yank, hey buddy, let me borrow a few of these, K." After taking from one guy, Liu Xing jumped over and took the bomb-laden belt from the second soldier. He turned back to reassure them, "Don't stress. I'm just taking a few mines, man." This soldier was still covering his ears tight, so he couldn't hold on to his bombs. He yelled, "Is that really okay?" And the other soldier was also at a loss for words, with Liu Xing cursing inwardly. "Is this scavenger really that poor? He's lacking weapons too. No, wait, is this scavenger for real?" After swiping a few grenades from the 2 soldiers ahead, he rushed forward and threw one into the monster's mouth. "Hey, sweetie pie, look over here." The grenade hit the corner of the giant snake's mouth. Injured, it stuck out its tongue and hissed repeatedly. But that last hit was basically just enough to scratch an itch on the snake's tough outer scales. Liu Xing immediately jumped on his bike and took off. He was trying to draw its attack. "Over here, your big bro is over here." Seeing the one who taunted it running away, the snake roared in fury. It immediately gave chase, tailing Liu Xing closely. The size of this snake must be a full 100 meters long, yet its massive body moved incredibly fast. Scene changed to the Chaos Gorge. Liu Xing had lured the snake all the way out here so as not to affect the Research Institute. While riding ahead, Liu Xing tossed grenades behind him for the snake to take the full brunt. He rode on gleefully, shouting back, "These mines I swiped are a blast to use." Then he was suddenly moved to tears. Liu Xing had never felt so exhilarated as he did right now. He'd never had a fight this satisfying before. Casually tossing mines is so trendy. After this mission, I should stop by the Research Institute more often. He expertly steered with his knees on this terrain, his 2 hands free holding 2 strings of bombs. Now the main character's cocky expression began to form a new plan. "It's time to send this beast packing. I've lured it to the Chaos Gorge. The Research Institute should be safe now. Let's end it here." With that, Liu Xing simultaneously threw a whole bunch of bombs towards the monster. He joyfully called out sweetly, "My dearest baby girl, please accept this big gift from me." The hot-headed baby girl chased after Liu Xing, opening its mouth wide to take a bite of his firm butt. But unfortunately, what it got was a mouthful of bombs. Right after taking a dozen exploding bombs to the face, impacting its tough skin, a series of explosions ripped the snake to shreds. He stood before the beast. Liu Xing activated the energy in his hands. He then channeled that energy into his sword. Liu Xing said, borrowing lightning. Then he took a running leap high into the air and pointed his sword straight at the monster. Lightning flash slash. The giant snake monster was slashed across the neck by Liu Xing's sword. Very quickly, its tough skin was damaged. The snake roared madly, writhing in pain. Liu Xing landed, seeing the wound on the neck that he had inflicted on the giant snake. He looked up with a satisfied expression and said, "Not bad. This move is useful." But to his surprise, on the skin that Liu Xing had just damaged, it had the ability to self-heal. In an instant, the cut had sealed up almost like new. He never expected something like this. Liu Xing looked up frozen stiff. What? Its recovery ability is just too OP. The giant snake now flared its hood. It was a king cobra with skin that could regenerate and was as hard as rock. Its head struck up and down repeatedly. And now it was the baby girl's turn to show off. It lunged forward and from its large mouth spat 2 streams of bright green venom, sickly green. That green liquid flew right towards Liu Xing's face. He screamed in terror, "Holy crap, it can spit poison!" A moment later, the snake's venom fell to the ground. It had corrosive properties. When it hit the ground, you could hear sizzling sounds. Looking closely, Liu Xing's motorcycle was completely gone. Only a few wheels remained. The liquid secreted from its mouth was truly terrifying. Seeing the goo eat away his bike, Liu Xing's annoyance was clear. he said in a low voice. Turns out its spit is concentrated acid. Even scarier than poison. My poor 82 bike. I'll have to end this quickly because of that. At this point, he couldn't take it anymore. Liu Xing unleashed a new form. He flew high into the air, his power, exploding right in front of the snake. Even it was amazed by this. Flying high, Liu Xing had large wings. Energy radiated from his whole body. He glanced down at it and said, "Luckily, I still have an ace up my sleeve, the Kang Ying Heavenly Talisman." The fact that this python was more difficult than expected only made Liu Xing more determined to kill it no matter what. He held out his sword as a warning. "For my beloved bike." With that, Liu Xing raised his sword, taking a running jump in midair. He shot forward with the speed of a lightning bolt. As Liu Xing flew in for a powerful stab, he yelled, "I will definitely get a lot of crystals from you." His entire body now seemed to transform into spiritual energy, in the shape of a large hawk, and this entire entity was rushing to attack the giant python. His flying speed was like a rocket. He pierced through the snake's body from one hole to another, inflicting continuous dense damage on it. The snake was now battered and broken. It no longer had the strength to heal itself anymore. Finally, Liu Xing stopped. He continued to gather energy in his sword and approached its large red eye, muttering, "This Titan-class trash. Its life force is tougher than diamond. To be beaten like this, and still recover so quickly. But it's all over now." He was about to deliver one last blow to send this beast to meet its maker quickly, but Liu Xing noticed something strange. Looking into its large eye, he saw many tears streaming out, and the python's despairing gaze moved him. Wait, this beast is actually crying? At that moment, using the silver jade ring, Liu Xing manifested a chain as usual to capture the beast. He speculated, could it really be? Indeed, just as Liu Xing thought, after being struck by the whip, the python transformed into a human form. The python's body was covered in wounds inflicted by Liu Xing. Its body was completely weakened, unable to resist. Liu Xing stood behind, looking at the large body and said, "Oh my god, it's true, it transformed immediately. It really is a beast, man, no wonder it's sentient." At that moment, he looked down for a long while. It seems I didn't realize this. Something isn't right here. After gathering enough power, Liu Xing combined the talisman that Firecrow had refined the other day with the aura from his sword. Liu Xing's silhouette was now terrifying. He looked up and shouted, "Mission!" A powerful sword stroke flashed by, followed by a horrifying scream. He delivered the final blow. Complete. The giant python's tail was severed. It fell to the ground with a thud. Now, Liu Xing brought the spoils of war back to Dr. Shu. Liu Xing stood before everyone with his hands on his hips and declared, "I blew its Titan body to bits. Only the tail is left." Dr. Shu had just seen his threat. Has been taken care of. He happily held up his phone, instantly scanning to transfer the money while smiling warmly. "Thanks, my man Xing. The mission fee's been paid." The system on Liu Xing's scavenger watch announced, "Ping received 20,000 SA currency." Liu Xing also coolly replied, "No sweat." He thought the reward for a 1-star mission to destroy the Beastman Club was only 5,000 SA currency. A 2-star mission pays several times more, but the difficulty is truly high. Many people trade their lives for this money. With the business concluded smoothly, Liu Xing curiously asked the doctor a few things. "Oh right, Dr. Shu. The research facility is supposed to be in a place where no core beasts appear. For a Titan core beast to show up here, something must be off. Has anything strange happened at the research facility recently?" Hearing this, Dr. Shu acted like it was completely normal. He sheepishly scratched his head and answered right away. No, core beasts with no spiritual energy trespassing on private property like this. You get used to it. You don't need to worry about it." Then he willingly pointed towards his 2 beastman maids. He even enthusiastically offered for them to serve Liu Xing. "Oh right, Xing, you look tired. How about you stay and rest for a bit? All right. I'll have Damei and Xiaomei help you relieve some stress." The 2 beast women behind him also looked eager and gave him a very warm welcome. But strangely, Liu Xing felt something was off. He crossed his arms suspiciously. "Oh, the research facility really offers this kind of service." Then Liu Xing's expression turned completely serious. He slowly stepped closer and questioned him. "Tell me, Dr. Shu, don't tell me you don't know that running a Beastman service business is illegal? Or are you saying you're intentionally setting a trap for me?" Seeing Liu Xing's attitude, which wasn't very friendly towards the idea of being served by beastmen, and coupled with the fact that Liu Xing seemed quite upright, Dr. Shu started to flail and get flustered. "Don't get the wrong idea. These are all volunteer beastmen. It has nothing to do with the research facility. It's mainly that the beastmen want to thank you for protecting their home. That's why they wanted to offer themselves, hoping you'll continue to protect the research facility in the future." Hearing this, Liu Xing flashed a wicked grin. Furthermore, he looked dangerous as he probed further. "Is that so? In that case, I have a bit of a wild idea. Do you have any other female beastmen? Can you arrange for all of them to see me?" Thinking he was so straight-laced, Dr. Shu was utterly shocked.
What the hell?
So we're all cut from the same cloth. Dr. Shu comfortably slung an arm around Liu Xing's shoulders. He pounded his chest and said, "A man of culture, I see. I'll arrange it right away." Liu Xing, riding the momentum, replied cheekily, "You got it." A moment later, Liu Xing was given a private room. Inside were 6 beastmen maids, carefully selected to serve him. Liu Xing sat before these demi-humans. He asked, "So is everyone here?" The beastmen, dressed alike, were all obedient maids, cute and full of excitement. Each one had a different personality and her own unique beauty. From the back, an antelope maid spoke up. "Handsome, we're all here." The avian maid in the front, the boldest one, approached him and said proactively, "It's a pleasure to serve you." But this was all part of Liu Xing's plan. He pulled a talisman from his silver jade bracelet, and his voice dropped. "I don't feel any pleasure from you guys at all." Cut the act. In other words, these beastmen had fallen right into Liu Xing's trap. He took out the talisman and began to channel energy into it. Lightning charm. Liu Xing's expression was now much more interested. It seemed this was much more fun for him than fooling around with them. Instantly, the group of beastmen were bound tightly by the magic emanating from the talisman. They were entangled in sparks of electricity, zapped until they were numb, their whole bodies trembling. Meanwhile, the perverted Dr. Shu quietly walked to and opened the door of a secret research room. He walked inside. Here there were many test tubes, and inside were the bodies of beastmen, both male and female. He slowly walked deeper inside. At the very back was a large glass experiment tank, containing a beastman and a person inside. He came here, stood, and mumbled, "My precious daughter, Daddy has made you wait. It's all that beast's fault for causing trouble before." His daughter had many of her body parts bitten off. He was using science to treat... "Dad?" Dr. Shu looked up and said, "But it's been killed. Today, Daddy can finally bring you back to life." Suddenly, from behind the doctor, Liu Xing appeared out of nowhere. He said in a low voice, "This is probably why the Titan beastman came knocking, right?" Dr. Shu was startled and quickly spun around. He couldn't believe that Liu Xing had made it this far. "Xing, why did you come to our beastman rescue room? You can't just enter this place freely. It's only been a few minutes. Don't tell me you finished with them that quickly." At that moment, without any more hesitation, Liu Xing lunged forward and gave the perverted Dr. Shu a solid punch. It smashed his mouth, knocking out a few teeth and sending blood splattering. Liu Xing was furious and cursed. "I've been putting up with you for a while. Not only are your words phony, but now you're trying to jinx me too. Tell the truth. What kind of shady business is your research facility really up to?" Sent flying by the powerful blow, the man now showed his true colors. "I wanted to offer you a sweet deal, persuade you to join my research facility. But since you insist on sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, then I'll drop the act." Right after that, the madman held up his latest model phone. He showed it to Liu Xing. On it was a distress signal. On this, he held his swollen face and said excitedly, "While I was talking to you earlier, I already pressed the alert button." After these words, many beastmen were summoned by Dr. Shu. They surrounded Liu Xing. "Kid, no matter how strong you are, you can't defeat beastmen, enhanced by my biotech gene technology." But these pipsqueak beastmen were nothing compared to Liu Xing. He casually tossed down the beastmen's collars. After Liu Xing had wiped them all out in the room, "Just now," he said menacingly, "if you're going to blame someone, blame yourself for being too naive. Sorry, but you've lost control over them." As soon as he saw the bracelets used to control his beastmen, now in Liu Xing's hands, Dr. Shu hadn't expected this part. He felt a pang of guilt. What? These electronic collars are supposed to blow their heads off if you try to force them open. How did you do it? Now Liu Xing was completely free from the control of the beastman horde. On the contrary, he could control and command them. Dr. Shu's hot trump cards had become powerful assets surrounding Liu Xing. Each and every one of them transformed into their beastman forms, ready to attack the doctor. Liu Xing stood there and answered lightly, "You don't need to worry about that. They're on my side now. Damie and the others told me all about your crimes. The research facility takes in beastman girls, but in reality it's a trap. Any who are even slightly good-looking are forced to wear the collars. Because the collars can electrocute or even blow their heads off, the beastmen can only obey meekly. They don't dare resist any of the perverted requests. Not only that, the research facility develops all sorts of forbidden enhancement drugs, and they're all tested on the beastmen first. The rage these beastmen have felt is all coming to a head right now." Liu Xing, representing the beastmen, who had been mentally and physically oppressed, exposed this man's crimes. "You claim the research facility has a kind heart, but the one who hurt them the most is you, Dr. Shu. He never thought he would be overthrown like this today." His face was now pale with fear, not a drop of blood left in it. He hurriedly explained, No, that's not it. I did it all because of what happened that day. I once truly wanted to help the beastmen. I couldn't stand seeing innocent beastmen being bullied. That day when Dr. Shu was just a student, he had decided to step in to save a pitiful beastman. Picking up a nearby brick, Dr. Shu attacked the hunter from behind. He then picked up the beastman, a young green snake, and hurried away, leaving the beastman trapper writhing in pain behind him. Later, he became a biologist, got married, and had a child of his own. Dr. Shu took in quite a few beastmen, and his research was focused on helping beastmen transform their genes into human ones. After many years of research, he had successfully decoded the secret of the beastman gene, but everything completely fell apart, ever since what happened that day. A beastman had lost its mind after being injected with a transformation drug that was still in the testing phase, developed by Dr. Shu himself. When he arrived on the scene, his wife and the beastman were already dead. Only his daughter was left barely breathing. At that time, his daughter's body had been torn to shreds, many parts of her body gone. The girl tried to beg her father to save her life, but Dr. Shu could do nothing more than scream in anguish. And from then on, his research was no longer about helping beastmen, but about saving his daughter and wife. Xiao Qing's body was severely damaged. Just keeping her alive already required a huge amount of money. He reached an agreement with an underground organization. They provided funds and live beastman bodies. And the doctor was responsible for extracting materials from the beastmen's bodies to create various drugs, enhancement injections for humans, hallucinogens, even all sorts of forbidden drugs were available. These drugs were sold by the underground organization on the black market for profit, and he got a cut. Gradually, the beastman to the doctor had become tools to achieve his goal. In the end, he had become the very thing he despised the most, bitterly despised. But now that no longer mattered. The doctor had found a way to save his daughter. Gene fusion. As long as he could find a beastman with a compatible gene, he could use this technology to fuse the beastman's body with his daughter's body to create a completely new body. The method was simple, but finding a beastman with a gene compatible with his daughter was like finding a needle in a haystack. Gene recombination. The Titan Beastman and Xiao Qing were 99.99% compatible. But just as I was about to perform the gene fusion, another Titan Beastman charged in and ruined the doctor's plan. Gene fusion requires a lot of time, and there can be no mistakes during the process. To proceed, he first had to deal with that Titan. Back to the present. The dire worries of Dr. Shu had been resolved by Liu Xing. He held up his phone and said in a very relaxed mood, "Now that Titan has been dealt with by you, I don't need to worry anymore. Therefore, the gene fusion can proceed immediately. Very soon I will bring my daughter back to life." After saying that, Dr. Shu issued a command to the system from his phone. The system immediately proceeded with the fusion. The phone emitted a signal confirming the command. Confirmation to proceed. Everything Dr. Shu was doing right now, all he cared about was saving his daughter whatever it took. He paid no mind to his surroundings or the evil deeds he had committed. After activating it from his phone, the machine treating his daughter began to operate. Standing right in the middle, Dr. Zhu had waited for this day for a long time and said, "Once the gene fusion begins, it cannot be stopped. Right now, even if you beat me to death, it's useless." Over here, Liu Xing immediately gave an order to the beastmen, right beside him. "Girls, go save the other beastmen in the incubation pods. Any delay and they'll be completely drained by the electricity here." The beastmen immediately obeyed and ran off in unison, "Yes!" However, after thinking carefully, Liu Xing felt something was wrong. He looked up at the power conduit above and deduced, destroying the power source now will only accelerate the power drain in the Beastman incubation pods, and it will have no effect on the main pod, which can likely centralize all the power. Right now I can only hope. Suddenly, right before his eyes, he saw something that made Liu Xing's jaw drop. This is the image that Liu Xing saw. It was the body of the doctor's daughter and the Beastman, inside the large test tube merging. The whole body and the incomplete body were starting to pull towards each other. The two bodies had now completely merged into one. It was almost a success. Dr. Shu kept his eyes glued to it, unable to look away. He was extremely nervous. The fusion has begun. The fusion process is going very smoothly. Right behind Dr. Shu, Liu Xing's lips twitched, as he realized something was wrong. No, something's not right. Suddenly, the fusing body started to have a strange reaction. The daughter's head convulsed violently. But Dr. Shu saw that the fusion process was not going smoothly. The two were now separating from each other again. He stood outside, unable to sit still. It's over, it's gene rejection. Could it be caused by the 0.01% gene difference? Right in front of them, both bodies were being dissolved into a white foam while the power was still being channeled in. It was as if all his efforts were being washed down the drain for this project. Now Dr. Shu was completely devastated. He could only pray in this moment. It's over. If there's no way to stop the fusion process, Shu Qing will become a monster. Suddenly, a large section of the wall high above was torn open. Something from the outside had impacted it. Instantly, that wall was smashed by a giant hand. It was the giant python beast that had just fought with Liu Qing. He hadn't killed it. Now it had returned and wanted to destroy the large-scale experiment of Dr. Shu. Interrupted by this beast, the doctor screamed, "It's her, she's still alive. Is she trying to rip out the main power cable?" Seeing the beast appear right on time, Liu Qing looked up pleased. "That's right. A few minutes ago, I didn't kill her. I just cut off her tail to hand over for the mission." At the moment he cut off the beast's tail, the beast was very curious. Why didn't Liu Qing finish it off? "Why did you only cut off my tail? Aren't you afraid I'll kill you after I recover?" At that moment, he had already seen that something didn't add up and confronted her directly. At the research facility, you could have clearly killed those guards, but you only used the snake's roar technique to knock them away. That shows you don't want to kill people. I want to know your real purpose. At that time, he had already figured out the truth. The python then recounted the story in detail. After the nuclear war, the forest far from the city was severely polluted. The animals that survived in the forest also mutated, including the titan snakes. And among the snake clan, a white snake and a green snake had long since transformed into beastmen forms. Because the human settlement and the forest were very close, the little green snake was always curious and would run out to play. Although she had no ill intentions towards humans, if you play around too much, you're bound to get caught someday. The green snake was almost hunted and killed, but was fortunately saved by the young Dr. Shu. Many years later, the little green snake, who was saved, met Dr. Shu again. The little green snake thought of a way to repay his kindness, because she was worried. The white snake finally chose to go with the little green snake, infiltrating the research facility. They originally wanted to give Dr. Shu a surprise, but unexpectedly they were the ones who got a scare. The green snake wanted to escape, but it was too late. The white snake tried her best to save her kind, but accidentally knocked over all the medicine. Enhancement drugs, hallucinogens, and corrosive poison were all spilled. Due to the combined effects of the enhancement drugs and hallucinogens, the added corrosive poison caused the white snake to mutate. She then gradually fell into a state of frenzied attack. When the white snake came to, she found that she had fled to the thorn forest, and her body had become enormous. After that, although the white snake went to the research facility, she was only defending herself and roaring, with no intention of killing or deliberately breaking in, because the white snake knew that if she forced her way into the lab, she would kill her other beastmen brethren. Furthermore, she hoped the savior the green snake mentioned would save her. But she didn't know that the one who single-handedly put the green snake in danger was this so-called savior. Back to the present. After hearing the whole truth, Dr. Shu slumped to the ground holding his head. So it turned out all along, it was just his own obsession, that he tried to salvage letting things go too far. Liu Qing from behind looked up and said, "Ironically, the beast you once saved is now risking her life to save your daughter. Right now, the white snake is trying to destroy the giant experiment reactor that Dr. Shu created with his own hands. She frantically pulled at the electric cables, even though her body was also being severely damaged." Liu Qing looked up and said, "Only she can do it." Cut to Captain Fan Xiaoyu's apartment. She stepped out of her house and was surprised by a child who had suddenly shown up. "Who is it knocking so early in the morning?" This little green-haired girl had big, round, sparkling eyes, incredibly adorable. As soon as she saw Xiaoyu, she held out her hand and waved, "Hi." The captain looked down. The child in front of her scratched her head, wondering where she'd dropped from. "Hey kid, where'd you come from? Are you at the wrong place?" Right after Liu Qing popped his head out, he even waved, "Captain, I'm back. This mission wasn't very smooth, but I got an unexpected harvest." He began to recount. Thanks to the efforts of the Python Beastman, the gene fusion experiment was terminated. Although the experiment failed, Shu King still regained consciousness. After waking up, she accidentally told Dr. Shu everything. That year, Shu King and the doctor's wife, along with the beastmen there, were actually killed before the scavengers arrived. The killer was a shadowy figure covered in tentacles. To protect Shu Qing and the others, the beastman had to fight that shadow to the very last moment. Shu King convinced the doctor to give up his grudge, and finally the doctor understood that. He had not only hurt the beastmen, but he also owed them a great deal. The huge mistake he made could not be undone. He could only do his best to save the green snake in front of him. The last hope now was to use the genes of the doctor and the white snake to merge with the two split girls, correct the 0.01% gene mismatch, and form a new life. So the two of them, without hesitation, chose to sacrifice themselves. But at the most critical moment, the power went out. To provide power for the gene repair, Liu Qing could only use his last lightning talisman. Although this was his last life-saving talisman, saving a life was much more important. Inside the captain's house, Liu Qing sat on the sofa holding the child in his arms. He looked up helplessly and said to her, "And so now it's come to this." Then Fan Xiaoyu gave the child a scrutinizing look. She leaned down close and said, "So the unexpected harvest you mentioned, Is this half-human, half-beast kid, is that it? He held the child who was munching on a hamburger. He explained clearly, that's right. With her status, she'd probably die if she were alone. And with her potential, if you train her a little, Captain, she could become the third member of our Gemini Hunters team. Beating around the bush, he was asking the captain to adopt the child. Giving the innocent child a thorough once-over, the captain asked again, so you want to keep this kid? She's pretty cute if you look closely, although it's a bit messy. The captain ruffled the little girl's hair and said, all right, we can keep her. If she's a combination of a beast man, a green snake, and a human, then the kid's name will be... The captain's face lit up as she named her Xiao Bao Little Cheetah. She then stood there laughing, ha-ha, completely satisfied with the name she came up with. Liu Xing, holding the child behind her, could only grumble to himself. No, isn't the point that she's a titan and a human, and she already had a name, you know? After that, Captain Xiao Yu got even more excited and generously assigned Xiao Bao a job. First, I have to tell Xiao Bao, our team doesn't support freeloaders. Starting today, you'll be in charge of the housework. After settling things with Xiao Bao, Liu Xing immediately took the spirit stones he had just acquired to sleep with, including the giant spirit stone the white snake left behind. He closed his eyes and slept to cross over to the other world. Liu Xing slowly opened his eyes, and his form quickly changed. At that moment, something strange happened that utterly terrified Liu Xing. Sitting on him was Huoya. She was lying on top of him, bouncing up and down, and at the same time, rubbed her eyes in surprise when she saw Liu Xing wake up. He screamed, Huoya, what are you doing here? This female disciple was really something else. Without a care in the world, she sat right on top of Liu Xing, with everything on display. She said, because I want to dual cultivate with the sect master. That way my cultivation can recover faster, you know. Then next time I can refine even better treasures. But Liu Xing thought, imagining that scene in his head. He shuddered, completely spooked. Dual cultivation, could it be? Then his eyes fell on the bag of spirit stones he brought. Liu Xing said, if you've already taken advantage of the situation, then you have to show me some results. With this giant spirit stone, plus your recovered cultivation, you should be able to refine something good, right? As soon as she saw the spirit stone, Huoya's entire body erupted with intense energy. She was now full of vigor and pulled the spirit stone towards her body. Refine it now. Huoya said, don't worry, master. This time I'll definitely produce a top-grade item. And so she immediately began refining. In just a moment, Huoya had refined a strange thing. It was a small black shadow, and it even had two glowing eyes. As soon as Liu Xing saw this fierce black shadow, he jumped back in surprise. The black shadow suddenly lunged at him. It appeared like a large cat. Over here, Huoya was a bit surprised to see this. Is the treasure directly bonding with a master? This black shadow pounced on Liu Xing. He erupted with a demonic power that enveloped him. On Liu Xing's arm, his outfit changed. Even the clothes he was wearing transformed into a different style of attire. Very quickly, the shadow cat from before had caused Liu Xing to molt into a new form, Flowing Cloud Demon Cat. He looked totally badass and sick. Coupled with his handsome face, how could the female disciples resist? Huoya cheered excitedly. Congratulations, Sectmaster! This demon cat, Flowing Cloud Robe, was forged from the very spirit of a demon cat itself, refined over 100 years. The wearer can not only move as lightly as a bird, but can also use it for camouflage and stealth. Furthermore, the legend of this fabric is also tied to the innate concealment abilities of the feline race. Lin Yu sat slumped on the ground, her face flushed red. Her body was drenched in sweat as she spoke with difficulty. Sectmaster, I'm begging you, please spare me. Opposite her, Jing Kun reached out and tested the bow's tension. Not bad, quite a bit of good stuff this time. She lay sprawled on the ground, her face pale. Making 5 items in one go? I really can't make any more. He stood up, waved his hand, and turned to leave. Jing Kun didn't forget to leave a reminder. For now, just get some rest. As for digging up the soil, I'll take Liu Li and Ming Cha with me. That'll be enough. Lin Yu shakily pushed herself into a sitting position. The corners of her lips trembled into a smile. Sectmaster, on your way. You must be very careful. The moment she saw him turn his back, her eyes darkened instantly. A sinister glint flashed, revealing a vague, cryptic smile. Elsewhere, corpses were piled high in disarray. The air was thick with a nauseating stench. Liu Li appeared happily hopping on the spot, but a cold glint shone in her eyes. After all this time, I can finally breathe the outside air again. To get this one breath, even waiting 100 years was worth it. From the mouth of a well, Ming Cha suddenly leaped up. After all these years, your taste is still so extreme, huh? What's so great about the overwhelming stench of these corpses? What's there to... Being scorned by her, the other woman immediately retorted with angry sarcasm. Could you try to be a little less crass? Such a buzzkill. Jing Kun peeked his head out from the well, looking helpless. Stop arguing. Hurry up and gather the evil soil so we can go back. This place is crawling with danger. Ming-Cha bent down and scooped up a handful of dirt. She slowly crumbled it in her palm to inspect it. She brought the handful of dirt to her nose and sniffed lightly. As I thought, this soil is no good. These corpses have long since been drained of their essence. Only soil that has absorbed an abundance of resentment and evil energy can be called evil soil. Suddenly, Ming-Cha's eyes widened with vigilance. There's an aura approaching. Liu Li suddenly lunged forward, roughly shoving them both to the ground. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but she was poked by her 2 fingers and blood spurted out. Quick hide, there's something nearby. The priestess crawled up and stood silently on the pile of corpses. Her eyes, sunken deep in their sockets, were cold and black as she observed everything around her. She slowly stretched her neck. Each vertebra cracked like a spring being stretched taut. Then she snapped her head up. Strange. The priestess's body trembled slightly. Her hazy figure gradually transformed. In the blink of an eye, she had become another woman. Just a moment ago, I clearly smelled the aura of living people. Realizing she wasn't going to find anything, she immediately let out a cold snort and zipped away. Forget it, I'll check somewhere else first. I can't afford to offend old ancestor Wutong before nightfall. If I can't catch a new disciple, I fear I'll be the next one in the cauldron. In the pile of corpses, a dim purple light flickered faintly. Within the mystical purple glow, Xing-Kun's body gradually materialized. He silently watched the direction in which she had disappeared. That priestess is helping the sect master of the Ascension sect scout for new disciples. Thanks to the stealth ability of the demon cat's flowing cloud brocade, we managed to avoid a direct confrontation with her. Furthermore, her appearance has given me a reminder. Suddenly, a giant diamond-shaped object appeared in the sky, covered in countless tentacles. I know where I can find the evil soil now. Right after a gate opened, leading a crowd of people up a staircase. Beside them, the priestess observed coldly. Take refuge in the Tao, escape the cycle of reincarnation. Shatter your soul, refine your body, ascend to paradise. Ming-Cha and Liu Li skillfully slipped into the crowd, blending in step by step, while keeping their eyes vigilant. Mixing in with the group of people captured as disciples. Isn't this a bit like walking into a trap? Don't worry. The most dangerous place is actually the safest place. Isn't that right, sect master? He poked his head out from her chest, having transformed into a black cat with sharp, sparkling eyes. You're absolutely right. I've come up with a good plan. You two just need to cooperate with me. She led the way, swallowing the crowd, then locked the door. Then she turned to remind them, rest, disciples. Wait here for the sect master's call. She stood with her arms crossed, head slightly bowed, whispering a few words. Sect master, how about I go with you? Liu Li slowly knelt down, her head bowed low. Sect master, you're going alone. You must be careful. He turned back, looked straight at them, and reassured, don't worry. I'm very familiar with this place. Bringing you along would just be a hindrance. As soon as you receive the signal, just act immediately. After that, Xing-Kun quickly left the cell. This space has been enchanted. So the longer you stay, the more intense the feeling of spatial distortion becomes. He walked while observing his surroundings. The space feels distorted. According to the original owner's memory, that place should be at the end of this corridor. Suddenly, Xing-Kun stopped in his tracks. His body stiffened. His fur stood on end. His eyes focused. Why is there suddenly such a bad, oppressive feeling? The priestess unexpectedly appeared from nowhere, her neck nearly a meter long. Her eyes scanned the surroundings with a bizarre look. Xing-Kun quickly used his 4 paws to cling tightly to the ceiling. His cat-like agility confused her. Weird. I clearly sensed the aura of a living person here. How is there not even a shadow of a person? He quickly ran off, moving as fast as the wind. The cloaking effect of the demon cat, flowing cloud brocade, requires a lot of spirit energy to activate. I can't use it for long. The demon cat transformation, on the other hand, consumes relatively little. But with my currently shallow cultivation, I need to make the most of my time. At the entrance of a cave, a wall-hitting ghost and Baizu stood guard. 9 revolutions mystic art pill shatters the void. The Tao merges with heaven and earth ascending together. Finally, Xing-Kun arrived at his destination. This is the place. The cave entrance opened. A group of people entered one after another. His voice echoed. Come in quickly, disciples of Ascension. Then there will be no more suffering. He frowned, a hint of annoyance in his eyes. This is the Ascension sect's Hall of Immortality. Xing-Kun quickly weaved through the obstacles, heading deeper inside. But the so-called Ascension to Immortality is actually just a scam. Inside, a towering structure stood before him. Surrounding it were countless people bound tightly. In reality, this is the place for refining pills. It has the most resentment and evil energy in the entire Ascension sect. The blood sacrifice soul cauldron. He gently lifted his two front paws, placing them on a stone of the evil fire soul cauldron. Truly a world of ice and fire. The temperature inside the cauldron is so low, but it gives off an intense burning sensation. Xing-kun frowned, a look of disgust clear on his face, then casually withdrew his paw. Staying here any longer will be exhausting. I've collected plenty of the ultimate evil soil. That should be enough, huh? Suddenly his entire body was lifted into the air. Huh, why am I flying? Xing-kun was pulled up by an invisible force, his limbs flailing wildly in the air. Doesn't the soul cauldron only work on human souls? Could it be? His body shrank. The feline features vanished. Just as I thought. My spirit energy isn't enough to maintain the demon cat form anymore. He slowly transformed back into his human form. Now I'm screwed. No matter how hard he tried, Xing-kun couldn't lift his arm. The feeling of restraint made his whole body tense up. The absorption power of this giant pillar is too strong. Wandering souls floated around him, emitting a pale light. Xing-kun gritted his teeth. At this rate, I'll be refined by the blood sacrifice soul cauldron. I have to... Suddenly a hand shot out from nowhere, flying straight to Xing-kun's arm, startling him terribly. Xing-kun looked up, his eyes wide. A spirit! Xiaojing was surprised. You can see me? His eyes opened, flashing with a pink light. His gaze focused, scanning. Seeing souls? Must be one of the attributes of the demon cat's flowing cloud brocade. But you're a spirit. How are you not being refined by the soul cauldron? Also, who are you anyway? She raised a finger to her lips in a shh gesture. Keep your voice down. Although old ancestor Wu Tong is in seclusion these days, his divine soul can see everything that happens in the Ascension sect. I'm different from the souls here. I am the artifact spirit of the soul cauldron. Xiaojing curiously flew closer, her eyes fixed on him. Young hero, you can transform into a demon cat and come here. It proves your abilities are far from simple. Furthermore, I can sense the young hero's aura. You are not an evil person. How about we make a deal? He looked at her skeptically. A deal? She closed her eyes, her voice slow and filled with emotion as she recounted her story. My name is Xiaojing. I was originally the treasured artifact of the world's #1 alchemy sect, the demon-slaying refining pill furnace. The Xuandan sect. Xiaojing looked downcast, her eyes filled with sorrow. I can refine demons, monsters, and ghosts, and transform them into various immortal pills. Besides refining immortal pills to enhance cultivation, I can also refine rare immortal pills that grant various divine abilities. She got angry just for a moment. Good times don't last. After the heavenly tribulation struck, evil energy invaded. From then on, the sect declined. After that, I fell into the hands of evil cultivators. A nail was driven straight through Xiaojing's body. The pain was evident on Wu Tong's face. The old ancestor used a soul-locking divine needle to bind me, and at the same time turned me into a blood sacrifice, soul cauldron. He also controlled me using the blood and flesh of humans to help him refine evil pills. From then on, not only did I lose my freedom, but I was also forced to do unconscionable things. She lowered her eyes, her gaze somber. Now that the old ancestor is in seclusion, I can finally use my artifact, spirit form, to secretly move around. I want to ask the young hero to help me pull out the soul-locking divine needle. That way I can regain my freedom. Xiaojing looked straight at the nail pinning her chest, her gaze resolute and unwavering. In return, I will become your artifact spirit and agree to any request you have, as long as it doesn't go against the righteous path. Xiaojing will be at your command, even if you want me to give my body. Hearing this, Xing-kun grimaced. Stop. Let's not talk about the reward just yet. Let me confirm something first. The soul-locking divine needle you mentioned isn't, he said with a doubtful tone. The giant pillar behind me, is it? She nodded. That's right. This pillar pressing down in the center of the cauldron is actually the soul-locking divine needle embedded in my chest. Xing-kun's mouth twitched, his facial muscles spasming. Actually, besides helping you, it's not like I have any other choice. Otherwise, if I'm trapped here, it's a dead end either way. But if you don't mind, can I choose to not pull out the soul-locking divine needle? Xiaojing blushed slightly, her words stumbling. I don't mind. It's just that the physical form of the soul-locking divine needle is this giant pillar. Only by pulling out its physical form can the shackles be broken. Xing-kun let out a sigh. Don't misunderstand. It's not that I'm clinging to your body right now. Forget about pulling it out. I don't even know how to break free from its grip to begin with. Before he could say more, she slipped her arm around his waist. Her actions were swift. Xiaojing directly pulled Xing-kun away. Let me help you. He breathed a sigh of relief, finally free. She explained in a gentle tone, young hero, I can't let go right now. Otherwise, you'll be sucked back into the divine needle. Xing-kun turned around with a slight smile. His two fingers formed a seal. All right, leave the rest to me. right after he summoned a sword, simultaneously unleashing the technique Heavenly Dipper Demon-Slaying Greatsword. The sword shot forward, slashing powerfully at the blood-sacrifice soul cauldron, creating a mighty blow, but it was deflected. Both of them stared their eyes wide with shock. Seeing this, Qing-kun quickly drew a whip, lashing it forward. True word whip. But no matter how many times he struck, all his efforts were useless. Standing behind him, her eyes were filled with worry. "Young hero, are you all right? Maybe we should rest for a bit." He took a few deep breaths. "Looks like I'll have to use the pill that Huoya just refined." After all, Qing-kun slowly pulled out an amber-colored object from his clothes. "I originally wanted to save my items, but spending one item to get a new girl." He directly put the gem into his mouth, swallowing it decisively. No, that's not right. It should be said spending one item to gain a cauldron that can produce many more items. This deal isn't a loss. As soon as he swallowed it, the power within his body immediately erupted. Amber Power Pill. Qing-kun gripped his fists with both hands, his muscles tensing, preparing to use his full strength. Standing behind him, Xiao Jing felt the surging energy coming from him. "Young hero, your body. Why is it so hot?" He reassured her, explaining, "The medicine is starting to take effect. Just hold on for a bit, I'll be fine." The cauldron slowly emitted countless rays of light, spreading throughout the surrounding space, illuminating everything. Qing-kun let out a shout, the sound echoing throughout the space, instantly shattering the cauldron into pieces. Her body gradually escaped its soul form. The chains around her were also undone, freeing her once more. Xiao Jing cried out with joy and threw herself into his arms, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Young hero, thank you. From this day forward, I will be your cauldron." As soon as she finished speaking, she transformed into a cauldron. Why did what she said sound so strange? But this was well worth it. "I originally just wanted to get some soil, but in the end I got a demon-slaying refining pill furnace. The ultimate evil soil inside the furnace is probably endless." After that, Qing-kun stored it in his bracelet. The urgent task at hand is still to figure out how to retreat safely. As he was about to leave, the priestess suddenly loomed over him. She got right in his face. "Which little thief are you? Stealing from the Ascension sect and you still want to run? You can take the stuff, but you have to leave your life behind." She landed softly on the ground, cocking her head, her eyes never leaving him. "This thief, why do you look so familiar?" Qing-kun gritted his teeth and cursed inwardly. Crap, the commotion was too big. It alerted the Marrow Fragrance Taoist. According to the original owner's memory, the Marrow Fragrance clan cultivates divine abilities by absorbing the essence and blood from the bone marrow of mortals. He suddenly remembered. Images and memories flooded his mind. Their secret art, sky-supporting Dharma body, can transform them into giant demonic beings. Low-level cultivators in front of them are no different from ants. If I want to counterattack her, I guess I only have one chance. The priestess opened her mouth, drool dripping down, revealing sharp teeth like the fangs of a wild beast. "I remember now, I was the one who threw you away." Her mouth tore open, transforming into 4 horrifying tentacles, waving like living creatures. He's actually still alive. Although I don't know how he managed to steal the blood-sacrifice soul cauldron. His aura is no longer the same as before. However, I can sense that his cultivation is not high. Could it be that he has some kind of treasure in his possession? "You thief, why when you were clearly dead, did you still sneak back to remove the soul-locking divine needle?" But his eyes turned dark. He feigned raising his hand as if to get something. "This thing, you mean?" "I relied on this very thing. I just hope that after the immortal lady takes it, you can spare my life." The priestess's mouth opened wide as she approached Qing-kun. "Oh, quickly let me see what kind of treasure it is. If it pleases me, it's not impossible to spare you." But a glint flashed in his eyes as he clenched his fist, preparing to unleash a powerful force. Now's the time. Qing-kun's lightning punch shot forward, so fast that she had no chance to react. The priestess lost her head. Blood sprayed out as her giant body collapsed to the ground, creating a horrific scene. Qing-kun looked straight into the center of her body and noticed something sparkling with a golden color. What is that?" Inside, Xiao Jing felt a surge of excitement. This is the Tao foundation of the Marrow Fragrance Taoist. The golden marrow fragrance bone, her cultivation base. I fear it's all contained within it. He walked up and picked it up to examine it. "So does that mean I've hit the jackpot? But how do I use this?" As soon as he finished speaking, she immediately used her aura to envelop the marrow fragrance. "Just leave this to me." Qing-kun was surprised. All right." Then he turned and left. The effect of the power pill has worn off. But now, not only did I get the soil, I also got an unexpected bonus. I have to know when to quit while I'm ahead. In just a few steps, Qing-kun had transformed into a cat. Thankfully, my spirit energy has recovered a bit. Moving in demon cat form will be much more convenient. I have to hurry and regroup with Liu Li and the others. The priestess's body slowly dissolved, fading like smoke. That thief! His cultivation isn't high, so how is his power so terrifying? Her head deformed, shrinking into the shape of a horrifying insect. How dare you steal this old lady's most precious thing? You thief! Just you wait. I have to find a new skin quickly. Otherwise, my life is over. Inside the prison cell, the people imprisoned with Ming Cha and Liu Li all sat dejectedly on the floor. She looked at her sleeping soundly. She let out a cold humph. Her eyes were filled with disdain. In a place where you could die at any moment. You're still sleeping like a pig. Not a shred of vigilance. Ming Cha frowned slightly, her expression pensive. Why hasn't the sect master returned yet? Could it be that he has run into some trouble? Seeing the bug that the priestess had turned into, she swung her hand to slap it. Where did this bug come from? So annoying. Ming Cha swung her hand to hit it but missed, watching it buzz around Liu Li. The priestess landed on her cheek, letting out a sigh of admiration. This skin looks pretty good. She suddenly rushed forward, her eyes glinting as she swung her hand powerfully. Go away. A thunderous slap from Ming Cha landed squarely on her cheek. Liu Li woke with a start, rubbing her eyes, a red handprint clearly visible on her cheek. What's going on? I was sleeping peacefully. Why did it suddenly feel like an earthquake? She blushed with embarrassment and coughed dryly. Perhaps the sect master over there has run into trouble. Could the battle have begun? She looked at Ming's expression, her eyes full of suspicion. Why do I feel like you're acting a little strange? In her hand, she was controlling her. I advise you to calm down. Acting like this makes it very easy to expose our identities. The priestess was held by a strong suction force in Ming Cha's palm, held tight, unable to escape. Suddenly, Xing Kun appeared and spoke. Liu Li, Ming Cha, the soil is in hand. You two move quickly towards the exit, to regroup with me. Both of them turned in shock. Sect Master! Baizu peeked out from the roof, his fat figure clearly visible. Oh, why is it so lively here? Turns out it's the new junior sisters. Who are you calling Sect Master? Too bad the Sect Master is in seclusion. But I Taoist Baizu can exchange some Tao techniques with you sisters. If you sisters don't mind, would you like to come to my room? It's 100 times more comfortable than this prison cell. Liu Li pretended to be shy and demure. I've long heard of senior brother Baizu's profound magical power. Surely you have a way to get us out of here first. After all, if we were to do some dual cultivation in the Ascension sect and get caught by the sect master, I fear it wouldn't be very good. Wait for him to bite. Wait for him to get us out of here safely, and then we'll find a chance to take care of him. He blushed upon hearing the praise, a feeling of ecstasy washing over him. Oh, junior sister, you're so naughty. Senior brother likes it a lot. As long as you sisters are obedient, senior brother will take you away. From out of nowhere, Ming Cha suddenly kicked Baizu straight in the face. Take your sister away. He fell to the ground and braced for impact. She rubbed her head, speechless. Her eyes were helpless. He already took the bait. What are you getting so worked up about? Why use force when you can use your brain? Too much talking, it's so annoying. Just hit him and get it over with. Liu Li waved her hand and countless weapons appeared around her. I'm at my wit's end with you. We've only just been reborn. Our cultivation hasn't even recovered to 1/10 of what it was in our past lives. Since you've decided to make a move, then let's first divide the treasures that the sect master left for us. Ming Cha grabbed a grenade, her hand tightening around it. She was shocked, her eyes wide and mouth agape. What is this, a supersized immortal pill? Just looking at it makes it seem powerful. She shrugged, her expression indifferent, as if she didn't care. Since you think they're powerful, then you can have all of these. I'm still more interested in the bow and arrow. After speaking, she quickly gathered up all the weapons that Liu Li had just summoned. Her eyes were filled with ambition. All right. Baizu, who was on the ground, jumped up, his eyes wide with vigilance. Who are you people? Immediately, countless arms sprouted from behind him, waving like living creatures. I almost fell for your trick. Both of them realized the critical situation and immediately turned to run. Liu Li, stay close. Baizu caught up from behind, his mouth full of fangs, letting out a fierce growl. I know I don't want to get eaten either. Ming Cha spun around 180 degrees to face him head on, her eyes full of determination. Since we can't avoid it, let's just face him head on. You go regroup with the sect master. Leave this place to me. She glided past her as light as the wind. Don't die. I haven't settled the score with you for that slap yet. Ming Cha swallowed the grenade directly. All alone. I really don't know if I can hold him off. Her action was reckless but decisive. But with the divine pill the sect master gave me, it'll surely be different. Ming Cha covered her mouth, her cheeks puffed out, eyes wide, facial muscles tensed. Right after that, a thunderous explosion echoed, shaking the entire space. Her body became hazy, blending into the thick smoke like a ghost. Baizu opened his mouth wide, lunging forward, each sharp tooth, looking like it wanted to tear apart everything in its path. His mouth opened wide, swallowing Ming-Cha whole, like a giant black hole. Liu Li flew through the warped walls, moving forward with graceful speed. She suddenly stopped, turning her head to look back with a vigilant gaze. Ming-Cha's aura over there seems to have disappeared. That puts my mind at ease. Liu Li sneered inwardly, a look of disdain flashing in her eyes. How could a brainless idiot like Ming-Cha possibly become the #1 assassin in the Nether King sect? That's because, in another dark corner, a body slowly sank, emitting a faint glow. Her body was now completely possessed by the priestess. Talk about the tables turning. I was almost beaten to death by her just now. Her mouth gaped open, intending to devour Ming-Cha's soul. Her eyes were filled with ambition and cruelty. Unexpectedly, her consciousness suddenly fell into a deep sleep. This is a rare opportunity to seize her consciousness. To take over this body. Then I won't be polite. Suddenly, a powerful hand gripped the priestess tightly. She stood before her, her expression looking like she wanted to eat her alive. Her eyes were filled with murderous intent. What's wrong with Ming-Cha? Why is there a bug like this in my sea of consciousness? How does she still have a consciousness? And this consciousness is so terrifyingly strong. Without hesitation, Ming-Cha immediately crushed the priestess into tiny pieces. In her sea of consciousness, she smirked. A hint of sarcasm flashed in her eyes. The feeling of crushing this kind of fly is so satisfying. Ming-Cha approached the afterimage. I really can't wait to take over this body anymore. Their foreheads touched. A brilliant light instantly radiated from them. Outside, her body was being constricted by his arms. The mucus sticking to her body made it hard to escape. Inside, Ming-Cha opened her mouth and screamed. Brilliant light shone from her eyes and mouth. After swallowing, her Baizu let out a long breath, a look of satisfaction on his face. He leaned his hand against the wall, patting his round belly in satisfaction. This little girl tasted really good. Although it was a bit of a waste to eat her, she has only herself to blame. As for the one who just escaped, the junior sister must have caught her. Suddenly, a powerful punch landed in Baizu's stomach, shaking his body. Then a series of continuous punches rained down on him, creating a terrifying force. What's happening? Why is my body... In just a moment, Baizu's body completely exploded, pieces flying everywhere. Ming-Cha appeared, her appearance completely different from before, radiating a power that had been imprisoned for hundreds of years. I just wanted to stretch my legs a bit, but I didn't expect he couldn't even withstand a single move like that. His arm was on the ground, a strange wide-open eye growing from it. She stretched and glanced at it as it scuttled away. Is this his Dao Foundation? Without a second's hesitation, Ming-Cha stomped on the arm before her. She nonchalantly walked away without looking back. First, I need to see where this place is. She didn't notice that behind her, a panicked hand was waving frantically before running away. It ran around in a panic, and the hand hid in a dark corner, concealing itself in the shadows. But suddenly a set of claws reached out from the darkness. This was Xing Chun. Its eyes were cold. Once you've entered our home, how can you possibly get out? She was also surprised. This is Taoist Baizu's Dao Foundation. His left arm. But why is it here? Over here, Liu Li was panting heavily. I remember the exit was near here. She suddenly stopped and looked back. But this corridor seems to have no... And what in the world is going on? Ahead, a voice rang out, echoing in the silent space. Once you have entered our domain, how can you possibly leave? The wall-hitting ghost appeared floating in the air, meditating in midair. She was confused. Where did this Taoist come from? There's clearly only one path here. As Liu Li thought, she assumed an attack stance. Could it be a wall-hitting ghost? She paid it no mind, raising her hand to draw her bow. Doesn't matter if he's a god or a ghost. A powerful spinning shot from Liu Li flew straight towards the old man. Just take one of my shots first. The arrow flew straight through the wall-hitting ghost's face, but he was completely unharmed. His face gradually transformed, then suddenly returned to its original state, as if it had never changed. Poking your ear will bring you disaster. You're seeking your own death. Like a giant snake, the wall-hitting ghost gracefully slithered towards her. Cause of death! Liu Li cautiously backed away. Is it an illusion? Before she could react, the old man's arm suddenly pierced through her body. He retrieved the soul fruit. Liu Li had no way to dodge. Her eyes widened in shock as she coughed up blood. A pair of the wall-hitting ghost's eyes scanned her cold and sharp, making the surrounding space feel like it had frozen. Your cultivation isn't low. Did you intentionally get caught to be brought here? What is your purpose in infiltrating the Ascension sect? Gritting her teeth, she forced a smile. What's the point of a dead man asking that question? The old man raised an eyebrow, a puzzled look on his face. Dead? Suddenly, the wall-hitting ghost's face twisted grotesquely. You're about to die, and you're still playing tricks. The lower half of the old man's body transformed into a series of tentacles, wrapping tightly around Liu Li. If I can't get an answer, The bizarre tentacles transformed into a hand, gripping Liu Li tightly. The old man's entire body gradually deformed. In the end, only his cold head remained floating in the air. Then there's no point in you living either. As if wrapped by an invisible force, her body was slowly pulled closer by the grotesque hand. The old man transformed into a giant. Why don't you just merge with me? The wall-hitting ghost's grotesque tongue extended, sliding down Liu Li's body. Becoming a part of my body is the best fate for you. It grew countless faces that swirled around. Her eyes gradually turned milky white. Liu Li's eyes were empty, her face as if her soul had left her. Suddenly her body shattered into pieces. What, it was an illusion? How did I not notice? Could this be a high-level illusion technique? Liu Li stood unscathed before the wall-hitting ghost, terrified. How do you know how to use the flowing light illusion technique? With her hands on her hips, she smirked confidently. I only used the flowing light illusion technique to lure you out. After all, it saves me the trouble of having to find you myself. After a moment, Liu Li frowned. And the flowing light illusion technique was originally a secret art of the True Dragon clan. What kind of flowing light illusion technique do you have? The old man's expression remained cold and proud, as if he looked down on everything before him. I am the Taoist of the Great Void, a master of first-rate illusionary arts. Taoist, your illusionary arts are in no way inferior to mine. Then you and I can be considered to have a fateful connection. The wall-hitting ghost's voice was sweet yet powerful and alluring. Why don't I recommend you to the sect master, so you can join the Ascension sect? In the future we can study Liu Li together. She snorted coldly. Let me say it again. I don't want to play with a dead man. The old man narrowed his eyes, his gaze sharp. If that's the case, then I don't want to waste any more words. Suddenly from behind, a three-headed body appeared. Flowing light illusion technique. Silent extinction. Without turning back, she swung her bow behind her. Liu Li's eyes, cold as steel, appeared. Her body began to change. A stream of blue energy gradually enveloped her body. The old man's eyes bulged with fear and astonishment. You're from the Julong clan. Impossible. Didn't the True Dragon clan go extinct long ago? Without a word, she decisively drew her bow. The arrow shot forward with the speed of lightning. The arrow, like a bolt of lightning, shot forward, piercing straight through the old man's head, creating a chilling hiss. A small hole appeared on the wall-hitting ghost's forehead. This move again. Didn't I use it before? This move is useless against me. The old man's body began to crack. Instantly, the old man's body exploded like a giant bomb. How could this be? She explained coldly. True dragon blood can break any illusion except for True Dragon secret arts. When I was trapped in this corridor, I had already infused True Dragon blood into the illusion. From the moment you were contaminated with True Dragon blood, your illusion became useless. When the wall-hitting ghost's body exploded, a Dao root appeared in the center. This is... Liu Li reached out and pulled it closer. So his Dao root is half a lizard's tail, huh? No wonder he likes to put on such a show. As soon as she got closer, countless piercing sounds assaulted her. She gritted her teeth and endured. What is this sound? It's like someone is chanting in my ear. Over there, Ming Cha was also being disturbed by the sound. What's that sound? Her eyes showed her agony. My head hurts so much. As she was about to faint, Jing Kun arrived just in time to catch her. Below was a bound hand. He frowned, puzzled. What was that sound just now? How could even Ming Cha not withstand it? I was originally going to ask her where Liu Li went. Xiao Jing appeared from the bracelet. Young hero. This is the sign of old ancestor Wu Tong's emergence. She recounted what she knew to Xing Chun. Every time after absorbing a large amount of mortal blood essence, he will go into seclusion to cultivate. It seems his magical power and cultivation have grown stronger than before. Just his aura alone can disrupt a person's mind. Hearing this, he gritted his teeth and cursed, Damn it! If the old ancestor comes out of seclusion, we'll surely be no match for him. But Liu Li hasn't returned yet. I can't just leave her behind. She quickly offered a plan. Xiao Jing has a solution, but it requires the young hero's cooperation to be able to execute it. He raised an eyebrow curiously. Be specific. As she spoke, Xiao Jing blushed and pointed to herself. To be more specific, it's actually young hero and Xiao Jing, dual cultivation. After hearing Xiao Jing's suggestion, Jing Kun asked in astonishment, Dual cultivation in this godforsaken place. Without a lengthy explanation, she went straight from her forehead into Jing Kun's head. No, it's inside the young hero's body. His spirit form also quickly appeared, his steps as light as if he were walking on water. Seeing Xiao Jing, he spoke with doubt. This place is... Before Xing Kun could finish his sentence, she quickly confirmed. The young hero's spiritual sense space. Because I'm still in my artifact spirit state. I can only dual cultivate with the young hero, here. Looking at the items representing Xing Chun, she exclaimed with admiration. The spirit energy in the young hero's spiritual sense space is so abundant. Truly a prodigious youth. It's just a pity he's never cultivated before. I will use the golden bristle pond left by the marrow fragrance Taoist, the one used to refine this golden lotus foundation. Relying on the golden lotus as a cultivation foundation, not only can you transform and absorb the cultivation left by the marrow fragrance Taoist, but it can also increase the efficiency of early-stage cultivation many times over. After the sect master cleanses his blood and refines his body, he will immediately break through to the Qi refinement stage. After Xiao Jing's dedicated guidance, as expected, Qing Kun's core acupoints had been completely opened. Is this the feeling of cultivation? My whole body feels a hot energy flowing through it. But it's unusually comfortable. She gently leaned in and whispered, explaining, because the sect master has already broken through. The effects of the Golden Lotus Foundation have been completely exhausted. Next, let Xiao Jing help the sect master with foundation establishment. Although I am only a Qi refinement artifact spirit, when I was helping the old ancestor refine pills, I didn't use all this cultivation I extracted from the living souls to refine pills. Instead, I secretly kept a portion of it. Now all of that cultivation of mine will be transferred to the young hero. So young hero, please hold on tight. It'll be a little uncomfortable at first, so the sect master must persevere. The two of them just like that broke through together, their power erupting continuously. Baizu, at this time, had taken advantage of Xing Tun's cultivation to untie himself. Although he was just a hand, he still hurriedly tried to escape. Not far. Baizu's escape route was blocked. Liu Li appeared like a god, tilting her head in amusement. Is this the Dao route of that Fatso Baizu? He was terrified and frantically crawled in the opposite direction. Liu Li quickly gave chase. Sect Master, was he infected by that evil energy just now, causing him to fall unconscious? She roared angrily, "Where are you running?" Baizu locked onto Ming Cha as his target and pounced. Of course, Liu Li wasn't going to let him get away that easily. She ferociously kicked him to the ground. While she was giving Baizu a beatdown, Ming Cha woke up dazedly, rubbing her eyes. Who am I? Where am I? Suddenly in the air, countless strange characters appeared. They surrounded everyone, continuously making bizarre noises. Ming Cha clutched her head and screamed in distress. What is this sound? Even Liu Li fell into a similar state. What is that? The characters gathered into a pitch-black shadow. Ming Cha exclaimed in shock, "Astral projection! But how is it so huge?" Liu Li quickly explained, "Because there are thousands of souls here. It's just that they're being controlled by a powerful, divine soul." Suddenly, the pitch-black shadow roared, criticizing the two girls. "Which rat is this? How dare you cause a disturbance where this old master is cultivating in seclusion?" Liu Li defiantly engaged in battle immediately. It seems the sect master is still unconscious. Then right now, we can only fight it with all we've got. But the previous battle has already consumed almost all of my spirit energy. Luckily, Ming Cha decided to join forces with her. I wonder if adding the spirit energy on my body will be enough. Liu Li smiled faintly, expressing her gratitude to her. The two of them, with their swords combined, created a powerful move, the Burning Fire Twin Arrows. The two of them's giant arrow shot straight at that thing called the astral projection. Indeed, the combined attack of the two girls had punched a large hole in its hand, but only after a few seconds. The black shadow immediately patched up the hole. A giant pitch-black hand thus materialized completely intact as if it had never been harmed. The astral projection taunted them loudly. "How dare you be so disrespectful to this old master? If you are walking the path to the underworld, there's no turning back. Then don't blame me for burying you in the mortal world." As soon as he finished speaking, he ferociously attacked his opponents. Heavenly Dipper shatters mountains and rivers. One palm sends you to become wandering souls. Liu Li smacked her lips humorously. "I never thought that in this life I would still die with you in this place." Without wavering, Ming Cha quickly echoed her words. "I'll still come after you to settle the debt from our past life." In the moment of crisis, Xing Kun's primordial spirit flew out from his body, rescuing the two beauties. He powerfully unleashed a palm strike, clashing head-on with the astral projection. A powerful aura enveloped Xing Kun, causing him to forcefully counterattack. The atmosphere also grew heavy with the spirit's voice. "The ant shakes the tree. How could you know how deep the divine tree's roots are?" His eyes flashed with anger. He brought down a powerful punch. "You broke my body without knowing. The disaster that causes the sky to fall and the earth to crack has been brought forth. The karma here on the road to the underworld, I will settle it with you myself." After a few moments passed, Shen Hun slowly lifted his giant hand. However, the figure before him suddenly vanished. It hadn't been quiet for long. When the spirit taunted again, "Hiding in the void, huh?" He reached out and tore open the space, continuing to mock. "Your lives and souls have long been entangled in the silk threads at my fingertips. On the other side, Ming Cha was panting with her hands on her hips. Suddenly a voice spoke up as a reminder. Seeing the chi emanating from the sect master's divine sense, I fear he is about to reach the core formation stage, Liu Li muttered incessantly. So the sect master wasn't completely unconscious just now, but was cultivating instead. But this breakthrough speed is too terrifying, Xing Kun said coldly, not wanting to explain. It's a long story. She clenched her fists tightly. Her spirit asked with concern, while pulling him along. Sect master, are you done cultivating? He was very calm, ignoring everything around him, and replied, let's go back to the sect and talk. A moment later, Xing Kun's voice came from above as he flew down. Remember to use your body to shield yourself a little more. The house has been robbed. Old ancestor Wu Tong will surely search for us everywhere soon. Liu Li also flew along, replying nimbly, if we only use our bodies to hide, I'm afraid it's still not a completely effective method. Ming Cha chimed in, we have to use a spell. As soon as she finished speaking, Liu Li flew up, unleashing an illusion technique. Sutra Cage returned to the void. A powerful vortex surrounded the battle area. Just a moment later, on the ground many corpses lay neatly, piled high. Elsewhere, Xing Kun and the two behind him also stepped out of a magical portal. Suddenly his eyes widened in shock. This is... A few monsters appeared before him, circling around, looking very dangerous. The two-horned monster suddenly leaped up, confronting the blackbird beside it. A loud shout broke the tension. Stop fighting! Lin Yu and Xiao Xian said in unison. Sect Master, you're back. Xing Kun questioned them with a stern voice. What's going on? Xiao Xian complained with a pout. Reporting to the Sect Master, Hoya stole the Spirit Stones and opened the sect's secret 7th chamber without permission. Therefore, I transformed into the formation's spirit beast to drive her away. Lin Yu shyly retorted, nonsense. I only borrowed the Sect Master's Spirit Stones to open a good cultivation spot for you. He lowered his head in thought. A good cultivation spot? So she was stealing the core crystals then, and planning to cultivate in secret. Xing Kun asked, puzzled. What's so special about this cultivation spot? She explained enthusiastically. This secret chamber was the previous Sect Master's cultivation spot. It's called the One Breath 3 Autumns Pavilion. 1 day of cultivation here is equivalent to 3 days of cultivation outside. Here. Xiao Xian frowned and turned to Lin Yu, continuing to accuse her. But this place, besides me and the previous Sect Master, no one else knew about it, let alone how to open the secret chamber. How did you know about this place, and how could you open it? What other secrets are you hiding? She stammered in reply. It was just a coincidence. Xing Kun calculated with a smile. It seems that in the One Breath 3 Autumns Pavilion there must be an important secret hidden. But there's no need to rush to force her to confess. After thinking, he generously advised, all right, let's forget about the stolen spirit stones this time. But for now, we have more important things to prepare. The atmosphere also relaxed with those words. After that, he handed the remaining core crystals to Xiao Xian, telling her to continue summoning a few more new disciples to bolster the sect's manpower. Xing Kun looked and had Xiao Xian supervise Hoya daily, using the core crystals to refine new treasures. More importantly, tell her along with Liu Li and Ming Cha to quickly help the seed of the Azure Cycle Vine sprout and take root. After all, this is a matter of food. Xing Kun forcefully split the rock, continuing to be lost in thought. After syncing with everyone about how I obtained the miraculous cauldron, and after entrusting tasks to everyone, I immediately went to the One Breath 3 Autumns Pavilion. He decisively leaped into a fantastical place, his mind constantly marveling, this place is truly magical. The whole room seems to be filled with cosmic energy, making one feel incredibly invigorated. Leaving this body here to cultivate, with Xiao Jing helping me, we'll achieve dual cultivation and core formation. I'll probably break through to the golden core realm quickly. Xing Kun narrowed his eyes, slowly sensing the space around him. Then his eyelids slowly closed tense. The scene changes to a picture of a towering monster, muttering incessantly. So that's how it is. Baizu, don't panic. This matter cannot be entirely blamed on you. But you must take responsibility for this. He released a centipede from his hand and said calmly, the obstacle you created, this karma, you must bear it yourself. The newly released centipede eagerly swallowed the person before it into its mouth. The monster sitting there spoke again softly. Red worm. This life will help you regenerate your body. As soon as he finished speaking, a half-human, half-monster body appeared. That guy was Baizu. The huge monster looked at Baizu's body and reminded him, this body can only be maintained for 1 day and 1 night. But if you capture those 3 evil ones and bring them back, I will use a spell to allow the body to continue to exist. He slowly replied, as you command. On one side, Luo Tian was happily flying fast, through the air. He continuously praised it. A used life buoy jetpack that can fly at a speed of 200 kilometers per hour. Although it cost me a full 20,000 star coins, Being able to be the coolest thing in the sky makes it all worth it. But not for long. Luo Tian opened his mouth wide in astonishment. Xing Kun appeared riding a sword and had already flown ahead. Watching Xing Kun fly far away, he was dumbfounded. What kind of aircraft is that? How is it so fast? I've never seen this type of aircraft before. I have to chase after it and see. But with a vengeful spirit, Luo Tian tried to fly over. I've already accelerated to full speed and I still can't catch up. This is so unscientific. His aircraft doesn't even have an exhaust port. Let's try going a little faster. Xing Kun ignored the person behind him and thought to himself, my cultivation has now reached the early golden core stage. And I can even fly on my sword. I won't have to waste money on a car anymore. What's most surprising is my Dao cultivation. It can actually sync with my physical body. Could it be that the root of the cultivation realm lies deep within the spiritual sense, and I just happen to have soul travel? He quickly stopped and landed muttering to himself, so I shouldn't guess anymore. First, I have to do what's important. Luo Tian behind him also landed majestically, following closely. He strode forward confidently. That's all there is to it. I'm still a little faster. A moment later, a smiling girl greeted them. Welcome to the Scavengers Pub. To order, please go to the bar. The girl in the cowboy hat also chimed in. Scavengers below A rank can accept missions on the first floor. Scavengers from A to S rank can go to the VIP room on the second floor. There a dedicated person will receive you. Luo Tian put his hand on his head and muttered, calculating, I'm currently ranked 211th in C rank. If you give me another year, I can easily reach A rank. 1 year later, Luo Tian, I'll definitely take the mission on the second floor. Xing Kun calmly approached the counter and ordered, Hua-ge, can I get a Wasteland Dark beer, please? And a Hunter's set meal A. Hua-ge, while pouring the beer, asked Xing Kun curiously, haven't seen you in a long time. So you finally decided to show up, huh? Are you here to turn in a mission? He answered honestly, that's right, Hua-ge. Even though your skills are perfect, using your special abilities here seems like a real waste. But he just kept praising, I'm old now. Besides, I'm happy living here. As for you, kid, you haven't been doing too bad lately. Taking down 5 orcs by yourself. And on top of that, completing an extraordinary 2-star mission. Xing Kun waved his hand humbly. It was just luck. I'm a scavenger ranked 360 right in the middle of C rank. Still part of the poor crowd. You know how it is, Hua-ge. Inside, Luo Tian was shocked. What? Killed 5 orcs by himself. And completed a 2-star super mission alone. Is this something a C-rank scavenger can even do? If this is true, then he must have awakened a special ability. Or has some really good gear. Hua-ge slowly opened the screen and continued speaking. Xing Kun, you're still complaining about being poor. The reward for that 2-star mission last time was pretty generous. A full 5,000 wasteland coins, Xing Kun explained sheepishly. Hua-ge, have you forgotten about my captain? I only get 30% of that mission's reward. Next, I want to try a 3-star mission. Hua-ge, do you have any recommendations? After speaking, he became pensive and thought. Money is secondary. I need to defeat stronger orcs as soon as possible, to harvest more and larger spirit cores, because sooner or later Ancestor Wutong will come looking for us. And besides, the disciples haven't recovered their cultivation levels yet, and they've just survived a calamity. So I must have enough spirit cores to refine more magical artifacts and tools to prepare for future troubles. His train of thought was interrupted by Hua-ge's consoling voice. 30%. Fan Xiaoyu as the captain? It is shamelessly mooching off you. It's really not easy for you. However, C-rank scavengers aren't allowed to take on 3-star missions alone. Luo Tian was still processing the information. Fan Xiaoyu. Could he mean the captain of the Gemini? S-rank scavenger team, the Cheetahs? No wonder. He suddenly spoke up with a suggestion, brother. How about the two of us form a team? Luo Tian extended his hand and continued his introduction. Wild Lion Scavenger Team C-rank ranked 211. Wasteland Runner Luo Tian. He sat still, carefully considering. The Wild Lions are the #1 scavenger team, with 190 members. I never thought the day would come when one of their members would form a 2-man team with me. Before he could finish his thought, Xing Kun happily shook his hand in agreement. A common C-ranker, the lowliest of the low, named Liu Xing. Luo Tian said proudly, Brother, you're too humble. I just heard about your achievements, brother. I'm truly impressed. I'll be the captain this time. I believe the two of us can definitely complete the mission. The 3-star... Hua-ge on the side helplessly interjected. No, you definitely can't take it. A C-rank scavenger, wanting to take on a 3-star mission, requires a team of at least 3 people. Coincidentally, a voice rang out from behind. Excuse me. Are you still short 1 person to accept the mission? Right. Both young men whipped around silently, thinking, so adorable. The girl behind them with sparkling eyes introduced herself in a soft voice. Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Ling Yue, A C-rank scavenger from the Thorny Rose. Scavenger team, may I? Luo Tian, putting on a handsome pose, interrupted. Of course you can. Welcome to the team. I'm Luo Tian. You can call me Tiange. Ding-kun turned to Hua Ge and urged, we have enough people. Recommend a mission. Hua Ge sighed in resignation. All right. In that case, I'll find you a relatively simple one. He decisively made a request. Is there a difficult mission? Involving many orcs, preferably a boss? Hua Ge said tiredly. That's suicidal. Spirit of yours is just like your captain's. However, there is a difficult 3-star mission recently. He looked at the screen and informed them. This posting has been up for a day and no one has dared to take it. Traces of lost children in the demon forest. Difficulty 3 stars. Spirit Elementary School was holding an activity and teaching near the forest. Then an entire class suddenly disappeared. Finding missing elementary students shouldn't be a difficult task. But this mission has many unknown and uncertain factors. This forest has always been peaceful, but witnesses from the school say there are many demons in the forest, but the probability of actual demons is very low. It's highly likely there's a group of orcs holed up inside the forest. The two behind him were extremely worried, but Liu Xing was very enthusiastic. Then we'll take this one, Hua Ge, we accept. Suddenly at that moment, Liu Xing, Luo Tian, and Ling Yue all received a notification from their bracelets. Mission confirmed. C-rank scavengers Liu Xing Luo. Tian and Ling Yue have successfully formed a team. Luo Tian broke out in a cold sweat, flustered. He raised his hand and tried to persuade Liu Xing. Brother, there are still many other 3-star missions to choose from. Ling Yue is a girl. We can't let her take such a risk. What if there really are demons? He turned and smiled brightly. His tone carried a certain confidence. Tiange, with you here, what's there to be afraid of? Besides, Hua Ge already said it. There are definitely no demons. Actually, Liu Xing had another hidden card up his sleeve. Even if there were, my great treasure sword can handle demons. Hua Ge interrupted at this point. He frowned, explaining very seriously. The important thing right now isn't whether there are demons or not, it's the time. The children have been missing for a day. So the probability of something unexpected happening is very high. You only have a 12-hour golden window to rescue them. We are now at the Scavenger Bar. Void Forest. Beast Ruins, Bone Coast, Guardian Sea. Chaos Canyon. Eternal Abyss. Scavenger's Tavern. There are 3 ways to get to the Void Forest from here. If you want to go fast, then you need to cross the Eternal Abyss and the God-Devouring Sea. Or you could go through the Chaos Canyon and the Beast Bone Ruins, but both of these routes are full of bandits and core beasts. Extremely dangerous. Liu Xing's group listened intently. Everyone looked extremely tense. The 3rd way is to go around the outskirts of the wasteland. It's safe, but it takes over 10 hours. Right behind them, Ling Yue shyly raised her hand. Her voice was a bit soft as she wanted to offer a suggestion. Maybe I have a way. Ling Yue was silent for a moment, slowly materializing a shrimp in her hand. It was like a normal shrimp, but the difference was that it glowed. She stepped forward close to the cliff edge. Cheerfully, she raised the shrimp in her hands high. Xiaolan, I brought you your favorite. Ice-shelled shrimp. Come here quickly. Just as Ling Yue closed her eyes and bowed her head sincerely, a large hole appeared above her head, connecting the spaces above. From within the spatial rift, a giant whale slowly flew out, causing a commotion in the sky. Liu Xing below exclaimed in amazement. That's a spirit whale. Luo Tian, standing next to him, was just as shocked, pointing in panic. Didn't you just call it Xiaolan? On the contrary, she calmly made a comment. Judging by Xiaolan's size, among spirit whales, he's just a kid. He became excited and praised her enthusiastically. Amazing, is this your spirit pet? I heard it's the fastest swimming core beast there is. Luo Tian next to him still hadn't recovered from the shock. His eyes were wide and his mouth agape as he thought to himself, this spirit pet must have cost a fortune. Where on earth did this girl get the money? Ling Yue received a flurry of compliments. She shyly and flusteredly waved her hands. He's just my friend. Besides, this giant whale can only travel at an altitude of over 100 meters. At lower altitudes, it can't breathe. So if we want to ride it, we can only fly up to it. The group began to take action. Luo Tian materialized his flight gear. He was still lost in thought. Friends with a giant whale. This girl's identity is not simple at all. But why didn't she fly with me? The agile Liu Xing carried her as he flew on his sword in front of him. They both aimed for the whale's back and landed at the same time. Luo Tian was puzzled. Strange? Standing on the back of this giant whale is quite stable, and I don't feel like it's going very fast. Ling Yue sat safely on its back, pointing forward as she explained. Actually, the giant whale's speed isn't fast at all. It's even a little slow. But it can fly through shortcuts. Xiaolan, get ready. All set. She shouted the command as the speed gradually increased. Let's go. When the command was finished, the whale accelerated, swiftly moving into the spatial rift. A clap of thunder shattered the silence of the sky. But following its flight path, the group appeared in an endless space. Many different things were floating around here. Liu Xing gritted his teeth and frowned. He felt a bit tense inside. Is this a spatial distortion or a wormhole? It's too bizarre, and what's more, why did I just feel a trace of evil energy? As if the demon domain of immortal cultivation is nearby. The scene changes to the Void Forest, a gloomy place shrouded in thick fog. The group had arrived, still in the same order. The way they got down was no different from how they got up. He carried Ling Yue down first with Luo Tian following. Just as they landed, Liu Xing quickly spoke up, analyzing the anomaly. The Void Forest has always been peaceful. Hardly any core beasts or orcs ever appear here. That's why many schools often conduct teaching and scientific research at the forest's edge. This time, a whole class of elementary students suddenly disappeared, so it's indeed a bit strange. Turning to look at the whole scene, she trembled with fear. Although it looks peaceful, the atmosphere here is too gloomy. It's just as scary as in the legend from that year. He and Luo Tian were surprised at the same time. The two said loudly in unison, "Legend." She cowered. According to what I've heard, the Void Forest actually had another name a long time ago. Its name was the Miracle Forest. Back then, the Miracle Forest was rich in resources, and dozens of survivors had settled here. This place was originally inhabited by orcs, but the orcs were very friendly to the humans who appeared. They thought the settlement would always be this peaceful. But then came that one night. Most of the humans in the settlement were slaughtered overnight, and they were even hung from the trees as a public display. The scavenger teams immediately accepted the rescue mission for the remaining survivors, and the orcs became the prime suspects. Except for a lucky few who escaped, the orcs were almost completely wiped out. From then on, the seeds of hatred between humans and orcs began to sprout. The scary thing is, a demon soul was watching the conflict from afar, but only one little girl could see it. From the recounted scene, the girl stared in shock, seeing a red figure flickering in the tree branches. There's a demon. Luo Tian didn't really believe in ghost stories. He asked, half convinced, could it be that the little girl was too scared and just saw things? How can there be demons in this world? But contrary to her previous hesitation, Ling Yue's voice rang out with complete certainty. No, she definitely didn't see it wrong. Her eyes widened, exuding determination as she clarified the rumor. Because that child from back then is my captain now. My captain told me this herself, so I believe my captain definitely wasn't mistaken. Luo Tian was the quickest to react. He raised an eyebrow, asking incredulously, "The captain of the Thorny Rose? You don't mean that witch Huan Ying, do you?" Liu Xing stood to one side, enjoying the interesting gossip. Witch. So she can really see ghosts. He raised his hand to his chin, thinking to himself, if there really are demons, it'll be easy to deal with. I just need to use the great treasure sword directly. But if there are no orcs, then all this effort will be for nothing. Ling Yue frowned, bundling up. She staunchly defended her sister. Nonsense. The captain isn't a witch. She's a soul seer. Suddenly, at that moment, from deep within the forest, a large dark shadow appeared, rustling and making a loud noise as it moved. Liu Xing was the first to notice. He immediately dashed forward, alerting the other two. Something's there, Luo Tian guessed based on the shadow. Looks like a student. Let's get over there quick. The dark shadow kept running. Finally, it led them. He looked at the large school building in front of them. Luo Tian was so startled he couldn't help but shout. To an abandoned building with its doors open? How can there be a school building in this forest? No way. Ling Yue looked up at the window, startled. From inside, a dark shadow appeared with a wide grin. There's a student up there. Liu Xing didn't hesitate and rushed straight in. He urged the other two to follow him in. Quick, let's go see. As soon as the group had all entered through the large open door, it immediately slammed shut. The loud sound caught their attention. Everyone turned around, sweating in panic. It didn't stop there. Next, vines grew one after another, growing longer and more gigantic, surrounding the school. The final scene was of them crawling up, covering every single crack, as if wanting to hide it from anyone's sight. After the group was trapped in the abandoned house, the monster unexpectedly separated the three of them, sending them in 3 different directions. Liu Xing had no other choice but to use his bracelet to light the way, making his way down the corridor. As he walked, he analyzed the predicament he currently found himself in. The door closed, it's pitch black, and I can't find a way out. Everyone else is lost too, and the bracelet has lost its communication signal. Just as he was halfway down the hall, suddenly from a room, some strange sounds randomly appeared. A moaning sound muffled by the rubble was hard to hear. Out of curiosity, Liu Xing decided to run over and throw the door open. He shone his light straight inside, shouting loudly to scare whatever was there. Who's in here? But when he shone the light, he saw that inside was filled with mannequins in various strange poses. It was very confusing. Yet Liu Xing didn't find it strange. He considered it a perfectly normal thing as he was only focused on the groaning sound he had heard earlier. Strange, I clearly heard a sound just now. He stared at the chaotic mess for a moment, then decided to leave. All right then. This place is really creepy. I have to find them quickly. Just as he stepped out the door, suddenly an arm reached out towards him. It got closer and closer, accompanied by the exact same moaning from before. But the main character wouldn't go down that easily. So with his sharp hearing and a healthy dose of plot armor, Liu Xing quickly spun around, grabbing the arm that was about to touch him. Then he shone the light straight on it. But unexpectedly, the moaning sound came from a small, cute little girl. She looked to be about 4 or 5 years old. As soon as the little girl saw someone other than herself, she burst into tears, pleading, "Sup, mister? Hey, can you take me home?" To avoid unnecessary trouble, Liu Xing immediately went to check the girl's information panel. No bracelet detected. Display shows she's not a core beast. I also don't sense that she's a ghost. Could it be, little one? He knelt down gently, patting the girl's head, and asked, "What's your name? How did you get lost?" The girl's face was filled with terror as she recounted what happened to her and her classmates. "We were having a science lesson when we ran into a ghost. Then I ran as fast as I could to this place, but I can't find the way back anymore." Hearing the little girl say that, Liu Xing couldn't help but wonder about the other students. "So where did the other children who ran with you go?" The little girl, trembling, pointed to the other side. "The ghost caught us all and took us over there." He instinctively glanced over. Meanwhile, on Luo Tian's side, unlike Liu Xing, who was brave and fearless, this young man, judging by his appearance and tone, you could tell, was absolutely terrified of ghosts. "Brother Liu Xing, sister. Sister Ling Yue, can you hear me?" Suddenly, after taking a few steps, a singing voice appeared from somewhere. In a room down the hall, Luo Tian froze, scared out of his wits. "What's that sound? Why is someone singing?" He darted his eyes and the flashlight in his hand around, constantly crouching to avoid making any noise. "The sound is coming from in here." Inside, small hands were joined together. Children in faded clothes were singing a song together, a moving melody. Along with that, they also formed a circle, as if performing a ritual, and the thing placed in the center was Ling Yue. Seeing this, Luo Tian fiercely drew his weapon and rushed towards them. He shouted her name, Ling Yue. Seeing this, the children revealed their true faces. Their heads turned 180 degrees towards him. The innocent expressions from before, now transformed into those of frenzied demons thirsting for human blood. Without a moment's hesitation, Luo Tian used a circular slash, aiming to take off each of their heads. After they were destroyed, their bodies automatically turned into a pile of sludge and vanished in an instant. After finishing the job, Luo Tian frantically ran to her side, shaking her to wake her up. "Sister Ling Yue, wake up!" Freed from the evil spirit within her, Ling Yue was able to wake up. Her whole body was exhausted. She softly called him Tianga. Ling Yue struggled to her feet, wiping the sleep from her eyes as she asked, "How did I get here?" The young man, who had been aggressive just a moment ago but was a simp at heart, looked at her with a determined gaze. "You must have run into a ghost just now." Luo Tian shyly scratched his head, his face turning bright red. "But don't be afraid, I've already chased the ghost away. From now on, I'll protect you." Ling Yue joyfully hugged him and cried out, "Thank goodness for Tiange. You must never leave my side." The young man, Luo Tian, being hugged by a girl for the first time, smoothed his face and breathed it all in. "Don't be afraid, Sister Ling Yue. I'm here. I'll definitely always be by your side." Hee, that's great. That's what her mouth said. But in reality, she was the monster in disguise, the fake Ling Yue deceiving the human. In just a moment, Luo Tian's entire body was unable to escape. He had to stop struggling, letting it tighten its grip on his body. Because of his weakness for girls, the young man was swallowed whole. At this point, only Liu Xing could save him. In reality, the real Ling Yue's situation was different, as she was in another place. She timidly and fearfully made her way down the corridor in front of her. Seeing the pitch-black hallway, Ling Yue was scared. She tried to make as little noise as possible. She thought as she walked, "If I can't find Xingge and Tiange, what should I do? The bracelet has no signal. I can't contact the captain." At the same time, footsteps approached her. Ling Yue panicked, backed away, and cried out, "Who is it?" Unexpectedly, it was Liu Xing. He spoke to calm her down. "It's me, Liu Xing. I finally found you, Ling Yue." She pointed fearfully at the other person. "If you're Liu Xing, then who is he?" Unexpectedly, the situation was now that there were two Liu Xings at the same time. They looked at each other with confusion. The two self-proclaimed Liu Xings stood opposite each other. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. Suddenly, one of them shouted loudly, "You imposter, aren't you going to reveal your true form yet?" The other one, seeing this, also chimed in, still pretending. Suddenly, the fake Liu Xing threw a powerful punch, striking the other fake Liu Xing. Messing with me, huh? The punch from the fake Liu Xing was so strong that it made the other fake Liu Xing's cheek cave in. Strange purple blood spurted from his mouth. Seeing this scene, the fake Liu Xing couldn't help but exclaim, "A demon as expected." After saying that, the fake Liu Xing retreated backwards, standing in front of Ling Yue and speaking softly to her. "Don't be afraid. Hide behind me, I'll protect you." Just then, the other fake Liu Xing revealed his true form. His shape was extremely bizarre. He muttered incessantly, "No, I'm the real one." Ling Yue witnessed this scene with her own eyes and was terrified. She trembled uncontrollably, not believing the two self-proclaimed Liu Xings. "No! You're both fake." After speaking, Ling Yue held out her hand, aiming it straight at the two of them. A brilliant pink light emanated from her palm. Ling Yue's eyes lit up. Her face was intensely focused. Ling Yue spoke to the two of them. "I can hear you communicating. Your inner language." Click, 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 click. I can't understand it. Before Ling Yue could finish, the Liu Xing standing in front of her also revealed his true form like the other imposter. The two of them stammered in unison, "We are both real, both real." Ling Yue recalled the moment she communicated with animals. "You can't eat anymore. You need to lose weight, Xiaolu. Otherwise the humans will eat you." "No. I want to eat durian," said the pig. "I'm still considered slim." Thinking of this, she paused. She looked back at the two mutants and shouted, "I've already awakened the new human ability to read the minds of core beasts and communicate with them. But you're not exactly like normal core beasts. What exactly are you?" Hearing this, the tree person immediately rushed forward, pressing its mutated face close to Ling Yue's. "What are we? I'm your teammate." Seeing this, Ling Yue squeezed her eyes shut and screamed in panic, "Xiaolu." Receiving the command, Xiaolu immediately charged forward from behind. Ling Yue shouted loudly, "Start eating!" Hearing this, Xiaolu charged straight towards the tree person. Xiaolu's eyes glowed pink. Its mouth chomped relentlessly, attacking the two tree people. Because Xiaolu was too strong, it scared the two tree people into disappearing. Ling Yue stood cowering behind. Seeing that, he let out a sigh of relief. She ran away. The scene changes to Liu Qing's side. At this moment, he was following behind the little girl. After a short walk, she stopped. The little girl trembled as she pointed straight ahead. "We're here. This is the place." Before the two of them now was a small black pit, seemingly bottomless, surrounded by countless mutated tree roots. Suddenly, the little girl's eyes welled up with tears. She grabbed Liu Xing's hand and pleaded, "Mister, can you please save them quickly?" Liu Xing, hearing what the little girl said, didn't hesitate for a moment, and decisively sliced off her head. Liu Xing stared at the little girl's face, which was slowly deforming on the ground. Although she wasn't a core beast or a ghost, she wasn't human either. On her body, I couldn't feel any soul aura at all. With that, he turned to face the black pit. Whatever creature she was, there must be a reason she led me here. Finishing his thought, Liu Xing decisively used his primordial spirit to astral project and scout ahead. It might be a monster's nest. Inside the bottomless black pit were countless human cocoons hanging suspended from above. Liu Xing seemed to have anticipated this outcome. As expected, not only are all the children here, but there are also some familiar faces. Suddenly, the tree roots stirred. It seemed to have sensed an intruder. In an instant, the roots combined, sprouting into a colossal tree person that stood before Liu Xing. Seeing this, he was completely dumbfounded. The mutated tree person looked towards Liu Xing. While he was distracted, it launched an attack towards him. Seeing the tree person's hostile intent, he immediately launched a counterattack. Liu Xing seized the opportunity to slice a cocoon free. He moved quickly, nimbly on his sword, and rapidly approached the cocoon he had just cut. Liu Xing opened the cocoon. Luo Tian, who was trapped inside, asked dazedly, "Where am I?" Standing behind him, Liu Xing explained it. "This is the creature's digestive system. Hurry up and save those elementary school students. I still have to go find this monster's true body." Hearing the voice, Luo Tian turned around. His face was filled with shock. "A ghost soul!" Seeing Luo Tian's surprised expression, Liu Xing let out a laugh. "Don't panic, I'm Liu Xing. This is my special ability, summoning a stand." With that, he thought to himself, "For now, that's the only way I can explain it to him." Luo Tian was extremely surprised by the explanation. He thought, so he's awakened a special ability. But Ling Yue is probably like me, still a C-rank wastelander who hasn't awakened an ability yet. This is very normal. Suddenly, the roots stirred once again, making Luo Tian wonder, what's going on? He quickly stood up and assumed a defensive stance. Liu Xing leaped up into the air. It seems this monster can not only simulate creatures that it has seen before, but it can also read and simulate creatures from its prey's memories. Down below, Luo Tian, seeing it getting closer, became alarmed. "It's coming again." Just then Leng Yue and Xiao Liu appeared. Xiao Liu, quick as a flash, dashed straight towards Luo Tian. Seeing this, Luo Tian yelled, "Leng Yue! What's the deal with this durian pig?" Hearing him, Leng Yue cheerfully explained, "Xiao Liu, this is my friend." Meanwhile, a figure was floating in midair, observing all the activity in the teaching building. The mysterious man was Gui Yu. His body was surrounded by stars. He looked at the sphere of light in his palm. "The nutrients are sufficient. Then let's begin." As Gui Yu finished speaking, his hand was seen clenching tightly. Immediately, countless vines and roots engulfed everyone inside. They screamed in terror. "This building is shrinking. What is this? Could it be that this building is also the transformed body of the monster?" Even Liu Xing's primordial spirit was constricted inside. Gui Yu looked at the pile of vines and spoke softly. "To make this giant nuclear tree grow and start bearing fruit, I have spent hundreds of years of effort. It takes decades to sprout, and every few decades, it needs to absorb human nutrients to supplement its growth. This time, it not only absorbed the nutrients of children, but also the blood of C-rank scavengers." With that, he flew straight towards the climbing plant. He looked at the fruits on the tree with immense joy. "The ripe fruit will surely be delicious, won't it?" Gui Yu gently touched the surface of the strange fruit. "What kind of fruit is that? Although it takes hundreds of years to sprout and grow, this nuclear tree only takes 1 day to bear fruit. But it's a pity that this type of tree dies immediately after bearing fruit. However, being able to produce dozens of fruits at once makes it worthwhile." Suddenly, he realized something was wrong. Something doesn't seem right. Just then, the fruits were seen shrinking. They even ended up losing all their vitality. Seeing this, Gui Yu panicked instantly. How could this be happening? How could the nutrients in the fruit suddenly disappear? Could it be? Before he could react, a massive explosion occurred inside the building. At that moment, Liu Xing had connected everyone together, and then ran outside with Xiao Liu. Seeing this, Gui Yu was stunned for a long moment. How could a C-rank scavenger escape the control of the nuclear tree? Gui Yu immediately opened another dimension. A giant blue rift appeared right above Liu Xing's head. Seeing it, he yelled, "That's..." Before he could finish his sentence, Gui Yu's giant fist struck down through the rift. Seeing it, Liu Xing immediately recognized it. A new human. Without thinking, Liu Xing threw the whip in his hand, signaling to Xiao Liu. "Xiao Liu, catch this. Get them out of the forest. As far away as possible, and don't look back." Finishing his sentence, Liu Xing turned back around and charged straight towards Gui Yu. Seeing Liu Xing charging at him, he quickly fired off countless bolts of lightning. But Gui Yu was completely unaware that Liu Xing's speed and strength were already an advantage. He even took the opportunity to summon his primordial spirit, charging straight at the man in black. The primordial spirit moved with swift agility, delivering a clean strike that split Gui Yu in two without any difficulty at all. However, despite such a fatal wound, he recovered in less than a second. Gui Yu spoke with great satisfaction. "Even an A-rank scavenger is no match for me. But you actually managed to injure me. How interesting. I didn't expect the Scavenger Guild to have such a hidden gem. Tell me, who exactly are you?" As he spoke, Gui Yu continuously attacked Liu Xing, but with his terrifying power, he caused a massive explosion that shook the heavens and the earth. Not only that, he even hit so hard that he knocked Liu Xing flat on the ground. Liu Xing looked up at him. He thought to himself, he's so strong. Why have I never heard of a new human with an ability like this? This guy is basically unkillable. He gritted his teeth, clenched his fists, and frowned as he stared at Gui Yu. Although after I escaped, I sent a distress message to the captain. But even at the captain's speed, it would still take over 2 hours to get here. I don't know how much longer I can hold out. Thinking of this, Liu Xing suddenly remembered. Good thing I brought 2 talismans with me. Let's try this one first. Without hesitation, he put on the red-faced green saber saint talisman. Instantly, the outfit on Liu Xing's body changed. The manifested saint god had descended upon him. But Gui Yu paid it no mind. He even laughed at him smugly. "So you know how to transform, huh? This is getting more and more interesting." Even so, he continued to attack and play with Liu Xing. "Then I'll play with you." But this punch of his only hit the ground. Seeing this, Liu Xing took the opportunity to quickly move above Gui Yu's head, staring at him with eyes that were burning with a golden light. Liu Xing's speed had reached its peak. He decisively slashed down with his saber, shocking Gui Yu. So fast, he frantically had to keep backing away. He was forced to unleash a ray of light. In an instant, the ray of light transformed into a saber. Gui Yu now wore a smug smile. "But this saber, I have one too." With that, he raised his saber. In an instant, the 2 long sabers clashed violently. Countless sparks flew. But against Gui Yu's azure dragon saber, his treasured weapon was easily broken by Liu Xing. The moment Gui Yu's body and the azure dragon saber were split, In two, Liu Xing knew he was immortal. Guiyu, after being slashed by him, thought to himself, "What, it's even harder than my own metal." But Liu Xing didn't have time to think. He quickly and quietly made a decision. The talisman can only be maintained for the time of one incense stick, so I need to slash really fast. It's unknown how much time had passed, but by now Guiyu's body had been sliced into 100 pieces by Liu Xing. At this moment, Liu Xing landed his gaze, fixed, looking at the fragments of Guiyu's body, scattered on the ground. Suddenly, he burst out laughing. "It seems I underestimated your strength." "No, that's not right. Your strength suddenly skyrocketed." Seeing him like this, Liu Xing cursed under his breath. This guy's ability is truly OP. He can break space, change materials, and even heal himself. It seems the only way to completely defeat him is to utterly destroy him. At this moment, Guiyu suddenly burst into loud laughter. "I see now I can't win by myself, so I'll just have to make a few more copies." After he spoke in mid-air, many watery rifts suddenly appeared. Many Guiyus walked out of the rifts. Witnessing this scene, Liu Xing quickly whistled a signal. After the signal, a horse shimmering with golden light appeared. Not only that, countless cavalrymen also appeared behind Liu Xing. Without a moment's thought, he immediately charged forward, slashing multiple times at Guiyu's clones. Following him was a long line of cavalry, charging straight towards Guiyu. He witnessed this scene and was shocked. What he can make clones too? Guiyu was still lost in thought. He didn't have time to react before he was pierced through by Liu Xing and his horse, who were as fast as lightning. Just then, Liu Xing also landed safely. The talisman's effect wore off. He turned to look at Guiyu and spoke softly. That guy must have been completely annihilated, right? But as he was thinking, a rift suddenly appeared beneath his feet. Before Liu Xing could react, he fell quickly into the hole. The scene opened to an extremely bizarre place. All around were countless mutated demons. Suddenly, the Taoist nun's voice rang out. "Strange, where in the world did those little thieves run off to? Even their auras have vanished." She swooped down to the ground, transforming into a fully formed body. She scanned her surroundings. "Searching like this is like looking for a needle in a haystack. If I return empty-handed, the old ancestor will surely punish me." The Taoist nun looked towards Bai Zhu and asked Bai Zhu, "Taoist, have you found any trace of the thief?" Hearing her ask, he quickly replied, "I seem to smell the scent of prey. It's the scent of a woman." As he spoke, drool dripped continuously from his mouth. Next, Bai Zhu walked to the mouth of the Well of Heaven and Earth sect. There's bound to be plenty down there. But at that moment, an alarm suddenly rang out. A black shadow zipped past Bai Zhu's head. In an instant, it fell. The Taoist nun witnessed this scene firsthand and was extremely surprised. She yelled, "Ambush!" Although he had been decapitated, his mouth continued to mumble, "Woman." A black shadow fell from the sky, landing on Bai Zhu's body. Miao Xuan appeared. She shook the bell in her hand and spoke faintly. "This bug has a very good sense of smell, doesn't it? There is indeed a woman here. It's just that this woman is here to take your life." As Miao Xuan finished her sentence, Xiao Zhang stomped on his head. Liu Xing's situation at this moment was very worrying. He was trapped in a mysterious space. Guiyu stood before Liu Xing, looking at him with great interest. "Finally, you've stopped. I originally intended to harvest some nuclear fruits, but I didn't expect such a hard-to-kill guy to show up. But I love this kind of surprise. First, I must probe your origins." Guiyu placed that strange hand on his head. A moment later, he gave his assessment. It seems he's just an ordinary scavenger. The first half of his life was just an unremarkable orphan. But suddenly, Guiyu paused. No, that's not right. He saw the memories inside Liu Qing's head. Guiyu thought anxiously. Why does he have memories that don't belong to this world? What is this terrifying world? And furthermore, Guiyu paused for a moment. It seemed he had just sensed some kind of powerful energy. There seems to be a powerful energy inside his body. An energy that absolutely does not belong to this wasteland. Suddenly he burst out laughing, his expression changing. An opponent like this really gets me extremely excited. With that, Guiyu conjured a hand with a blade. But if I let you continue to develop, you could also become the biggest obstacle to our return plan. One of his hands gripped Liu Xing's eye tightly. The other hand brought the blade closer. Should I just kill him first? I really can't bring myself to do it. But while Guiyu was still hesitating, a crack appeared in the space. A girl with pink hair appeared, shouting, "Hand over Xingzi to me now." Guiyu looked up towards where the sound came from. To be able to use sound waves to shatter my spatial barrier. Guiyu's entire space was shattered. The pink-haired girl was overjoyed to see this. She thought, I found him. When he saw her, Guiyu seemed to have expected it, as I thought it's her. But she didn't give him time to react. She threw a punch straight at him, sending Guiyu tumbling to the ground. Liu Xing, now also freed from Guiyu's space, slowly began to fall. But luckily, the pink-haired girl quickly reached out and caught him. It turns out the pink-haired girl was Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu was extremely worried and called out, "Xingzi, are you okay? Wake up." Hearing her voice, Liu Xing slowly opened his eyes. Seeing Xiao Yu in front of him, Liu Xing said weakly, "Captain, I'm fine, I'm tough. But I'm still too much of a noob. I couldn't kill that guy who won't die." Hearing him say that, Xiao Yu couldn't help but be surprised. "Won't die, you mean he can regenerate?" Just as she thought, Gui Yu was regenerating at that moment. Suddenly, the climbing plant shot up with countless strange fruits. Immediately, Xiao Yu and Liu Xing charged forward in unison. Trying to run, a clash immediately broke out between the two sides. Liu Xing and Xiao Yu joined forces, destroying all of Gui Yu's vines. After an unknown amount of time, the two of them landed safely on the ground. The strange fruits also fell and lay scattered on the ground. At that moment, Luo Tianling Yue and Xiao Liu came running over, panting as they asked Brother Liu, "Are you okay?" Liu Xing scratched his head and looked at them. "No need to worry, I'm fine. But how are those kids?" "The kids are still unconscious. But other scavengers have come to help. They've been taken back." Suddenly, Luo Tian pointed to the mutated fruit on the ground. "Where did this giant fruit come from?" Liu Xing pointed towards the giant climbing plant. "That's the fruit of this huge tree. This type of tree specializes in kidnapping humans. Its purpose must be to bear fruit." Hearing this, Xiao Yu, who was standing to the side, made a decision. "If it's a demonic thing, then let's just destroy it." But before she could finish her sentence, a sound came from within the strange fruit, causing Liu Xing's group to look at it with suspicion. In another dimension, a rift appeared at that moment. From within the rift, many strange fruits fell out. After the fruits fell, they rolled and scattered on the ground below. Gui Yu also appeared just then. After landing safely, he let out a sigh of relief. "That was a close call. I was almost ambushed by them." Just then, An Ying also appeared and asked Gui Yu, why are you just getting back now? I almost thought something had happened to you." Hearing his voice, he quietly called out, "Big brother." Gui Yu was filled with anger. He punched a nearby fruit hard and then replied, "I only managed to bring back 7, mainly because I ran into 2 tough scavengers." "Brother." Hearing this, An Ying collected the strange fruits. As he collected them, he said to Gui Yu, "You've worked hard, Gui Yu. For now, only your ability can pass through this seal and return to the wasteland. But you need to develop more followers. Only then can we implement our return plan more quickly." An Ying reached out and touched the strange fruit. "This time the nuclear tree fruit will help me regain a portion of my strength." After he touched the fruit, it was completely drained. Its vitality shriveled and deformed. But it's still far from enough. After absorbing it, he raised his hand and spoke loudly to all the others. "An Ying will definitely find a way to recover my strength and lead everyone across the sealed land and back to the wasteland." Seen outside the Scavenger Guild building, Ming Cheng held a meeting with his associates. He was dissatisfied with the cooperative attitude of some of the people. "Our Scavenger Guild hasn't had a closed-door meeting in a long time. This time I've gathered everyone here because we've encountered an important issue. Space Hermit Ming Cheng, SS rank Scavenger." But it seems that less than half of the people showed up. Cios gave a reasonable excuse, hoping to appease Ming Cheng. "Enabler Cios S-rank Scavenger. Guildmaster Ming Cheng. You called this meeting so suddenly? Everyone's busy maintaining world peace. So how could anyone have time for meetings?" Long Shu immediately chimed in to support his buddy. "Forget about the others. But as for you, you were probably busy on a date with some girl. Am I right, Long Shu S-rank Scavenger?" He was still in the mood to imagine a passionate scene. "I only seek them out to replenish my energy. After all, my ability is..." Even the black-haired man was fed up with these cases. While everyone was chatting animatedly, Xiao Yu had fallen asleep at the table. Ming Cheng sighed helplessly, unable to do anything. No need to wake her. Let's continue the meeting. He couldn't hide his worry, so he intended to discuss a plan. "This time I want to bring an important message to everyone. I feel that An Ying and his people will soon break through the shield of the sealed land. But only now were the other 6. Hearing this news, Ling Feng furiously slammed his hand on the table to cool down. "During the battle that year, I wasn't strong enough. But for all these years, I have been preparing. This time, I will definitely wipe out An Ying completely." Alloy martial artist Ling Feng S-rank Scavenger. Cios had never even met the guy, yet he was already talking big. "What's so special about this An Ying guy? Is he really that strong?" Tianjue gave a prime example to describe the enemy's strength. "Kid, you haven't experienced the battle from back then. I can tell you, even if everyone here joined forces, we would surely be crushed to pieces by An Ying." Faceless mercenary Tianjue. S-rank Scavenger. The black-haired man also fell into deep thought, knowing the likely outcome. "In other words, we have absolutely no chance of winning. Is that right?" Ming Cheng believed that the situation could still be salvaged. The chance of victory is not entirely non-existent. It's just not very high. He thought back to the image of Liu Qing, the young man from that day. Ming Cheng temporarily kept this thought to himself. Perhaps this is our chance of victory in the future. At the guild building area, the scavenger's underground laboratory, the director thanked him for his help. Thank you all for your hard work in dragging this thing in here. Liu Xing felt awkward receiving her help, not knowing how to repay her kindness. It's nothing. I should be the one thanking you. I'm always bothering you to take Xiao Bao for his regular checkups. Wasteland Secret Research Institute. Director Guo. But what exactly is this fruit? Director Guo. Even the director found it strange. I'm not entirely sure myself. Mutated plants are not a rare sight around here. This fruit seems to have developed self-awareness. Xiao Bao pressed his face against the glass tank, observing it carefully, then stated, "This is a nuclear tree fruit." The kid's words successfully captured the attention of Liu Xing and the director. What's a nuclear tree? It seems Xiao Bao had a deep understanding of the fruit in the tank. A nuclear tree is a plant-type core beast. It's an evolved species of plant. The mutation of a nuclear tree occurs during the seed's germination stage. He knew very well that a cruel truth awaited in the future, but this mutation process will take hundreds of years. The birth of a nuclear tree requires the sacrifice of an entire old-growth forest for nutrients. Xiao Bao didn't take his eyes off it. After the nuclear tree bears fruit, the energy will be transferred to the fruit to continue its ripening. Inside the ripe fruit will be hidden the final evolutionary form of the nuclear tree. He couldn't believe what Xiao Bao had just recounted. Xiao Bao, why are you talking such serious nonsense? No. The director stood up to defend the kid's opinion. What Xiao Bao said is almost identical to what I guessed. But how could she possibly know all this? But Xiao Bao only uttered what he could remember. These memories still seem to be in my mind. Could these be memories from my father? The nuclear fruit suddenly shook violently. Liu Xing assessed the situation, based on a visual estimate. Looks like this fruit is about ripe. The Taoist priestess appeared in a grotesque form, enough to make anyone run for the hills. She stretched her long, king cobra-like neck towards Miao Xuan. She wasn't scared at all. Instead, she quickly summoned her little ghoul to help. Xiaojiang Bone Shift Soul Breath. Xiaojiang shot out like a freshly fired arrow. The little one quickly approached the Taoist priestess and launched a lightning-fast attack. The woman had underestimated Xiaojiang's power. Is that all? A strand of her hair being sliced clean off made the Taoist priestess freeze for a few seconds. The parts of her ugly body suddenly fell apart after the seemingly harmless impacts from Xiaojiang. The Taoist priestess, directing from below, couldn't keep her cool. To think she killed Monk Suixiang in a single blow? Could this be the legendary flying Jiangxi? Miao Xuan was completely proud of that invincible power. Xiaojiang is indeed no ordinary Jiangxi. Jiangxi are ranked by level divided into white Jiangxi, black Jiangxi, jumping Jiangxi, and flying Jiangxi. But Xiaojiang isn't among them. She explained why the little one was so special. Because Xiaojiang is the king among Jiangxi, called a Hanba. The Taoist priestess saw the situation was bad and quickly tried to escape. Damn it! I clearly came to find the little thief who stole the treasure. Although returning empty-handed certainly won't have the good outcome. It's still better than losing my life. But how could Miao Xuan let her leave here, in one piece? By the time the Taoist priestess knew she'd been targeted, it was too late. Damn it, a step too slow. With the treasure in hand, she immediately thought of Liu Xing. This is their Tao Foundation, huh? This thing for the Sectmaster is a really good item. Miao Xuan noticed the little one's unusual behavior. What is Xiaojiang still screaming about? She probably never expected the Taoist priestess to turn into a giant monster. Turns out you're not dead yet, huh? Miao Xuan seemed quite surprised by the current situation. The red-armored warrior succeeded, defeating her opponent in a flash. But Xiao Yu couldn't accept the harsh reality. Kid, have you got any manners? You've won 3 rounds in a row in over 10 matches. Xiao Bao had no choice but to humor her. How about we switch to a different game? Xiao Yu had already prepared a familiar game title for her revenge. Okay, let's play Ultimate Racing. The little one immediately agreed. That sounds good, leaving only Liu Xing alone to clean up. Hey, wait a minute. Didn't we agree at the beginning that Xiao Bao would handle the housework? She immediately came to her defense, with some unconvincing logic. That's right, her housework is playing games with me. Xiao Bao chimed in too. Exactly. His face fell, but he couldn't do anything about it. Looks like bringing the kid back was a bad decision. Liu Xing slumped to the floor, his mind racing with worries. Although the mission was completed successfully, and I even earned 4,000 SA currency, but with this amount of money, it's basically not enough to buy any weapons. The biggest regret is that I didn't get a single spirit core this time. The demand for spirit cores from the Heaven and Earth sect keeps growing. He suddenly shouted out loud to show his determination. No, I have to think of another way to get spirit cores. Xiao Bao offered, wanting to help Liu Xing achieve his goal quickly. Brother Xing, you want spirit cores? I know a place that has a ton of them. His curiosity was piqued. Really? There's a place like that. In no time, Liu Xing had arrived at the area with the spirit cores. Chaotic Canyon. He rode his spirit, soared to search, still not believing it was real. I can't believe that in a place as desolate as Chaotic Canyon, there are actually spirit cores. Liu Xing easily passed the first hurdle with his ability to glide as fast as the wind. According to Xiao Bao first, I need to go through a cave full of mutated snakes. He remembered Xiao Bao's instructions and acted with extreme caution. Then we reached the entrance to the cave labyrinth. Based on Xiao Bao's vague memory, I split my divine sense into more than 10 clones to scout the way. From the excited look on Liu Xing's face, it was clear he had succeeded. After a day of effort, I've finally found this place. He flew into the middle of a pile of sparkling spirit cores. This place is simply a spirit core paradise. Liu Xing's actions right now were like taking a thimble to collect gold. Can't take it all. There's basically no way to take it all. Next time, I need to find a way to take all these spirit cores. Then establishing the sect will be a breeze. A magic circle opened right in front of him, leaving him stunned. This is Mo Ling, the magic wielder. Liu Xing recognized her identity. It's her. He hurriedly hid behind a rock to avoid revealing himself. A rank scavenger, the new student Mo Ling. Magical power was radiating from Mo Ling's body. Liu Xing couldn't understand her purpose for being here. What is she doing here? Elsewhere, Xiao Zhang was shooting forward like a bullet. The little one unleashed a series of moves all at once to destroy the Taoist priestess. The arms sprouting from the monster's body wouldn't stop squirming as they were cut off. Not only did they not stay severed, but even more grew back. The little one had to retreat before being attacked by the Taoist priestess. Miao Xuan predicted the situation wasn't looking good. This evil creature really knows how to regenerate. If we continue this battle of attrition, it'll be very disadvantageous for Xiaojiang. She immediately bit her hand to draw blood for a power boost. I have to end this quickly. Miao Xuan drew a talisman to summon a spell. Heaven's Eye True Form spell, lend me your spirit. Her eyes turned gold. Heaven's Eye open. Miao Xuan quickly identified the Taoist priestess's weak point. Found it, his life gate. She rang a bell signaling Xiaojiang. Charge in and take care of it. Xiaojiang attacked its abdominal area. Receiving the order, the little one quickly pursued. Of course, Xiaojiang easily cut off the life gate. Miao Xuan took out her demon-slaying sword. Slash. She split the life gate in two, making it impossible to rejoin. Xiaojiang sat on the creature's back, her eyes glued to the life gate floating in the sky. Miao Xuan's eyes returned to normal. Finally. She seemed to have no strength left to stand. It's dead. The little one caught Miao Xuan just before she fell. The demon bugs flew around the wreckage. The one-eyed demon assessed the situation. This is bad. This well is likely full of hidden masters. That little thief must have come from this well, too. The two-eyed demon had a plan to find reinforcements. We need to invite the old ancestor to wipe them all out in one go. Xiaojiang brought Miao Xuan back to their cultivation place, through a space portal. The immortal refining valley. The little demon was surprised by her return. Miao Xuan, you're back. Baikao could sense that. Miao Xuan's internal power was severely affected. Her aura is very weak. What happened? The little one awkwardly explained, not knowing what to do. To help our master, she defeated the evil Taoist, borrowed the Heaven's Eye, and exhausted her lifespan. Her body couldn't take it, so she passed out. The little demon quickly analyzed the current situation to find a solution. The master is still cultivating. Liu Li and Ming Cha still haven't recovered from the last disaster. And Huoya is unreliable, so I can only use the remaining stones to summon you guys for help. But Bai Tao isn't good at fighting, so we can only trouble Miao Xuan. The kid immediately used his power to heal Miao Xuan. Although fighting isn't my strong suit, helping her recover is a piece of cake. An energy flower bloomed from Bai Cao's palm. Key stabilizing origin recovery flower. The kid put all his effort into healing Miao Xuan. Life flower infusion, spirit devouring calamity. It seems her internal energy has been restored. Miao Xuan never thought she'd survive. I'm alive again. And I feel full of energy, even more so than when I was resurrected. Bai Cao explained how he pulled Miao Xuan back from the gates of hell. The Qi stabilizing origin recovery flower can quickly restore primal Qi, allowing the body to return to its peak state. But it can't be used continuously, otherwise it will cause a backlash. She believed her condition wasn't fully stable yet. Even though I've recovered, if another wave comes, I'm not sure I can hold them off. Besides, our position has been exposed. The little demon hoped everyone would work together. The sect master is still cultivating. Before he comes out of seclusion, we must protect him together. It seemed Miao Xuan already had a suitable way to raise her cultivation. Then we need to help the sect master improve his cultivation speed. Perhaps we can use that method. Mo Ling moved the magic circle to the ground. A small hand emerged from within the magic circle. Turns out it was the rat spirit trailing behind her. Master, wait for me. Based on Liu Xing's observation, there was definitely something suspicious about Mo Ling. This Mo Ling girl always feels a bit off. Not only does she appear from a magic circle in a middle school magic uniform, but she also has a talking mole with her. And on top of that, the mole is actually carrying a bag of spirit cores. In this world of science, could magic actually exist? He hugged the treasure he'd gotten and planned to leave quietly. I feel like I've stumbled upon someone's secret. This is drama I don't want to get involved in. Best to just sneak away. I've got the spirit cores. I need to get back to the immortal refining demonic domain as soon as possible. But unfortunately for Liu Xing, a spirit core fell to the ground. He froze when he heard the rat spirit's sharp cry. What was that sound? The little one chanted a magic spell to shatter the rock. A faint light gathered at her fingertip. Stardust, guide my command, explode. Mo Ling's terrifying power sent rocks flying everywhere in the space. Liu Xing didn't dare to move in this dangerous situation. Hello, senior. Don't be tense. We're on the same team. Same team. After both sides calmed down, he quickly chatted with Mo Ling. 10 minutes later, next I explained the whole story, in detail, and Senior Mo Ling, with her hot temper, seemed to have calmed down a lot. She was curious about the body from before, so that glowing, green person from before was a W created. Liu Xing nodded in confirmation. That's right, it's my special ability. Mo Ling directly stated her position. I get it. You just want to take the spirit cores you've collected and leave, but you can't take the rest, because I'm keeping them for myself. She threatened Liu Xing, the tension thick as a drawn bowstring. Also, what happened here today? You are not to breathe a single word of it outside, including the fact that you saw me. Otherwise, I will make you disappear from this world. He immediately mounted his sword and flew into the sky, before Mo Ling could get angry at any moment. Don't worry, I've already forgotten everything that happened today. Thanks, little rat. Always be wary of an enemy's sweet talk. Master, you went through so much trouble to collect these demon crystals, and you're just giving them to him for free. Besides, how can you trust that little thief? I think he'll definitely come back to steal more. The little one didn't seem to care much about the spirit cores. What's there to be afraid of? We can't use all of these anyway. Mo Ling used her wand to refine the spirit cores. Guided by the elemental oath, the little one actually attracted them, forming a vortex. Based on the spirit cores' primal power, Mo Ling was no different from a talented witch, even while wearing a school uniform. She jumped up. A rainbow merged into the air and surrounded her small body. It seemed Mo Ling had become even stronger than before. It became excited. Master's magic power has increased again. The little one knew that the spirit cores from before had disappeared, just to help Mo Ling cultivate. That's right, but the supplies have also been completely used up. This didn't seem to bother the little one at all. But we can just go to the demon domain to collect more. Mo Ling reactivated the magic circle to leave. The most important thing right now is to continue eliminating those tough nuts. Liu Xing had never left, but had been secretly observing all this time. He couldn't help but be curious about the area Mo Ling wanted to go to. The demon domain, where's that? And who are these so-called tough nuts? Liu Xing had already made a calculation. I'm determined to get the whole scoop on this. But before that, I need to make a trip back to the immortal refining demonic domain. He suddenly shut his eyes tightly. When Liu Xing woke up, he had no idea what was happening. What's going on? Many beautiful women were in front of him waiting to serve him. Sectmaster, you're awake. Liu Xing stared blankly at the 4 women before him. He asked in confusion, What are you 4 doing here? Suddenly Xiao Jing appeared. She smiled brightly and said, Sectmaster, it's not just 4 of them, there's me too. Miao Xuan cleared her throat and began seriously, If everyone is here, then I will now explain the plan to the Sectmaster. Although the Centipede Taoists group has been eliminated by me, our position has been exposed. She continued grimly, Next, we will have to fight a battle with the Wutong Old Ancestor. Therefore, we need to quickly raise our cultivation levels in order to win. Miao Xuan accepted the immortal pills that had just been refined. She said cheerfully, Thank you, Xiao Jing, for refining these spoils of war into immortal pills for the Sectmaster to use to raise his cultivation. She and her sisters stood in a line and looked at Liu Xing. She raised her eyebrows with amusement and said, With the blessing of the immortal pills and the One Breath 3 Autumns Pavilion, we will take turns to duel, cultivate with the Sectmaster. We will definitely be able to, in a short time, help the Sectmaster break through. Xiao Jing jumped into the air and used magic to combine the immortal pills. She announced loudly, Dual Bone Heaven Supporting Marrow Infusion. Pill formed Increase Essence. She strained to combine the 2 ingredients, pursing her lips. Pill formed Increased Essence, and after a while, she finally created the desired golden pill. Xiao Jing held it, looked at Liu Xing with a bright smile and said, Sect Master, this golden bone essence accumulation pill can increase cultivation efficiency by 3 times. Hearing this, Liu Xing was utterly shocked. He replied in amazement, 3 times. If that's combined with the One Breath 3 Autumn's Pavilion stacked on top, then isn't that a 9-fold increase? Lin Yu took the opportunity to step forward, snatched the pill from Xiao Jing's hand and stuffed it into Liu Xing's mouth. She gave him a sly smile. She said with a bright smile, "Time is of the essence, we can't delay." Lin Yu cheerfully announced, "Then I'll take the lead." Everyone quickly began to dual cultivate with Liu Xing at the same time, to help him break through his power. Liu Xing was in a transformed state. His soul cried out with a dry voice, "So hot, I think I'm about to—" After those words, a strange surge of power suddenly flowed through his body. Liu Xing convulsed, erupting with ultimate power. He shouted excitedly, "Breakthrough!" Then suddenly, he entered another 3-dimensional space. Liu Xing frowned, observing his surroundings. There was a giant sword hanging suspended above him. Liu Xing whispered, "This is my sea of consciousness. But what is that big sphere?" Suddenly a man's voice from behind rang out and answered him. "That is because you have successfully formed your core." He quickly continued, "It seems the disciples I chose back then have been a great help." Liu Xing frowned and guessed out loud, "Could you be—" Liu Xing took a deep breath. He said softly, "The sect master of the Heaven and Earth sect." He was overjoyed, a wide smile spreading across his face as he said, "So you're not dead after all. This is great with you here." He shook his head. He replied softly, "The sect master of the Heaven and Earth sect is you now. Besides, I died a long time ago now. I am just a wisp of a soul left in the bracelet." He gave a gentle smile. He softly reassured him, "But you don't need to worry." He spoke frankly, "Your rate of progress has exceeded my expectations." He spoke seriously, "With your current aptitude, then first, I can transfer a few introductory cultivation methods to you," he said thoughtfully. "To deal with the imminent crisis, it should be more than enough." As soon as he finished speaking, he unleashed his magic and aimed it at Liu Xing's body. They quickly approached and surrounded him, entering him as if they had found a new master. Liu Xing, exhausted, passed out. After a long while, he was able to open his eyes. He looked at his body in shock and whispered, "My body feels lighter, and my energy is full too." The girls watching from outside were also happy for him. Lin Yu smiled brightly and said, "Looks like the sect master has broken through to the core formation stage." Miao Xuan raised an eyebrow and added, "He's probably reached the early nascent soul stage." Liu Li replied cheerfully, "Not only that, our cultivation levels have also almost been restored." Xiao Jing frowned and spoke seriously. "Even so, the Wutong old ancestor is not to be trifled with. If we want a chance to turn the tables, we need to prepare more trump cards." Liu Xing was extremely confident. He enthusiastically cut her off. "Who says we don't have any trump cards?" Great Otherworld Dungeon Floor 5 Darkbone Labyrinth. A magic circle was activated here. Immediately after, the figure of a young woman appeared. Ma Ling walked over to where the skulls were scattered. Suddenly her little rat secretary spoke up. "Master, the Darkbone Legion seems to be about to revive. This bunch is basically immortal. How about we go down one more level and see?" Ma Ling shook her head and replied, "Now is not the time." She thought to herself grimly, "Although I awakened my magic ability at the age of 5, she pursed her lips in thought, and through magic, I crossed over to the Otherworld dungeon." Ma Ling thought with a sniffle. "For over 10 years I've fought desperately, and I've only made it to the 5th floor. But at least I've learned the skills to survive in this terrifying world." She sighed thoughtfully. "The reason I can persevere like this is because I want to find my mother, who is also a new human with the same magic ability as me. I remember the last time I saw her was when she chanted a spell and left me behind to go to the other world." Ma Ling thought with determination. "So before I find her, I can't die. If I'm not completely sure, I won't just go exploring recklessly." She thought cheerfully, because in this unusual dungeon, every floor you descend, the danger level increases exponentially. She quickly walked to a clearing, where only bone soldiers were scattered nearby. She observed them and whispered, "For example, the Darkbone Legion on this floor. Those Darkbone Legions, even though they've been destroyed and their bones scattered, they can still recombine and continue to exist," Ma Ling commented softly. "I've destroyed them a total of 4 times already, and they can still revive. Furthermore, each time they revive, their combat power clearly increases." Ma Ling gave a sly, excited smile. "But this suits my purpose perfectly." The rat secretary walking beside her quickly noticed something strange. He hurriedly shouted, "Master, be careful!" He glanced at the strangely shaped skeletons round them for a moment, then spoke thoughtfully. "It seems this chaotic pile of dry bones, every time they're resurrected, they become stronger. If we keep wearing ourselves down like this, it's not good. We need to find their king quickly." Ma Ling gently cast a magic circle. She said seriously, "Chain lightning spell." The chain lightning spells, currents zipped through each of the skeletons lying on the ground, as fast as a flash. Mo Ling then casually walked around, clicking her tongue and saying, "Only when all the minions on this floor are defeated will the king of this floor appear?" The rat secretary hurriedly added, "I see all the minions are dead, but where is their king?" Mo Ling frowned and cut him off. No, based on previous experience, as she had anticipated, she watched as the bone monsters turned into demon. Crystals raised an eyebrow and said, "When minions die, they drop demon crystals. These guys..." Mo Ling looked up at the horde of bone monsters brimming with life, their aura exploding before her. She frowned and mumbled, "Not only are they not dead, but their revival speed is even faster." Mo Ling tried her lightning spell on them, but it was no use. She clicked her tongue and continued. "And each time they revive, they become harder to deal with. Now they're immune to the lightning spell," she said thoughtfully. "It's about time I tried the upgraded magic I just learned." "All right." Mo Ling cast another magic circle. She spoke seriously. "Goddess of ice, I borrow your divine power." A mist of ice spread out, separating her from the bone monsters. She shouted loudly, "Don't you dare come over here!" Immediately after, she aimed at them and quickly launched her next attack. Sweeping Frost Era Universal Ice Seal. Right after every single bone monster was frozen solid, not a single one spared. Each bone monster frozen in midair quickly fell to the ground, right where the rat secretary was standing, scaring him half to death. He weaved through the gaps between the bone monsters and walked towards where Mo Ling was standing, saying as he went, "Master, way more demon crystals dropped this time than last time." Mo Ling frowned thoughtfully. Demon crystals are very similar to the spirit cores of the wasteland world, but the difference is that, in this magical world, they're much faster to collect. She fell into deep thought. But spirit cores are basically trash in the wasteland. So why is that scavenger named Liu Xing collecting them? Could he be using them to level up too? He must have some kind of secret. Suddenly, in front of the rat secretary, more bone monsters full of life appeared, causing him to cry out in confusion. "Aren't they all dead? What is this now?" Mo Ling calmly looked up. She gave a smile of amusement. She said softly, "Looks like the king of this floor is finally appearing." High above, a giant skeleton demon slowly materialized. It had strange demonic eyes. Its body is 100 times bigger than the other skeletons. "This is the Drybone Chief." Mo Ling frowned and said, "The difference between this and the kings of the previous floors will be a giant monster, formed from many smaller monsters." That chief immediately attacked, aiming its claws at her face. The rat secretary reacted quickly and said, "Master, be careful." Mo Ling immediately used a spell. She mumbled, "Sacred Radiance Armor Shield," using the morning light as armor, using pure gold as a shield. However, that shield was still not strong enough to withstand the power of the Drybone Chief. It was quickly torn to shreds. Mo Ling lost her balance and was thrown far away. She quickly regained her balance and stood up. The rat secretary, however, fell and rolled to the side. Mo Ling gently cast the next spell. She calmly uttered, "Cold Abyss Hand Ice condenses into a palm." Just like that, she continued to cast various spells, repeatedly against the Drybone Chief. Ice Seals the Soul. Sweeping Winter Kick Thunderstorm Flash Shattering Ice Slash. Rushing Thunder pierces the clouds. After seeing the situation wasn't good, Mo Ling proactively jumped back. She frowned and whispered, "So this thing is immune to magic attacks." Mo Ling calmly continued, "This is easy then." She gently used magic to summon a demon lord to help her fight. "The king I defeated before is finally useful." She spoke seriously. "True king, return and help me fight," Mo Ling said to the demon lord. "Let's go grab the Drybone Lord for me." The demon lord also used magic to attack, repeatedly. Flower Demon Queen, Slim Arctic Goblin Violent. Charge! The demon lord's tentacles surged and attacked relentlessly towards the chief, causing him to flee in terror. But behind him, Mo Ling was suppressing him, using her staff to prevent him from escaping. The demon lord quickly seized the opportunity and unleashed a barrage of tentacles at him, forcing him to endure all of its powerful attacks. The Drybone Chief was forced back, his body reeling in the storm of attacks, but he still held on tightly to his weapon, refusing to submit. Mo Ling frowned as she observed the fight and mumbled her guess. "For now it seems they're evenly matched," the rat secretary added quietly, "but the summoning spell has a time limit, and we need to find a way to kill the Drybone Lord as quickly as possible." Mo Ling raised an eyebrow and replied, "That's right. Or maybe you should go." The rat secretary panicked, quickly refused. "Master, are you kidding? I'm your one and only contracted pet. If I'm useless, who will provide emotional support for my master?" She quickly cast another spell and said seriously, "I'm not kidding. Another new skill I learned after leveling up is pet enhancement." Mo Ling cast a spell on his body. She spoke softly, "My friend, borrow my magic to break free from your chains." Shattering Force. Giant Beast Awakening. That rat secretary groaned incessantly. A strange power was coursing through his body. Mo Ling had cast the Shadow Giant Bear spell on him. Immediately after, his body grew 10 times its original size, and his strength had also become much greater. Mo Ling didn't forget to remind him, "Xiao Tu, it's your turn to show off." He then majestically advanced to fight the Dry-Bone Chief. Up above, the Demon Lord unleashed its tentacles. Below, Xiao Tu threw a punch. It seemed the Dry-Bone Chief had no escape this time. A close-quarters battle erupted. The armored fist landed squarely on the Dry-Bone Chief's body. The slime monster screamed in agony, its body twisting violently as it was forced to unleash its defensive form with a roar that echoed through the cave, signaling a ferocious counterattack was imminent. Immediately after, Xiao Tu unleashed his next attack towards the chief. He shouted loudly, "Brute force collision!" His attack exploded like a thunderclap. Shattered bones flew everywhere. Xiao Tu then let out a heaven-shaking roar, his muscles bulging intensely. His killing intent erupted to its peak. A state of explosive power had been activated. Bone fragments rained down, while Xiao Tu rolled to defend himself, trying to stay on his feet. Xiao Tu found it strange. He mumbled, "Still not dead. Could it be?" He looked up and saw that the head of the skeleton was still alive. Mo Ling nearby nodded in response. "That's right. As long as its head is alive, it can revive infinitely." Xiao Tu let out a thunderous roar. His giant body leaped into the air. His claws descended on the hovering head. The grotesque skull suddenly erupted with a strange energy. The power from its eyes spread out like a shockwave. The space vibrated in continuous waves. The ghost fire transformed into a giant pillar of energy, striking down towards Xiao Tu from above. On the other side, the Demon Lord cried out in surprise as it felt the uncontrolled flow of energy. The slime monster was torn apart, its body curling up in this unstoppable attack. Amidst the surging ghost fire, the bodies of the Demon Lord and the slime monster were engulfed and suppressed by him, unable to move. Xiao Tu, enraged, asked through gritted teeth, "What is this guy doing?" Mo Ling answered with difficulty, "Maybe it can absorb the energy of other lords." Or Mo Ling realized the situation was not good, and said to Xiao Tu, "It's merging with the other lords." Hearing this, Xiao Tu was stunned and clicked his tongue. "Playing like this? This guy has no sense of sportsmanship." Mo Ling ordered in a low voice, "Xiao Tu, use the superpowered potion first. Buy me a minute with it." Xiao Tu understood her meaning. He replied softly, "Could it be that Master wants to use that move?" He quickly carried out the mission and said seriously, "Don't worry, Master." Xiao Tu quickly used the superpowered potion and said with determination, "I will definitely risk my life to stop it." Immediately after, his eyes widened. A surge of power welled up inside him. He let out a sky-shaking roar as his body immediately transformed. Immediately after, the two figures clashed in midair. Fists and claws were thrown at the same time. A close-range attack from the Dry-Bone Chief was launched, right at Xiao Tu's stomach. Xiao Tu then counterattacked. He threw a flurry of punches, without hesitation. The battlefield exploded as neither gave an inch. Mo Ling, observing from the side, said, "Silver Armor Radiant Frame Lance War Spear Shatter Illusion." She quickly cast a new spell. "In the name of the Goddess of War, receive my sincere request." Mo Ling fell into a pensive state. This ancient spell requires a lot of energy to be accumulated in the initial stage. Therefore, the casting time is very long. She spoke seriously. "Shed this mortal coiled on the crimson steel armor," Mo Ling thought to herself. "Even though my body can only withstand 1% of the power of the Goddess of War, it's enough to crush the combined Dry-Bone Lord. But if I hold this power for more than 10 seconds, my mortal body will disintegrate." Mo Ling transformed her body. An angelic form with majestic wings appeared. She thought to herself, "So I only have one chance to kill it. Within 10 seconds. She quickly flew towards the savage battle and mumbled, while Xiao Tu is still holding it down, "I'll give it a fatal blow." The two of them were exchanging a continuous and brutal barrage of blows, aiming to take each other's lives. Suddenly, Xiao Tu felt something strange in his body. He frowned and thought to himself, "Why does my body suddenly feel so familiar? Could it be?" Xiao Tu thought to himself. "Is the transformation spell about to expire?" Immediately after, he quickly transformed back into a small Xiao Tu just like before, with no attack power whatsoever. Mo Ling had just arrived. Seeing the ongoing battle, she clicked her tongue and thought, "Damn it, I forgot to calculate the time for Xiao Tu's transformation spell." Mo Ling gritted her teeth and thought, "I can only bet on this once. At this distance, it probably won't be able to dodge." With that, she used all her strength to launch an attack at the chief. In midair, Mo Ling threw her sword at him, but he blocked it. She added more power to the sword. The sword seemed to tear the sky and crush the space in front of it, but the Dry-Bone Chief still used its weapon to block her attack. Mo Ling exhaled and said, "It still managed to dodge, huh?" Immediately after, she transformed back to her original form. The magic had worn off. Suddenly, a spirit entity appeared out of nowhere, rushed forward and shattered the bones of the chief with incredible speed. His body shattered into pieces. Instantly, Ma Ling, weakened, whispered, "When did his avatar hide inside me?" Liu Xing smiled brightly and asked, "Are you okay?" Liu Xing's avatar tried to touch Mo Ling, so it was impossible for the girl to fight back. "You shameless pervert." He could only let out a sigh. "This is troublesome." Of course, Liu Xing didn't intentionally take advantage of her with bad intentions. I originally left a clone to investigate the origin of the spirit core. But the clone could only touch her, to be able to pass through the array. So I could only... He was also completely helpless in this awkward situation. Unexpectedly, faced with danger, I couldn't help but step in. I guess I can only be seen as a pervert now. The little demon appeared behind Liu Xing, seeing his worried expression. "Sectmaster, what's wrong?" It assumed Liu Xing was evaluating the strange tree in front of him, which was why he was distracted. "Are you surprised by the growth rate of the Jade Firmament reincarnation vine?" He couldn't help but be amazed by its extraordinary growth. "That's right. In less than a week, it's grown into such a big tree. But why isn't there a single flower bud? What's going on?" Liu Li came to report the situation, so Liu Xing could be a little more at ease, reporting to the Sectmaster. The current state of the Jade Firmament reincarnation vine can only be considered a sapling. She had briefly researched the tree's habitat. Previously, during the era of abundant spiritual energy, for the Jade Firmament reincarnation vine to bloom and bear fruit, it would take several hundred years. But in the demon domain of immortal cultivation, where the spiritual energy is depleted, I'm afraid it will take even longer. The little demon had to admit a harsh truth. The spirit stones that the Sectmaster brought back, basically, were given to Huoya and Xiaoqing for refining treasures and making pills, even if we use the remaining spirit stones to nourish the Jade Firmament reincarnation vine. It's just enough to fill the gaps between its teeth. The spiritual energy is far from enough. Liu Xing's plan seemed to be heading towards a dead end. Even though I've improved my power, and everyone has recovered some of their cultivation, not to mention we've also refined magic treasures and pills, but the opponent is the final boss of the Soaring Gate. Liu Li threw herself into his arms and swore, "Sectmaster, don't worry. Even though we might not live to see the Jade Firmament reincarnation vine bloom, we've already achieved enlightenment. Liu Li will definitely use all her strength to help the Sectmaster overcome this difficult trial." Ming Cha suddenly appeared and separated the two of them. "Who said the Jade Firmament reincarnation vine has no chance to bloom?" She also wanted to see how clever Ming Cha really was, or if she was just all talk. None of us could come up with a solution. "What idea could your brain possibly have?" Liu Xing, she was extremely confident in her opinion. "That's right, I did indeed think of a way." For some reason, Ming Cha recalled an old matter. "May I ask, Sectmaster, do you still have the immortal pills you gave the disciple last time?" Perhaps because too much time had passed, Liu Xing seemed to have forgotten. Immortal pill. He remembered the process of absorbing the pill's power. The immortal pill was about this big, dark in color, and didn't look very appealing. Last time after eating it, I felt my whole body filled with energy. And then I felt the side effects were too strong, so I passed out. Finally, Liu Xing realized its danger. She said, "Could it be the grenade I gave Liu Li last time?" Moreover, it seems she even swallowed the grenade whole. After a thorough analysis, he understood the problem. Wait, could it be that she wants to use the energy from the weapon's explosion to nourish the Jade Firmament reincarnation vine? The energy of a nuclear weapon is nuclear energy. In the wasteland world, nuclear energy is equivalent to this world's spiritual energy. This idea is worth a try. Liu Xing didn't pay any attention to the extraordinary effects of the discarded grenade. These discarded nuclear weapons would be nothing but scrap in the face of the initial plan. I originally intended to collect and modify some weapons for my own use. Even he had to admire the idea of using it to stimulate the tree's growth. I never thought this pile of junk could be used like this. Ming Cha immediately prepared, ready for the assigned mission. She spat fire at the grenade. "Explode for me!" The tree seemed to explode from the abundant energy. Anying wasn't surprised by his subordinate's failure. "So you also fell to that little thief." The two-eyed demon quickly explained. "That little thief wasn't fighting alone." The one-eyed demon also explained nervously, "And he has a new helper every time." He didn't want to waste time listening to his subordinate's excuses. "I don't need your explanations." Anying's index finger suddenly grew long like a root. His sharp nail easily dealt with the two useless subordinates. He was helpless in the face of their stupidity. "In my eyes, you're all useless." Anying's finger slowly returned to normal, but his wrist automatically detached from his body. Anying transformed into a mutant with fierce eyes. He intended to see his opponent's true strength for himself. It seems it's time for me to go out myself. In the underground laboratory, 2 large jars contained people about to be mutated, but Dr. Shu had been soaking in one for a long time. At this moment, he suddenly opened his eyes. Dr. Shu was panicked when he realized his current state. I'm still alive. Where is this place? The mysterious person suddenly spoke, as if very familiar with him. You're finally awake. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Dr. Shu's tree, after being charred by the explosion, grew many nuclear fruits. Even Liu Xing couldn't believe his eyes. Why this thing? He looked carefully before confirming. It looks just like a nuclear tree. Inside the nuclear fruit, something seemed to be trying to escape. A strange blue light shot out from one of the fruits. Before Liu Li could catch it, it had already flown past. What is this? Ming Cha reached out to grab it. Where are you running? The little demon wasn't strong enough to catch it either. So fast, Liu Xing shot a rope from his wrist. It immediately bound the spirit tree tightly. Its arms and legs thrashed about. The spirit tree, though tiny, was very fierce. He was curious about the thing he had just caught. This thing is the treasure, hidden in the fruit of the jade firmament reincarnation vine. She didn't think it was strong enough to have that status. This thing can't be considered a treasure. Liu Li guessed it at a glance. It's like a spirit tree, but not exactly like a spirit tree. Based on her knowledge, the items in the nuclear fruit are very diverse. The legendary jade firmament reincarnation vine takes 100 years to even begin to bloom and bear fruit. After that, it bears fruit once every 15 years, producing 10 fruits each time. Inside the fruits are either true treasures or rare immortal pills. There are even powerful spirit beast babies. Liu Li analyzed in detail the reason for the spirit tree's creation. But every 100 years, there are a few parts inside the fruit that can give birth to a spirit tree. The spirit tree's intelligence is very high, and it's close to a human form, and it can grow continuously. She directly underestimated its potential. This creature that looks like a spirit tree in front of me, why does it give me the feeling that it's not very intelligent? Ming Cha felt that everyone was too hasty, causing the spirit tree to have a counterproductive effect. Could it be because we provided all the necessary spiritual energy for 100 years, all at once? So it led to the spirit tree being forced to ripen and mutate. The little demon quickly found someone with deep knowledge to help. I just went to call Baikao Tongzi. Let's see if he can help. Baikao arrived quickly. I can communicate with all kinds of plants. Let me try. Kid. He used a language-taming energy with the spirit tree. Drowsy words incantation. It seemed Baikao had learned something, which was why he was so surprised. The boy announced a shocking truth. This is not its true form, Baikao asserted with absolute certainty. But rather, it's a disguise she puts on when she meets strangers. The boy cradled the spirit tree in his palm. She could be a shape-shifting spirit tree. Extremely rare. A single punch from the monster shattered the tempered glass. The security team immediately arrived to handle the situation. Suddenly, an alert sounded in the guild building. Underground laboratory scavenger. Laboratory has detected an unidentified organism, requesting backup. The entire team was equipped with modern weapons, but they couldn't find any trace of it. I don't see anything on my side. Where the hell did it go? A member of the security team was pierced through the abdomen by a tree branch. It sucked all the nutrients from the person, turning him into a dried corpse. The rescue personnel all met the same fate. Strange. The person whose energy was drained would be spat out by the monster. The branches that were sucking the human's nutrients were wrapped around each other. A monster clung to the ceiling to hide. Luo Tian rushed to the rescue of the underground research lab. Director Guo, I've accepted this commission. May I ask what exactly happened? At the research institute, the director was helpless in the current situation. The nuclear tree's fruit has bloomed, but she pointed at it in amazement. But it's a monster like this. The first time he saw the monster's grotesque form. What kind of monster is this? A large pile of dried corpses was stacked high. The mutant stood on the pile of corpses and thought to itself, following the scent that the Tuixiang clan left. The thieves' lair is here. A wooden sword suddenly shot out. It pierced him in the head. But the mutant felt no pain and even challenged him. Is that all you got? His body was suddenly sawn in half by something. Unexpectedly, at this moment, the mutant split in two. Each side of his body split into 2 people. After successfully splitting, the mutant stepped forward. Seeing this, Liu Xing asked in amazement, "You can't be killed by a slash and can even split in 2. Beside him, Miao Xuan acted calmly, because it's not a complete entity. It's just a puppet that has been split. She pointed straight at his face and declared war. But for now, the only thing we can do is try to chop it into pieces. Moreover, Miao Xuan also called for more people. Xiaojiang, let's go. The girl, hearing the call, charged towards the mutant. Then Xiaozhang stabbed straight at it, scratching him a few times. But inside, the mutant first identified its target. Kill her. After identifying, he started to shoot out arrows. Unexpectedly, these arrows pierced the girl's body. It didn't stop there. The mutant came up from behind and slit her throat, officially finishing her off. After he was done, he slowly flew down and threw Xiaozhang to the ground. He proudly asked, "Who's next?" Seeing this scene, he also thought with some difficulty Ancestor Wutong is indeed not easy to deal with. But Liu Xing didn't retreat and advanced to attack. He said, "Then try the move that the sect master taught me." Liu Xing's sword dance art. This move of his pierced through the entire body of the mutant instantly. He dissolved into a liquid on the ground. This liquid slowly started to smoke strangely. Unexpectedly at this moment, those liquid mutants reconnected with each other. Successfully returning, the mutant even smugly criticized the useless move. "This only helps me become stronger." Unable to tolerate it any longer, he said, "Next I'll kill you, you little thief!" However, Liu Xing wasn't afraid and faced him head-on. "Do you really think you've become stronger?" He pointed at himself and declared, "From the very beginning I knew this wouldn't kill you. That's why I used this method to lure you into this situation." Now seeing this confidence, the mutant also realized, "Your illusions." Chen Liu Xing stopped puzzled. "That's not right. How did my magic power get sealed?" Then he looked around and asked worriedly, "Something's not right here. Where exactly am I?" Seeing the mutant's confusion, Liu Qing began to explain. "This is a crucible that I asked Zhao Ting to make. Zhao Ting told me long ago that as long as your true body isn't dead, you can't be killed. He also mentioned a dark side of it. But not killing you doesn't mean I can't refine you." Liu Li at his side added a few more words. "To slowly wear you down in this crucible, I had Liu Li cast an illusion spell earlier, and now it's almost worn out." Hu Jiao also began to activate the Great Fire Absorption. Next, Xuan Miao unleashed her attack. "Good sect master," she called out heroically. "Sacred fire descends. Sun Mei, true fire, with my Taoist heart guide the true fire. Burn away all traces of the evil one." Seeing this, the mutant wasn't afraid and said, "You want to refine me? Ordinary fire is useless against me." But the remaining heads asked in surprise, "Is that Sun Mei?" "True fire. We're dead this time." Over there, Dr. Shu, trapped inside, asked, "Who are you? Why did you save me?" The demon lord looked at him and said gently, "Dr. Shu, who I am is not important, but I know you're very talented. It would be a pity to just die like this. I saved you because I want to ask you for a favor." Seeing this, Dr. Shu said dejectedly, "I'm a cripple now. What can I do if you save me?" Unexpectedly at this moment, he snapped his fingers and said, "The lover in your heart." Then Dr. Shu pointed to the test tube behind him and asked, "Is it this one?" Seeing his wife, he was shocked and asked in confusion, "Wife, but I clearly remember that Xiaoshan, she—" Immediately, the demon lord began to explain, "Dr. Shu, if you can do me a favor, not only can I restore your health, but I can also help you save this woman." Hearing this, Dr. Shu understood. "What do you want me to do?" Then the demon lord clenched his fist and made a request. "I want you to find a way to replicate the new human's abilities." A while later, a mysterious hand knocked on the door. Seeing no response, Moling used magic to enter hiding in the shadows. Through the unseen world art, he stepped inside and saw Liu Xing saying smugly, "I finally found you." Over there, Liu Xing the mutant was being consumed by the sea of fire and shouted, "Damn it, don't let him go." Immediately, Xuan Miao unleashed another move. Sun Mei, true fire, retract. Then she walked over and asked, "How is it, have you refined that Ancestor Wutong yet?" Xiao Ting walked out annoyed and said while picking her ear, "I almost couldn't find it, so it was stuck here." Seeing a glowing ball, Liu Xing walked over and teased, "Is this your earwax?" She explained shyly and flusteredly, "This is a marrow cleansing pill, refined from the clone of Ancestor Wutong." After hearing that, he understood and looked at it again. "A clone as tough as that? Only refined into something this small. It seems it only contained 20–30% of his power." The Taoist nun walked over and asked, puzzled, "Shall we take this opportunity and charge in? Attack the yellow dragon. Take his life while he's weak." Liu Li objected to this idea. No, with only 30% of his power, he was already this difficult to deal with. Not to mention he still has 70% of his power left. Seeing this, she retorted, "But if we just wait for that old man to fully recover, what if he comes back to settle the score with us? A long night brings many dreams." Finally, she suggested another way. "Let's ask the sect master for his opinion first." But when she turned around, she saw him acting strangely and screamed his name. "Sect master." When they got closer, they all understood his action. Is the sect master asleep? At this moment, upon waking up, Liu Xing reached out, holding on to the person sitting on top of him. Then he woke up with a start and asked, "Who?" Seeing that the person in front of him was Mo Ling, Liu Xing lowered his guard. "It's you." Seeing her, he hesitantly asked, About last time, even though I was also in the wrong. You shouldn't have chased me all the way here for that. Should you? Liu Xing even shamelessly teased Mo Ting in front of her. Besides, I saved your life, didn't I? But she stood up coldly and said bluntly, if it weren't for the fact that you helped me a little, your life would have been long gone. As for everything you saw in the demon domain, it's best you forget it. Unexpectedly, Liu Xing lay back down and teased again. So that place is called the demon domain. He even emphasized to her, I'm not a person with many strengths, except for having a pretty good memory. Provoked. Mo Ting turned back, raising her weapon and asking, do you want to die? Seeing this, he quickly tried to calm her down. Don't get agitated. Don't get so agitated. Then Liu Xing walked over and asked, can't you take a joke like that? It seems like someone like you doesn't know how to joke. Immediately after, he also said directly, if you want me to keep quiet, it's simple. I just need a little hush money. After hearing this, she understood and revealed the information she knew. If I remember correctly, not long ago, you took a bag full of demon spirit cores from my territory. Seeing this, he explained the matter again. That can only be considered a small fee for saving your life. Besides, spirit cores aren't worth much. Finding it incomprehensible, Mo Ting refused outright. You want wasteland coins too? I don't have many of those. Unexpectedly, Liu Xing happily introduced a way. Isn't that a coincidence? Completing a 4-star mission will get you at least 50,000 wasteland coins. He didn't stop there, even sighing and saying schemingly, you know my rank is only C. If I want to take on a 4-star mission, I can only team up with A-rank masters or higher. But she refused outright, not wanting to stay long, and said, no time. At this point, he stopped trying to hold her back and left, leaving Mo Ting unable to stop him in time. If you don't want to take it, then I'll have to go see my S-rank captain. But I'm a talkative person. What if I accidentally chat with her? About some random stuff? Like the demon domain or magic or something? There was no other way. Finally, she gave in and held him back, saying, I'll go. I'll go, isn't that enough? Liu Xing pushed open the door and entered the bar. Luo Tian stood up eagerly and asked, Brother Liu Xing, are you here to take on another mission? If you need another person, I'm not too busy. Liu Xing slowly walked over and politely declined. No need. He pointed to the girl with him and teased, Brothers, this one's big enough, the VIP room on the 2nd floor. I'll go up and check it out for you first. Meanwhile, in a desolate gray land, surrounded by dead leafless trees, pointing straight to the sky, a group of people were digging with hoes. A mysterious energy appeared from a distance, arousing the curiosity of the group below. The old man shielded his eyes and looked up, asking softly, What is that? A strangely shaped umbrella shrouded in fire was hovering in the air. The black energy in the hanging talismans emitted a terrifying scream. It's the soul-devouring demon umbrella. As its name suggests, the umbrella began to expand, engulfing the entire group below. The streams of black energy twisted together, creating a strange magnetic field, quickly sucking up the dazed souls below. Finally, a demonic sound was emitted. That desolate land in an instant returned to normal. But the people there were just dried corpses. The strange umbrella quickly returned to the hand of Saint King Jiku. He sighed with emotion. I never thought there would be a place for the living to hide here. Saint King Jili, imposing in front, happily chimed in. The Sectmaster's power is becoming more and more refined. This time, in just a blink of an eye, he has absorbed the entire essence of the whole village. Seeing the two of them rambling on, Saint King Dafan shouted a reminder. Let's go. The group of 3 consisting of Saint King Jiku, Saint King Jile, and Saint King Dafan appeared there. The other 2, hearing this, quickly shouted clearly. The path ahead was filled with a deathly aura. The 3 of them appeared before the statue. They knelt down at the same time and prayed sincerely, Sect Master of the Buddhist Gate. Bring the disciples of the sect here. Releasing a stream of red death aura, Saint King Dafan announced solemnly, offer a sacrifice to the ancestor, and strengthen the relationship between the 2 sects. The 2 girls at the end of the death aura rope writhed in agony as they were placed on the sacrificial altar. He sincerely faced the statue in front of him, silently calculating the aura within, a little weaker than before. We are many and strong here. If we attack together, we might even be able to kill him. Not only can we devour his essence blood and seize his cultivation, but we also won't have to pay tribute in the future. Saint King Dafan retracted his hands. He looked towards the wandering, vengeful souls, shooting out of the black hole, swarming the sky. Then they flew towards him and surrounded him tightly, tearing his body into many pieces, causing Saint King Dafan to scream in terror. The vengeful souls in this old ancestor's body have gone berserk, damn it. I'm about to be devoured by the vengeful souls inside the old ancestor. In the end, only a dried corpse remained. Those gloomy sounds still carried on the wind, echoing. I'm still hungry.